A man stood quietly with his eyes closed, glowing light spilling from his chest. It had been 5 years since he transmigrated to this world. The day he had been waiting for had finally arrived. A wishing stone had come with him. He opened his eyes, knowing the moment was finally here. The ground around his feet began to tremble as energy leaked out, as if it could no longer stay contained. He stepped forward and casually raised his hand, golden light swirling around it. He wished to awaken the strongest beast seal. 20 minutes earlier, a man on the stage explained to the crowd that beast seals were ranked from highest to lowest. Mortal was represented by white, profound by green, yellow by earth, heaven by blue, immortal by red, and divine by purple. The more light pillars that lit up, the higher the grade of the beast seal. The instructor on stage began calling students to enter the awakening formation. The first student stepped inside. He stuttered as he shouted, "Start the awakening!" The pillar stones glowed in different colors. The strongest glow was yellow, placing him at yellow grade with E-rank talent. He couldn't believe it. The master then called the next student, Fan Tong. He awakened a mortal grade with no talent. He broke down in tears. Mortal grade was the lowest and most useless rank. The next student was called. The other students waited as Zhao Chunfeng awakened yellow grade, and Zhang Huowang also ended up with mortal grade. Then Wang Shukun stepped in and awakened a profound grade. Next was Zhou Ying, the eldest daughter of her family. She ignored Yang Yang, who had always been one step ahead of her for the past 3 years. She was determined to prove who the real genius was. An orange-haired boy teased Yang when he noticed the school beauty glaring at him again. Yang didn't care. He hadn't done anything to her. The orange-haired boy wondered what kind of beast seal Yang would awaken. Yang confidently replied that it would be divine. A nearby student overheard him and burst out laughing. He mocked Yang, saying that doing well in theory exams didn't mean he could awaken a high-grade beast seal. The female students nearby whispered that in Longo's history, fewer than 10 beastmasters had ever awakened divine-grade beast seals. When Yang claimed he would get one, they thought he was just bragging. Class A Beastmaster instructor Zhang Guofu told Old Su that Yang from his class wasn't very talented, but his bragging skills were unmatched. Class B instructor Su Tianguo replied that with Yang's top score in the mock exams, awakening a divine-grade beast seal wasn't impossible. Guofu thought he was joking. He had checked long ago. Yang was an orphan. His parents had been at the very bottom of society when they were alive, and possessed no talent at all. Although Yang's older sister, Yang Bing, had shocked everyone years ago by awakening a divine-grade beast seal, Guofu argued that she was adopted and had no blood relation to him. He was eager to see Zhou Ying from his class shine. She stepped into the magic circle. Everyone watched closely. Ying had always been second in the grade, so they were eager to see what kind of beast seal she would awaken. She stood at the center of the formation and slowly raised her hand. A pink light began to swirl around her palm. The magic stones around her flared brightly. 7 pillars of light shot into the air. The orange-haired guy froze in shock. She had awakened a divine-grade beast seal. Guofu narrowed his eyes as he noticed something forming in the clouds above. It was a divine-grade beast seal, the Black Phoenix. Tianguo was stunned. The last time Longuo successfully summoned a Black Phoenix beast seal was 200 years ago, and now it had appeared again today. The black-haired master announced that Ying had obtained a divine grade with SS rank talent. A student shouted that the school beauty was incredible. With this result, she was guaranteed a recommendation to Tianlong Academy and might even be recorded in history. The master praised Ying, saying she was outstanding and that Longuo's future depended on pillars of talent like her. She thanked him for his praise and promised to keep working hard to improve her strength. The final name was called. It was Yang. Ying believed she would finally defeat him this time. But Yang calmly warned her not to celebrate too early. Guofu sneered at Tianguo, saying he was looking forward to seeing what kind of trash beast seal the top student of his class would awaken. Yang stepped into the formation, and the awakening began. The magic stones lit up in different colors. Gasps echoed through the crowd when all 12 awakening stones ignited at once. They couldn't understand how that was possible for someone from such a poor background. Ying's jaw dropped. Everyone lifted their heads as the sky above began to open. Countless phantom silhouettes appeared within the clouds. Everyone stood frozen in shock. The sign of a beast seal was forming. They waited, holding their breath, to see if he had succeeded. A scroll slowly appeared in the sky. Yang frowned, confused about where his beast seal was. A beam of golden light descended from the heavens and entered his body. He stiffened in shock. The system informed the host that the beast seal, classic of mountains and seas, had been bound to him. He could randomly summon all kings of creatures recorded within it. His mouth hung open. The system detected that the host currently had no monster and asked whether he wished to summon one. The black-haired student stared in disbelief, unable to understand what was happening. The old master sighed and muttered that it was truly a pity. Then the instructor announced that Yang's talent was SSS rank, but he had awakened a divine-grade trash beast seal, an ancient book. The area fell into an awkward silence. Then everyone burst out laughing. They mocked him for having SSS rank talent, yet awakening a useless beast seal. Guofu laughed at Tianguo, saying he had made such a big deal over nothing. In front of real monsters, Yang would just be a walking meat bun. He joked that Yang might as well fight enemies by throwing books at them. Some students imagined him smacking a bald man on the head with a book and laughed even harder. One student said that awakening a broken book really suited Yang's image as a bookworm. Tianguo stepped forward and told Yang not to be discouraged, explaining that awakening beast seals depended heavily on luck. He believed that with Yang's ability, even without a monster, he would still achieve something. Yang thanked his teacher and asked if he could leave first. Tianguo agreed and told him to get some rest. As Yang walked away, the crowd hurled insults at him, calling him a stray dog leaving the field. They mocked him for boldly claiming earlier that he would awaken the strongest beast seal. Apparently, their world was one where disasters invaded without warning, and wormhole dungeons appeared one after another across the globe. In the week before the college entrance examination, everyone had to undergo a beast seal awakening. Only by awakening a beast seal and becoming a beast master could they summon powerful monsters. People often wondered whether anyone could truly resist the terrifying disasters that poured out of those wormhole dungeons. In Country J, someone had summoned Yamada no Orochi, sweeping through every wormhole dungeon within its borders. In Country K, the monster Guishan was summoned, dispersing all the fog-covered forbidden zones across the nation. Meanwhile, Country M summoned a mysterious venomous entity that constantly annexed surrounding weaker countries. As for Longguo, the land where he lived, a break in its ancient civilization had caused the loss of monster totems within the National Destiny Temple. Beastmasters there were no longer able to summon truly powerful monsters. The former Eastern giant slowly declined and became the laughingstock of the world's major nations, in the lush fields. Yang arrived. He was breathing heavily. He opened the status panel. It displayed the name Yang Zhao. He was level 1. His active skill was Monster Summon. His spirit energy was 100/100, Divine Beasts 0/3. His beast seal was the classic of mountains and seas, a super divine unique seal. Seeing the word super divine grade, it finally made sense why no one there had ever seen it before. The system informed him that the host could randomly summon all creatures recorded in the classic of mountains and seas as monsters. As long as a summoned monster was alive, it would take all damage in place of the beast master. Yang's heart raced. This ability completely removed the danger of being ambushed and instantly killed. Next, he checked his SSS grade talent. It was called Divine Encouragement, currently at level 1. It amplified both the master's and the servant's ability values by 10 times. Yang's eyes widened. Even at level 1, it already granted a 10-fold boost. With such an absurd talent paired with a monstrous super divine grade beast seal, it would be impossible not to rise. The system asked if he wanted to begin summoning. Yang selected yes. A vortex of golden light burst into existence. He didn't expect it to cause such a massive disturbance. The system congratulated him. He had obtained an SSS grade monster, Zhulong. Zhulong was SSS grade at level 1. Its passive skill was Dragon's Might. Its active skills were Zhulong's Breath and Dragon's Roar. Its strength, agility, and spirit were all 1,000, while its constitution reached 2,000. Dragon's Might intimidated enemies no more than 5 levels higher than Zhulong, reducing their strength by 20%. Zhulong's Breath released a blazing beam from its mouth, dealing area damage equal to 300% of spirit. Dragon's Roar unleashed a thunderous roar, dealing area damage equal to 300% of strength. Yang was stunned. The base attributes alone started at 1,000. Even the strongest level 1 monsters usually had no more than 100 points in a single stat. At that moment, he truly understood how terrifying the 10-fold amplification from Divine Encouragement really was. Yang raised his head and commanded Zhulong to acknowledge him as its master. At the same time, at the National Destiny Temple, a blinding burst of golden light suddenly exploded outward, swallowing everything in front of them. Silhouettes of countless different creatures appeared within the light. An instructor rushed toward the masters and urgently reported that something had happened. An SSS grade monster had appeared at the National Destiny Temple. The master was deeply shocked. The man dressed in black spoke calmly, saying that Longguo's ancient heritage had been broken for many years, and it had been far too long since an SSS grade had appeared. The master told him not to get excited yet. They needed to see it with their own eyes first. They hurried over to investigate. Soon, they confirmed the effect of the SSS grade totem. One of them wondered if this could be the sign that their great nation was about to rise again. The national destiny value had increased by 1,000 points. The master immediately ordered an investigation. Even if they had to dig 3 feet into the ground, he wanted to find out who had summoned the SSS grade monster. Meanwhile, at the Novice dungeon waiting area, The orange-haired guy walked up to Yang, assuming he had received the notice as well. He asked if Yang wanted to team up. Yang replied that he got the message, but he planned to go solo. The orange-haired guy was stunned. His first thought was that Yang had gone crazy. A nearby student overheard them and mocked Yang, asking if the classic of mountains and seas was going to grow legs and carry him through the dungeon. Another student laughed and asked if Yang planned to fight monsters with a trash beast seal. The orange-haired guy leaned in and whispered that he had come specifically to carry Yang, yet Yang was being stubborn. Ying walked over and said she pitied him for being so pathetic. She suggested he team up with her instead and promised to carry him through the dungeon. Yang calmly replied that there was no need. Teaming up would only slow down experience gain. She argued that she had a divine-grade beast seal, so leveling up wouldn't be slow at all. Then she realized what he meant. He wanted to level up as fast as possible. That made her ask if he was aiming for Tianlong Academy. Once again, the crowd burst out laughing. The entry requirement for Tianlong Academy was level 10, and they thought Yang was boasting yet again. Ying grew irritated. Since both of them were aiming for Tianlong Academy, she challenged Yang to see who could level up faster. Yang smiled in amusement. He turned around and walked away, saying he would wait for her at the finish line. She shouted after him, calling him a bastard. Then he disappeared into the dungeon. Ying entered as well, and summoned her Black Phoenix. She quickly encountered a level 2 monster. Even though her Black Phoenix was only level 1, it was still a divine-grade beast seal, so dealing with a level 2 horned horse wouldn't be a problem. She used Phoenix Strike. The monster was hit directly and died on the spot. Seeing how easily she defeated it filled her with confidence. She believed that no one could possibly level up faster than her. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, several wolf-like beasts were roaming around. Yang ran into a level 3 monster the moment he arrived, and worse, it was a troublesome wolf pack. If it had been anyone else, they would have been surrounded and killed on the spot. But Yang had area of effect skills, and his monster could take damage for him. He ordered his dragon to use Julong's breath. A dense wave of energy gathered inside Julong's open mouth. Then a torrent of blazing fire burst out. In an instant, 2 level 3 forest wolves were burned to ashes, granting Yang plus 60 experience for each kill. Just as expected from an SSS grade monster, a single move wiped out an entire group. Yang's level shot up. He reached level 3. The classic of mountains and seas allowed 3 monster slots. If he could summon another monster, his efficiency would rise even further. It was a shame that spirit energy only recovered 10 points per day, and summoning required a full 100 points. For now, he let Julong handle everything alone. Julong tore through several wild boars, earning Yang plus 30 experience points for each one. After that, it killed a level 1 poison scorpion, granting Yang plus 10 experience points. Yang stood deep within the forest. A monster suddenly appeared behind him. He sensed it immediately. It was a level 5 wild dog king. At level 5, it was faster and stronger than most monsters in the Novice dungeon. It also had an active skill called Bite, where it launched a ferocious attack with its sharp teeth, dealing 120% strength damage. If anyone else encountered it, their only option would be to run. But unfortunately for the monster, it had run into Yang. Yang ordered Julong to take it down with a fire breath. Julong immediately casted the skill. The Wild Dog King reacted instantly and dodged to the side, as expected of a monster known as the Newbie Killer. It was fast. It actually dodged Julong's attack. Then, it let out a low growl. Then, it lunged straight at Yang. Yang grinned. He calmly commanded Julong to activate Dragon's Roar. The Wild Dog King leapt forward, right into the shockwaves. When it finally fell, a crystal dropped to the ground. Yang noticed that the attack range of Dragon's Roar was only about 10 meters. He silently thanked the monster for closing the distance by jumping toward them. He picked up the Wild Dog King's drop. It was a spirit energy stone. Yang froze in surprise. He remembered teacher Tiango once saying that these stones could restore spirit energy. It couldn't have come at a better time. The system asked if he wanted to use it immediately. He selected yes. A soft blue glow wrapped around his body. His spirit energy instantly recovered to 100 points. Yang felt satisfied. Without hesitation, he initiated another summon. A spatial rift opened in the sky. A massive head slowly emerged from within. Bright light poured out as the creature descended. When the glow faded, it revealed an SS-grade classic of mountains and seas monster, Dragon Turtle. Yang was stunned. He couldn't help but wonder if every creature recorded in the classic of mountains and seas was this powerful. While its attributes weren't as overwhelming as the SSS-grade Julong, the Dragon Turtle was still SS-grade level 1, with 1 star. Its passive skill was Thorned Shell, and its active skills were Taunt level 1 and Spike Defense level 1. Yang quickly realized what made it special. Its constitution was extremely high, and its defenses were absurd. Thorned Shell reflected 20% of incoming damage and reduced damage taken by 10%. Taunt let out a roar that forced enemies within 20 meters to attack it, while reducing damage taken by 5%. Spike defense caused the dragon turtle to curl into a ball, greatly strengthening its defense and reducing damage taken by 30%. Yang's eyes lit up when he saw the taunt skill. Paired with Zhulong's devastating area of effect attacks, it was a perfect combination. Back at the National Destiny Temple, someone rushed in to report an urgent matter to the National Advisor. The advisor asked what had happened, even as he was calmly having tea with two masters. The staff member reported that a new monster totem had appeared. The National Advisor's expression changed instantly. One of the masters immediately asked what grade the monster was. The report came back quickly. It was an SS grade monster, and the National Destiny value had increased by another 500 points. All three of them jumped to their feet. New totems appearing 2 days in a row was already unheard of, and both were powerful beings above S grade. What made it even more unbelievable was the data analysis. Both monsters appeared to have been summoned by the same person, a novice beast master, someone who wasn't even level 10 yet. The room fell silent. It was truly shocking news. In another setting, while Tianguo was walking outside, a woman approached him and said she heard that Yang had entered the novice dungeon to level up. A silver-haired man was shocked by the news. Another woman added that a trash beast seal couldn't summon monsters at all, so going inside was no different from suicide. Tianguo also heard from the students that Yang somehow seemed able to summon monsters. The short-haired woman mocked him, asking what kind of monster a trash beast could summon. She joked that it was probably just a book that grew legs and ran away. Everyone burst into laughter. Tianguo could only sigh. He realized that Yang still hadn't given up. While they were chatting, a portal opened as someone came out. It was the president of the Sub-North City Beastmaster Alliance branch, Zhou Jianhua. He arrived riding a griffin. His expression was serious. Someone greeted him and asked if he was there to check his daughter's results. The man replied that the dungeon hadn't ended yet, so he would need to wait. But then he noticed something. The dungeon gate had opened, which meant someone was coming out. The silver-haired man said that the first one to come out must be his daughter. But to everyone's surprise, it was Yang. Tianguo asked why he had come out so early. Yang said he didn't know. He explained that he was fighting monsters when the system suddenly notified him that he had cleared the dungeon and was forcibly kicked out. But the truth was that he had already reached level 5 and was about to head toward the level 10 monster spawn area when a level 10 Savage King appeared out of nowhere. Zhulong accidentally killed it with a single breath, and Yang was immediately kicked out of the dungeon. Guofu asked how that was even possible. In previous years, even the most talented students needed at least 2 full days to clear it. Then he noticed something. His jaw dropped when he saw that Yang was already level 5. Tianguo and Jianhua hadn't expected that either. Guofu wondered how Yang managed it when his beast seal was just a broken book. He wanted to know what kind of monster Yang had summoned. Yang was about to answer when Tianguo interrupted him. He subtly pulled Yang aside and urged him to rest quickly, saying he must be exhausted after leveling up all day. Then he whispered that Yang shouldn't casually reveal his summoned monster to others before the college entrance examination. Yang understood and thanked him. In recent years, the only person in Longo who could clear the novice dungeon on the first day was the prodigy Yang Bing. Even she came out only 2 minutes before the dungeon closed, while Yang exited an entire hour early. The gap between them was terrifying. The dungeon gate glowed again, and Ying came out. Everyone cheered when they saw that she had reached level 4. Students gathered around her, chatting excitedly. One student bragged that he had summoned a C-grade monster and grinded all day, but only reached level 2. Another boasted that he got a B-grade monster and was still stuck at level 2. Ying looked around. Jianhua asked her what she was searching for. She asked her father if he had seen Yang. Jianhua told her that Yang had already reached level 5, cleared the dungeon an hour earlier, and left. She was stunned. She couldn't even imagine how it was possible to clear the dungeon an entire hour early. The next day, Yang stood in front of the dungeon. There were still 5 days left before the exam. He planned to reach level 7 that day. An orange-haired woman clung to him, asking to be carried inside. On his other side, a silver-haired woman suggested teaming up and casually mentioned that she still didn't have a boyfriend. Yang flatly told them he wasn't interested. Annoyed, the 2 women started hurling insults at him. Ying saw the scene and scoffed. He arrived inside the dungeon. He looked around the area where he was teleported. The monsters were scattered across the field. It was perfect for testing the dragon turtle's skills. He summoned his monsters. Zhulong, his gray dragon, appeared, along with the dragon turtle, a massive golden turtle covered in sharp spikes. Yang ordered the dragon turtle to use taunt. It quickly aided its master's command. Then he tasked Zhulong with clearing the mobs. Zhulong opened its mouth and breathed fire. Several monsters were wiped out at once. a level 4 wild fox that gave plus 220 experience points, and a level 6 poisonous snake that gave plus 250 experience points. A black bear worth plus 300 experience points and another level 6 poisonous snake worth plus 250 experience points were also caught in the flames. With the dragon turtle in play, Yang's leveling efficiency rose again. Both monsters had grown stronger as well. Zhulong, boosted by its talent, had already surpassed 3,000 in a single attribute. Yang realized that this novice training dungeon could no longer satisfy him. He needed to find a way to enter a higher level dungeon. As he was thinking that, a system notification appeared. They had killed a level 10 mutated black bear and earned plus 400 experience points. He also obtained a monster drop, the Beastmaster skillbook Soul Tier. Soul Tier could directly attack an enemy's soul, dealing fatal damage that ignored all defense. Its power scaled with the Beastmaster's spirit. In other words, Yang could now fight on his own without relying on his pets. He decided to learn it. The system notified him that he had mastered the skill Soul Tear. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed through the dungeon. A muscular, half-human, half-monster roared, unleashing a sonic wave attack. The timing was perfect. Yang finally had a practice target. He activated Soul Tier. An orb of energy gathered in his palms. The moment he released it, a beam of light shot forward at incredible speed. It struck the monster's soul directly. The monster was instantly killed. It collapsed to the ground. Then a final notification appeared. Yang had slain the final boss, the Savage King, and earned plus 1,000 experience points. The system congratulated Yang for clearing the dungeon and told him to come back again tomorrow. He was thrilled that he had killed the boss in a single hit. The system then notified him that he would be leaving the dungeon in 10 seconds. Tianguo's eyes widened when he saw Yang coming out again. While Yang was displeased at being forcibly kicked out, Tianguo was confused by his timing. He asked why Yang came out early again when there were still 2 hours left before the dungeon closed. He even suggested that Yang grind a bit more. Yang calmly replied that he had accidentally one-shot the Savage King again. A nearby student felt offended after hearing that, thinking Yang was deliberately trying to shame everyone else. Guofu was also annoyed. He believed Yang was clearly showing off. Tianguo stepped in and said it was fine. Yang could just come back tomorrow, but then Yang added that he wanted to enter the Spider Cave dungeon the next day to level up. That instantly shocked Tianguo. The Spider Cave had no protective measures. It was a completely wild dungeon with difficulty far beyond the novice dungeon. On top of that, Yang was already level 7. Getting into a higher institution would be easy for him. Tianguo didn't want him taking such a huge risk. Yang revealed that ordinary schools were never his goal. He wanted to apply to Tianlong Academy. Tianguo hadn't expected that at all. Yang explained that Tianlong Academy required level 10 to apply, and the novice dungeon could no longer satisfy him. At that moment, Tianguo realized the boy was serious. Seeing that Yang had already made up his mind, he chose not to stop him. Still, he warned him to be extremely careful. If there was any danger at all, Yang must retreat immediately and not act recklessly. Yang thanked his teacher and promised to remember his words. Meanwhile, Ying came out of the dungeon. Guofu was pleased to see her and praised her effort. She had come out an hour earlier than yesterday, which was a big improvement. She immediately looked around for Yang. When she found him, he told her that he had already reached level 7 and left early. She was stunned. She muttered that she had tried her hardest just to barely reach level 6, yet Yang was already ahead of her again. That only strengthened her resolve to surpass him tomorrow, but Guofu told her that Yang wouldn't be coming tomorrow. He explained that Yang planned to go to the Spider Cave. She couldn't believe it. The Spider Cave was a level 12 dungeon. Even her Black Phoenix might struggle there. That made her wonder if Yang had some kind of secret weapon. After a brief pause, she said that she wanted to go to the Spider Cave as well, at a trading house. To challenge the Spider Cave, the combat power of just 2 monsters was still not enough. That made Yang even more determined to summon a 3rd monster. The receptionist greeted him and asked how she could help. Yang asked if they bought items obtained from dungeons. Then he poured out a pile of valuable-looking loot. He said he wanted to sell everything, then use the money to buy a spirit stone. The receptionist told him to wait a moment. After everything was processed, she handed him a spirit stone. Yang waited for the rest of the money. The receptionist explained that all the items he sold came from the novice dungeon, so their value was extremely low. The total amount was only enough to buy a single spirit stone. There was no change left. Yang hadn't expected that. When he heard it, his face went pale. After working hard for 2 full days, he ended up with nothing. Only then did he realize how badly he was screwed. Lowering her voice, the receptionist told him that if he wanted to make real money, he should go to the Adventurers Guild and take dungeon quests. Now he knew. So he went straight to the Adventurers Guild. He couldn't believe how stingy most of the quest rewards were. None of them were worth his time. He wanted something better. Then something caught his eye. The quest objective was to hunt a randomly appearing calamity beast in the Spider Cave dungeon. The difficulty requirement was Nightmare or above. Only then would the calamity drop a calamity heart. The reward was 1,000 gold coins and 1 monster star-up stone. Yang found exactly what he was looking for. He accepted the quest without hesitation. To challenge Nightmare difficulty, he needed to prepare his third monster as soon as possible. Under the blue sky, he used a spirit stone. It restored his spirit energy. With that, he could finally perform another monster summon. He began. Space tore open. Golden light burst out. He stared ahead, eager to see what would appear this time. The golden light was blinding. At first, only part of a silhouette could be seen. Yang's eyes widened the moment he noticed it. Meanwhile, night had already fallen at the temple, so when the golden light appeared, it stood out immediately. A massive monster silhouette formed. At the same time, the other monsters inside the pillar began to glow. The master asked what was happening. The national advisor guessed that another totem had appeared. They were shaken. 3 unknown, powerful monsters had appeared in a row. The temple had stood for nearly 1,000 years, and nothing like this had ever happened. What shocked them even more was that this totem stood higher than Zhulong's. The national fortune value had increased by 1,500 points. The master declared that the heavens had blessed Longguo. Its rise was inevitable. The monster Yang summoned held a giant axe. Its face was located on its stomach. It stood upright on 2 legs, and it had no head. This was Xingtian, an SSS grade monster. It had a passive skill called War God's Body, level 1. It also had 2 active skills, Bloodthirsty Rage, level 1, and Desperate Strike, level 1. Its strength was 2,000, agility 1,500, spirit 1,000, and constitution 2,500. Yang knew this legendary god of war was terrifying. Its base attributes were even stronger than Zhulong's. He praised the classic of mountains and seas as the most extraordinary book in the world. It was a true ancient treasure. He was overjoyed. At the same time, back at the temple, the master asked if there was any information on the newly appeared monster. A man replied that the data analysis department had just confirmed it. The third monster was also SSS grade, and it had been summoned by the same beast master who wasn't even level 10. The master in the red robe was stunned. He ordered his men to investigate at once and find that beast master, since this could shape the future of Longguo. The national advisor replied that they had already checked all students who recently awakened heaven grade or higher beast seals, but found nothing. The person's information was hidden by a supernatural force. Because of that, they could only wait for the college entrance exam trial in 3 days to reveal the person's identity. At the entrance of the dungeon, a crowd had gathered. Some people were even searching for parties to join. Others openly advertised themselves, hoping to be carried. One of them noticed a level 7. That alone was shocking, since this was a level 12 dungeon. A woman walked up to Yang and teasingly asked if he needed her to take him home. He replied no and walked straight past her. A man nearby warned him not to go in and throw his life away. He explained that this wasn't like the beginner dungeons Yang cleared at school. If he ran into a calamity-class monster, he might not come out alive. That caught Yang's attention. He asked if the calamity class the man mentioned was the one that dropped a heart of calamity. The man answered seriously. If a calamity-class monster appeared, it had to be killed immediately. If they failed, death would be the least of their worries. It could even cause the nation's fortune value to drop, which would be a massive disaster. Yang thanked him for the warning, but a calamity-class monster was exactly what he came to hunt. The man was stunned by his words. The system prompted Yang to choose the dungeon difficulty. The options were simple, difficult, and nightmare. The Heart of Calamity only dropped in nightmare mode, so there was nothing to hesitate over. He selected it and stepped inside. The man who warned him muttered that Yang was reckless and said they'd probably be collecting his body later. The woman shook her head and commented that it was a waste of such a handsome face, because clearly his brain didn't work very well. The moment he entered the dungeon, the surroundings shifted. Monsters began spawning the instant he arrived. The first one was a spider warrior, an elite-class monster, level 12. It had no passive skills, but it possessed an active skill called Blade. Its attacks were highly toxic, dealing an extra 10% sustained damage. It had 2,000 strength, 800 spirit, 1,300 agility, and a massive 4,000 health. As expected from the highest difficulty, all mobs were elites, starting at level 12. He ordered the dragon turtle to use taunt. It let out a loud roar. After that, he summoned Xingtian. Then Zhulong attacked immediately. After releasing a blast of fire breath, Yang was instantly notified that he had defeated a level 12 elite monster, Spider Warrior. He gained plus 600 experience points and obtained the spider longsword. The results were excellent. With Xingtian on his team, and the Divine Inspiration buff granting a 10-fold boost to attributes, even level 12 elites were manageable. He continued clearing monsters. Both spider warriors and web-spinning spiders gave him plus 600 experience points each, while the young spiders rewarded plus 400 experience points. He had been fighting for a long time, yet the quest target still hadn't appeared. He began to wonder if the spawn wasn't guaranteed. What he didn't know was that something was watching him from the shadows. Suddenly, it attacked. It was the Calamity-class monster he had been hunting. When he checked its stats, they were absurd. It was a mutant-type monster at level 13. It had a skill called Gigantification Physical Defense, which reduced incoming strength damage by 20%, granted plus 1,000 toughness, and boosted its attack interval by plus 0.3 seconds, while reducing its movement speed by 25%. It also had Toxic Plague, which released poisonous mist that poisoned the target and reduced movement speed by 35%. On top of that, it possessed Death Stinger, unleashing a venomous strike that dealt 500% strength damage. Even so, Yang didn't hesitate. He ordered his summoned monsters to charge. The monster's defense was terrifying, and its health pool was massive. Even in a 3-on-1 fight, it was still difficult. Yang could feel the danger steadily rising. Then he remembered one thing. He still had Soul Tear, a skill that ignored defense and dealt direct lethal damage. He activated it and unleashed the attack. The monster let out a piercing screech. It fell from the ceiling. It was furious now. Yang had become its sole target. For its counterattack, it spat something out. A sharp limb shot toward him. It was moving too fast. There was no way for him to dodge it. Yang braced himself for impact. To his surprise, he wasn't injured at all. He realized why. Because of the Dragon Turtle's trait, the damage meant for him had been transferred to it instead. Still, he knew the Dragon Turtle couldn't take too many hits. He had to end this fast. He used Soul Tear again. This time, it struck the spider's spirit. This caused significant damage. At the same time, Zhulong finished charging its attack. It released a blast of fire straight at the monster. Yang watched the spider burned. Only then did he relax. It was finally over. He defeated a level 13 Calamity-class monster and gained plus 8,000 experience points. He leveled up and obtained the quest item, Lesser Heart of Calamity. As expected of a Calamity monster, it dropped far more than just the quest item. There were rare items, Calamity Mask and Longbow. There were also psionic stones and various pieces of equipment. One of them was a spirit staff at superior rank. It increased spirit by plus 60 and boosted scion power by 5%, though it required a higher level to use. Another was the spider spirit mask, also superior rank. It increased mental power by plus 30 and granted invisibility twice a day, each use lasting 2 minutes. It became usable after level 8. In short, the spirit staff would increase the damage of Soul Tear, and the spider mask granted a powerful invisibility ability. Yang was thrilled. This gear was perfect for ambushes and quick escapes. Suddenly, the Dragon Turtle let out a painful groan. That made Yang uneasy. He decided to send it back to the exotic beast realm so it could rest. After a second, it vanished. If that venomous sting had directly hit the Dragon Turtle, its incredible defense would have reduced most of the damage. But because the attack was transferred from him, it nearly pushed the Dragon Turtle too far. He blamed himself for being too fragile. That moment made something clear to him. He needed to improve his survivability. And he also realized something else. The dungeon was far more dangerous than he had expected. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, people were chatting about their runs. One man talked about being surrounded and nearly killed. Another said the same thing had happened to him. The red-haired woman spotted Yang again. Earlier, he was level 7. Now, he was already level 9. The man who had warned Yang before stared in disbelief. Yang had actually cleared nightmare difficulty and walked out alive. The woman began to think that his tamed beast must be incredibly powerful, but the man shook his head. He believed that was impossible. No matter how strong a tamed beast was, it couldn't solo clear nightmare difficulty across levels. In his eyes, Yang must have been carrying some extremely powerful items. At the Adventurers Guild, Yang submitted the Heart of Calamity. The rewards were immediately issued to him. He was satisfied. The item could greatly boost the attributes of his tamed beasts and might even awaken new skills. All the effort had been worth it. He planned to sell the equipment he obtained from the dungeon. After that, he would focus on leveling up his tamed beasts. Yang hurried outside at once. He was moving too fast and didn't slow down. Suddenly, he bumped into a blue-haired woman. She fell straight onto the ground. Her face turned red as she snapped at him for crashing into her. Yang blushed and fired back, saying she had bumped into him on purpose just to take advantage of him. The woman paused when she looked up and noticed how handsome he was. She quickly apologized, explaining that she had been walking too fast and hadn't seen him. The blue-haired woman stepped closer, making Yang blush. He explained that he was in a hurry to sell his equipment. That immediately sparked her interest. She wondered what kind of good items a level 9 player like him could possibly have. Then she noticed the Spider Elite Leader's long sword hanging at his waist. She casually wrapped an arm around his shoulder, making him jump in surprise. Lowering her voice, she told him that selling equipment at the auction house would only result in a loss. She suggested that he sell it directly to her instead. Yang hesitated. He didn't even know her, and there was no guarantee she wouldn't scam him. She smiled and said he must have heard of the Fairy Guild. She introduced herself as Xiao Ru, a member of the Fairy Guild, mainly in charge of acquiring equipment and materials. She promised him a fair and reasonable price, staking the guild's reputation on it. Yang thought it over. The trading house prices were indeed very low. Compared to that, selling to her actually made more sense. Since he also had a few top-tier items, he asked if she wanted to buy those as well. Her eyes lit up with excitement. He opened his inventory and showed her. She was instantly shocked. Those items could only drop from defeating calamity-class monsters. Yang quickly covered her mouth and told her to keep her voice down. There were too many people around and too many curious eyes. They needed to stay low-key. She nodded in agreement. She asked how someone at level 9 could have so much calamity gear. She even wondered if it came from illegal means. Yang calmly explained that he earned everything himself. Then he asked her a simple question. Was she buying or not? She answered without hesitation. She would buy them all. With a playful smile, she praised him, saying he was not only handsome but also highly capable. Then she said she had a favor to ask. Yang asked what it was. She explained that there was a level 14 goblin mine dungeon in the southern outskirts. She needed the Goblin King's skull. If he could bring it back, she said she would reward him generously, hinting that she could even offer herself to him as payment. Her tone was clearly seductive. Yang replied that it was completely unnecessary. He wasn't that kind of person. At that moment, he realized that boys also needed to protect themselves. She laughed and added that the Goblin King's skull was extremely valuable and that he would be properly rewarded for it. Yang agreed. He needed to level up in higher level areas anyway, and a level 14 dungeon was a good fit for him. She told him she'd be waiting for his good news, then turned and left. Yang felt satisfied. He had successfully sold all the equipment materials. Without wasting time, he set off to find a place where he could rank up his mythical beast. What he didn't know was that someone had been watching him. The man had seen everything. A level 9 player who solo cleared the Spider Cave's calamity monsters. He found Yang very interesting. Meanwhile, the system asked if he wanted to use the star upgrade stone on the mythical beast, Xingtian. He answered yes. The moment it activated, Xingtian began to glow. A loud rumble echoed out. When it ended, Xingtian's star level had risen to level 2. Its stats soared: 8,000 strength, 7,000 agility, 8,000 constitution, and 3,000 spirit. After the upgrade, its 4 core attributes were nearly on par with the venomous spider calamity they had faced earlier. On top of that, Xingtian gained a new passive skill with a chance to trigger an instant kill. Even though the instant kill chance was only 1.5%, a single axe swing capable of slaying a calamity-level monster was an unrivaled ability, one that other mythical beasts could only dream of. A few hours later, he arrived at the hidden dungeon, Goblin Mine. This was the place Xiaoru had mentioned. Without hesitation, he went inside. The dark cave was lit by glowing crystals along the walls. As soon as he stepped forward, he felt it. A monster appeared. Then more followed. A group of enemies rushed out to greet him, a level 14 goblin archer, goblin blade wielder, goblin spearman, and a goblin shaman. Yang wasn't worried at all. In fact, seeing them only benefited him. It saved him the trouble of finding them one by one. He activated his detection technique. He learned the details of the goblin spearman. The attributes of the monsters in the level 14 dungeon were much higher than before. But he smiled, because he was no longer the same as yesterday. Now, it was Xingtian's turn. He wanted to see its strength after the star upgrade. Xingtian raised its axe. When it swung down, the impact was terrifying. The level 14 elite goblin shaman was instantly killed, earning them plus 1,400 experience points. After reaching 2 stars, Xingtian's attack speed became faster, and its movements grew more agile. It continued slaughtering the goblins. The system notified him that the level 14 goblin archers had been defeated, granting plus 1,500 experience points and goblin hide per monster. Yang realized that fighting these goblins was no different from slicing melons and chopping vegetables. He estimated that he would reach level 10 in this place. The dragon turtle let out a loud roar. He understood that it wanted to fight as well, so he assured it that its turn would come soon. Suddenly, Xingtian's axe was blocked. The goblin pushed back with force. Yang frowned and asked what was happening. He was shocked that the goblin had actually blocked Xingtian's strike. He immediately activated his detection technique. He discovered that it was a goblin general, a boss-level monster with a passive skill called General's Intuition. General's Intuition reduced incoming damage by 20% and increased its own strength by 10%. That explained how it managed to withstand Xingtian's attack. Xingtian activated its skill. It entered a frenzy. Its axe was engulfed in a red aura. It moved at blazing speed. The strike landed cleanly. The boss-level goblin general was slain, and it dropped an item called General's Armor, usable at level 10. He had planned to save money to buy defensive gear, but now it had delivered itself right into his hands. Since the armor required level 10, those monsters would just have to forgive him for going all out. He summoned the dragon turtle. This guy is already ready for the battle. It activated Taunt. It released a deafening roar. The sound echoed far and wide. It drew the attention of monsters deeper inside the cave. Yang then commanded Zhulong and Xingtian to wipe them all out. They moved instantly and began the massacre. 3 hours later. The goblins trembled when they saw them. The attacks never stopped. The system notified him that a level 13 elite goblin swordsman had been killed, and with that, Yang reached level 10. At level 10, all 4 of his main stats were far higher than before. His beasts also grew stronger along with him. Now it was time to face the Goblin King. He went deeper into the cave. A huge goblin charged straight at him. He activated his detection skill. Just as he expected from a leader-class monster, its stats were even higher than the spider calamity. It was level 15 with 8,000 strength, 5,000 agility, 4,000 spirit, and 12,000 constitution. It had a passive skill called King's Presence, granting 40% damage reduction, boosting summoned goblins' strength by 15%, and suppressing enemies' strength by 5%. Its active skills were King's Roar and Goblin Summoning. The Goblin King opened its mouth, preparing to roar. Yang's expression tightened. He activated Shield of Life. A bright glow burst from his torso. It spread across his entire body, wrapping him in a bubble of golden light. The monster let out a thunderous roar. Even with the shield, the impact shook him. He realized this thing was a real monster to deal with. He summoned his tamed beasts. They appeared one after another. He warned them that the Goblin King was far stronger than anything they had faced so far, and told them to follow his commands and fight together. Xingtian stepped forward to begin the battle. Yang, the dragon turtle, and Zhulong widened their eyes in shock. He had just told them to listen, yet Xingtian charged in on its own. Xingtian activated its passive skill, Super Destruction. Its axe cleaved straight through the Goblin King's flesh. The Goblin King's head rolled to Yang's feet. Yang stood frozen. He couldn't believe Xingtian had killed it in a single strike. They obtained the Goblin King's skull, eyeball, and energy stone. Yang felt overwhelmed. Super Destruction only had a 1.5% chance to trigger an instant kill. He never expected Xingtian to be this insanely lucky. He bent down and picked up the head. Now that the mission was complete, he decided to hurry back and report to Xiaoru. He exited the dungeon. The moment he stepped outside, he noticed something strange. There were people everywhere. Way too many. He wondered why so many people were gathered here. Nearby, a blue-haired man reported to Brother Long, a man with an eye patch. He said Yang was the one who had solo killed a calamity before. And now, at level 10, he had even solo cleared a level 14 dungeon. He suspected Yang possessed a powerful divine artifact. Yang noticed their badge. A dolphin was engraved at the center. It made him wonder if they belonged to some kind of guild. He asked what they wanted. Long scoffed. He said they had been waiting for him all day. Yang would be smart to hand over the Goblin King's skull. And his divine artifact, too. Yang was being robbed, but the man insisted he was only borrowing the items. Yang asked what would happen if he refused. The man raised a crossbow. He said Yang's head would explode. Yang forced himself to calm down. Before acting, he wanted to learn more about these scumbags. He told them that if they only wanted money, they could take the Goblin King's skull. The blue-haired man burst out laughing. He said Yang had some guts, but it turned out he was just a coward. The bald man mocked him, saying he got scared the moment the boss pulled out his crossbow. Long nodded in approval. At least Yang had some sense. But he also wanted the divine artifact. Yang replied that he didn't have one. They shouted at him to stop playing dumb. Clearing a level 14 goblin dungeon before reaching level 10 was impossible. They were sure he owned a divine artifact. Yang was offended. They were making it sound like their guild, Black Shark, were a bunch of 3-year-olds. Black Shark was an infamous trash guild. Yang realized he couldn't let them walk away. He pulled something out. He gripped the glowing blade tightly and told them to get a taste of it. Everyone froze when Yang vanished. In the next instant, he appeared behind Long. The crystal-like dagger pressed against Long's neck. With a single clean motion, he slit his throat. Shock spread across their faces. They couldn't believe their boss, Long, was dead. The blue-haired man screamed for the guild members to summon their beasts and avenge their boss. They charged forward together, determined to kill Yang. Their beasts were summoned. They threatened him, boasting that they had so many beasts that even their spit could drown him. Yang found it amusing. He summoned Zhulong. Fear swept through them. The moment they saw his 3 beasts, their will to fight shattered. They knew they were no match. They hurriedly claimed it was all a misunderstanding. Yang declared that the Black Shark Guild's reputation had been rotten for years. They chose to mess with him today, so today would be their unlucky day. He commanded Xing Tian to finish it. They begged for mercy. Xing Tian swung its axe and cut them down. Yang watched closely. Survival of the fittest ruled this world, but taking a life for the first time still made his heart pound. 2 hours later, night had already fallen. Xiaoru hugged him tightly, thanking him over and over. He traded the Goblin King's skull to Xiaoru in exchange for a large amount of resources. Now, all he had to do was wait for the big exam to begin. Suddenly, he sensed someone behind him. That person grabbed him. Instinct took over. He shook them off and twisted their arm, demanding to know who it was. When he pulled the person in front of him, he froze. It was Ying. He stared at her in surprise. She complained about his reaction, saying all she did was tap his shoulder. She told him to let go because he was hurting her. Realizing what he had done, he quickly apologized. Then he asked if she needed something from him. She questioned why he wasn't in the super cave. He explained that he went somewhere else and had already reached level 10. The news shocked her. She went on a rant, saying he never thought about other people's feelings and that he should stop crushing their self-esteem. He scratched his head and said he was just lucky and that she was excellent too. She then demanded that he take her to level up tomorrow. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to enter Tianlong Academy. He didn't understand her urgency. She still had plenty of time to reach level 10, but she refused to back down. Inside, he felt she was hard to deal with. In the end, he agreed. They decided to meet at the spider cave the next day. The next day, at the entrance of the spider cave. A man in a white uniform with a badge shouted, telling everyone to get out of the way. Yang recognized the badge. It was the same one worn by the people from yesterday. Ying grabbed his hand and told him they should stay away from them. He asked why. She whispered that when she got home last night, she heard from her dad that the Black Shark Guild had hid an iron plate. He asked what that meant. She explained that several beastmasters from the Black Shark Guild suddenly disappeared yesterday. It was said that only a few badges were found at the scene. No bodies were left behind. He asked if the culprit had been found. She said it was still unclear. The Black Shark Guild relied on their numbers to bully others and had made many enemies. She believed they had suffered divine retribution. This time, they had taken a huge loss, and she found that very satisfying. Yang felt relieved knowing they didn't suspect him. Ying wondered which expert had made those people vanish. She called him an unsung hero. Yang felt a bit flattered. He said the person might not be that amazing. Ying punched him and told him to stop insulting her hero. He felt dizzy and quickly agreed that her hero was handsome and cool. His orange-haired friend spotted them and shouted, asking if he was on a date with the school beauty. Yang was confused. He thought they weren't on good terms. He told his classmate to stop talking nonsense and explained that Ying only wanted his help to level up, just like him. Ying got angry when she heard that he had also made plans with someone else. He told his friend not to worry about the details and urged them to hurry up. His friend gave him a thumbs up, looking like he completely understood. They chose nightmare difficulty. The orange-haired friend froze and asked if Yang was serious. He was only level 5. Yang assured him that he would keep him safe. They stepped into the portal. Several spider monsters greeted them immediately. Even on nightmare difficulty, Ying showed no fear. She summoned her Black Phoenix and Emperor Crocodile. She told them to show their strength. The orange-haired guy and Yang watched from the side. He was shocked when she summoned another A-rank Emperor Crocodile. As the Phoenix flapped its wings, trails of fire followed behind it. It faced the spider demon leader. The monster was level 13, with 8,500 strength, 1,500 spirit, 2,000 agility, and 6,000 constitution. It had a passive skill called Poison Aura and an active skill called Poison Sting, which launched poison stingers for ranged attacks and dealt 150% strength damage. The orange-haired friend trembled. He asked if his little wolf could handle something like that. The poor B-rank wolf shook in fear. Yang stepped forward and offered to take care of it. He summoned Xing Tian. Xing Tian leapt into action at once. Yang ordered the dragon turtle to use taunt, while Zhulong cleared the mobs. They moved in perfect coordination. His friend stared and asked what kind of beasts those even were. Ying was stunned as every mob was pulled away at once. Our boy's dragon was then summoned. Zhulong unleashed a wave of fire into the horde. Next is the god of war. Xingtian followed with brutal slashes. The leader monster was beheaded. Yang's friend stood there in disbelief. He couldn't believe Yang had summoned all of them. Ying lowered her head, feeling frustrated that Yang had surpassed her once again. Eventually, he revealed that he had 1 SS rank beast and 2 SSS rank beasts. His friend's eyes widened in disbelief. They looked at Yang like he was a monster. His friend was confused. 2 instructors had said Yang awakened a trash beast seal, yet he was summoning monsters this terrifying. Yang explained that if his beast seal were an ordinary book, then yes, it would have been trash. But what he obtained was something special. He asked them to keep it a secret. His friend swore to protect that secret with his life. They continued deeper into the cave. An enraged spider monster suddenly blocked their path. Zhulong was summoned. It breathed fire. The spider was reduced to ashes. They killed a level 13 spider warrior, earning plus 500 experience points and a spider dagger. Next, a spider clinging to the wall was slashed apart. It was a level 10 spider warrior, granting another plus 500 experience points. The slaughter continued. Yang's friend couldn't stop exclaiming how terrifying his beasts were. Meanwhile, Ying leveled up. She cheered in excitement. She had finally reached level 10. Now she could apply to Tianlong Academy. Yang casually reminded her that it was all thanks to him. She rolled her eyes, then promised to treat him to a meal later. They exited the dungeon. Yang's friend couldn't stop talking. It was awesome. He never thought he'd reach level 7. When they got back, he was sure his dad would even call Yang. Yang checked his screen. He had reached level 11. Just like he expected, the experience gain slowed a lot after level 10. Ying didn't want to owe him anything, so she invited him out to eat right away. Yang was caught off guard. She grabbed his hand and told his friend not to come along. The friend laughed and said he wouldn't interrupt their date. The next day, at the college entrance exam site, Guofu was pleased to see that Ying had already reached level 10. He was so proud that he openly said she was something special. Then he asked about Yang's level from Tianguo's class, his tone full of mockery. He said Yang dared to apply for the spider cave with a trash beast seal and still hadn't shown up this late. It made him hope nothing bad had happened. Yang suddenly appeared and said that teacher Guofu would end up disappointed. Guofu froze when he saw him. What shocked him even more was that Yang was already level 11. He found it impossible. Leveling up that fast with a trash beast seal made no sense. Yang calmly replied that he had his own ways. Yang apologized to Tianguo for waking up late. Tianguo said it was fine. He knew Yang had worked hard the past few days, so resting more was a good thing. He told him to hurry inside. Tianguo felt proud of him, especially since Yang had reached level 11 and surpassed Ying again. He teased Guofu, saying that practice makes perfect. Guofu stormed off, raising his voice as he said they would see who was better in the exam. The people at the site were shocked when they saw figures flying in the sky. Even Yang was stunned. Only Beastmasters above level 80, who had completed their 3rd job advancement, could do that. He realized he still had a long, brutal way to go. Those figures descended gracefully. The man at the center introduced himself as Mo Yan, the proctor for this exam. Under his watch, cheating would not be tolerated. Anyone caught would be expelled on the spot. The examinees answered in unison that they understood. He explained that the assessment had 3 parts. The first part tested strength and spirit. They would enter an independent space with 2 test statues inside. For every 500 damage dealt, they would earn 1 point. The exam time was half an hour. One student asked if there was an extra reward for killing the statues. Yan replied that there was no need to think about that. One statue was immune to 90% of physical damage, and the other was immune to 90% of elemental damage. At their current level, killing them was absolutely impossible. The exam officially began. Yang was teleported away. 2 statues appeared in front of him. He activated his detect skill. The system displayed the details of the physical resistant gargoyle, a special exam unit. It was level 10 with 500,000 health points. It had a passive skill called physical damage immunity, reducing physical damage taken by 90%. The other statue was a magic-resistant gargoyle, also level 10 with 500,000 health points. Its passive skill, elemental damage immunity, reduced elemental damage by 90%. Just as he expected, both had extremely high defense and massive health pools. He summoned Xingtian and ordered him to attack with full power. Bloodthirsty Frenzy activated. Attacks gained 10% lifesteal, dealt 1.5 times damage, and attack speed increased by 20%. Xingtian charged its body, letting out a thunderous scream. It completely abandoned defense. Its strength surged by 300% and would last for 5 minutes. It activated Unyielding Resolve and leapt forward. With its first strike, the statue took 60,000 damage. Then it turned to the other statue. Its punch landed hard, dealing 80,000 damage. Just as expected of the ancient war god Xingtian. 2 hits alone earned Yang massive points. He gained 280 points instantly. He could already tell the gargoyles were about to get destroyed. Xingtian had entered a full frenzy. It raised its axe, gathering violent energy. Then it began smashing the gargoyles non-stop. It roared loudly and unleashed one crushing strike after another. One gargoyle fell after another. Yang received a notification. He had gained 2,000 points. Jianhua was among the people who had flown down earlier. The bald man beside him said that among this year's students, he was most optimistic about Jianhua's daughter. Reaching level 10 in just a few days and stepping into Tianglong Academy's threshold made him believe she was truly blessed by heaven. Jianhua smiled and said the man was too kind. Then he mentioned another genius, a freak who had summoned 3 SS rank beasts in a row, which was even more shocking. He just didn't know which province that student came from. Yan agreed. A beastmaster like that appearing out of nowhere was a huge blessing for the Jia nation. Suddenly, everyone was startled when they saw a student being teleported out. It was Yang. Jianhua frowned in doubt. Only 5 minutes had passed. Yan immediately told the staff to check the data and see if something had gone wrong. The staff looked at the computer and answered that something was indeed off. Yan calmly told the proctor that he had already completed the first test. Yan asked him to explain what he meant. Yang then said that he had shattered the statues. The bald man raised his voice, saying that was impossible. The test statues had 90% immunity to physical and elemental damage. He accused Yang of using illegal items. Yang replied firmly that he hadn't used anything illegal. If they didn't believe him, they could check the data themselves. The bald man said he didn't need to explain anything. Daring to cheat right in front of Yan, he claimed, meant the kid's exam eligibility would be revoked. The staff then informed Yan that the results were ready. Yan told him to say it clearly. According to the system records, Yang took 4 minutes and 28 seconds to shatter both statues, and he did not use any illegal items. Everyone was stunned. Finishing the test in under 5 minutes made Yan realize that Jinling might have produced a future powerhouse. Jianhui then recognized Yang as Ying's classmate. Yang confirmed it. She had mentioned him before, and now Jianhui finally understood. Yang was truly extraordinary, so it was no surprise that he always surpassed her. The bald man refused to accept it. He warned everyone not to be fooled and insisted that the kid must have cheated. He suggested a full investigation. Yang calmly shot back that if they doubted him, they should present proof. Otherwise, it was nothing but slander against an examinee. He even warned that he could ask Yan to revoke the man's proctor qualifications. The old bald man was furious that Yang dared to say something like that. Yan immediately told the old bald man, Wang Liang, to shut his mouth. Then he announced that Yang's results were valid. Yang thanked him. Liang, however, held on to the humiliation. Since Yang had embarrassed him in public, he told Yang to wait and see how he would deal with him later. Yang's friend was also taking the test, and there were only 19 seconds left. The timer kept ticking. He struck the statue and dealt 6,000 damage. With just 7 seconds remaining, Ying pushed herself and gave it everything she had. Then, the timer hit 0. The examinees were transported back to the main exam site. They all arrived at the same time. It was time to announce the results. In 10th place was Wei Jin with 1,135 points, and in 9th place was Liu Ping with 1,211 points. 8th place went to Zhang Jianqiang with 1,231 points, while 7th place was Sun Ping with 1,245 points. One examinee complained that the statues were way too damn hard. A female student agreed, saying her beast even chipped 2 of its front teeth. Most of the examinees wore grim expressions. Second place was Ying, with 1,322 points. One examinee exclaimed that it was exactly what you'd expect from a natural genius. Another student openly admired her, saying she always stood out above everyone else. Ying was satisfied with her result. Thanks to reaching level 10 beforehand, she was able to deal far more damage this time. But then she realized something. She hadn't heard Yang's name yet. She was already second place, and Yang had 3 powerful beasts. There was no way he shouldn't be in the top 10. Then Mo announced that Yang ranked first, with 2,000 points. The entire crowd was stunned. 2,000 points was a perfect score. The students demanded an explanation. To get a perfect score, the statues had to be completely destroyed. What shocked them even more was that someone with a trash beast seal had achieved it. Many immediately suspected cheating. Yan silenced them. He announced that Yang's score had already been verified and that there were no issues. He made it clear that Yang achieved the perfect score purely through his own strength. That only shocked the crowd even more. No one expected a trash beast seal to be this terrifying. One student mocked himself, saying his 900 points were like garlic shoots fried with meat. Another female student cursed under her breath, saying it was way too insane. She finally accepted that this wasn't a game a weakling like her could play. Yan let out a quiet sigh. Internally, he thought that if he told them Yang only took 4.5 minutes, they might actually want to kill themselves. He announced the second test, which would measure their defense and agility. A lava beast would be generated inside each person's space to attack them. For every minute they survived, they would earn 20 points. The exam would last 2 hours. He ordered them to begin. They were transported. The lava beast appeared. He activated his detection skill. The lava beast was exam exclusive. It was level 15 with 1 million health points. Its active skills were Lava Ball and Lava Fury. Its passive skill was Absolute Defense. He froze when he saw the details. Absolute Defense reduced both physical and elemental damage by 100%, and its attack power increased by 10% every 5 minutes. That meant the monster was basically invincible. No wonder this test focused on defense and agility. The lava beast attacked. Yan was instantly alarmed. Fireballs shot toward him and exploded on impact. He barely managed to escape. That was close. Even though the lava beast couldn't take damage, it still had a health bar. As long as that existed, he believed it could still be killed. Xingtian had a 1.5% chance to trigger Ultra Destruction, instantly killing monsters no more than 5 levels higher than him. The lava beast was level 15, which fit the condition perfectly. He decided to take the gamble. Yang ordered Xingtian to strike. Xingtian leapt forward to attack. A loud bang echoed through the space. It kept striking again and again. The lava beast opened its mouth, then it unleashed a powerful fireball. Yang was startled that it still had the energy to attack. He ordered the dragon turtle to draw its aggro. A deep roar rang out. The lava beast shifted its focus to the dragon turtle. Yang let out a breath of relief. At least he was safe for now. 20 minutes have passed. Xingtian pulled back its axe. By now, it was breathing heavily. Yang couldn't believe it. Xingtian was supposed to be lucky, yet it still hadn't triggered an instant kill. Worse, the dragon turtle was already at its limit. The lava beast attacked again. A massive fireball shot straight toward them. Xingtian stepped forward to intercept it. It raised its axe, then swung. The fireball was split cleanly in half. The system notification appeared. Xingtian had triggered its passive skill, Ultra Destruction, instantly killing the lava beast. Yang was satisfied with the result. He had proven that his judgment wasn't wrong. Meanwhile, back at the exam site, Yan and the others waited in silence. The examinees began to return. One student came out crying for his mother. Another was furious, shouting that the beast was way too tanky. Yan frowned in disappointment. None of them had lasted even 40 minutes. He muttered that students were really getting worse. Jianhua spoke up. Based on the results of the first round, he said, they could actually look forward to Yang's score. Liang scoffed and said what happened earlier was just an accident. The lava beast had 100% damage immunity. So no matter how heaven-defying Yang was, there was no way he could pull off any tricks against it. But Zhang Hui truly believed Yang had real strength. Liang immediately countered. He pointed out that every hour the lava beast unleashed Lava Fury, a massive 400% full area attack, and no student in history had ever survived it. He even declared that if Yang could withstand it, he would wash his hair upside down. At 1 hour and 5 minutes, more students were transported back. They complained that the attack was completely insane and that there was nowhere to hide. Ying also returned. She hadn't expected a full-screen attack skill either. The time limit was almost up and it seemed like everyone was out, so they prepared to announce the results. But a staff member suddenly reported that the system showed one student was still inside the exam field. Yan was stunned. The staff then announced the name. It was examiner number 69, Yang. No one could believe it was him again. The other examinees grew curious, wondering if he really had a way to withstand endless waves of attacks. Yan smiled in satisfaction. He commented that this kid was truly something else. Since one student was still inside, Yan decided to wait a little longer. Jianhua teased Liang, telling him to get ready to wash his hair upside down. Liang quickly said it was just a joke and that there was no need to take it seriously. Yan looked at him and said that as a beastmaster, he should keep his word. When Yang came out, he could begin. Liang grew nervous, but could only agree. Time was up. 2 full hours had passed. That meant the kid had earned another perfect score. Everyone wondered if there was a system bug, or if Yang had been killed by the lava beast a long time ago. They could only call him a freak, unable to believe anyone could last that long. With the exam over, Yan ordered the test space to be closed. The staff immediately followed Yan's order. Yang was transported back. Turns out, he was asleep. The sight was almost comical. Liang immediately accused him of cheating. He claimed Yan must have secretly used items to protect Yang from the lava beast's attacks. Yan shouted at Yang, demanding to know how long he planned to keep sleeping. Yang slowly woke up and asked if the second round was already over. Liang sneered, saying Yang hadn't even bothered watching the time while cheating, and now he had exposed himself. Yang was confused by what he meant. Liang pressed on, telling him to stop pretending. He insisted that the lava beast never attacked him. Yang calmly replied that he had killed it, so there was no reason not to sleep. Liang turned to Yan, declaring that Yang's lie was obvious. He was claiming to have killed a monster with 100% damage immunity. Yang didn't want to waste words on him. Instead, he asked the staff in charge of data monitoring to verify it. Yan agreed. Liang argued that checking was pointless. He was confident Yang would be disqualified. Jianhui's view of Liang shifted. He felt disappointed, having truly thought Liang was a promising seedling. Then, the results came out. Liang waited eagerly, desperate to see whether Yang had really cheated. The staff announced that at 25 minutes and 18 seconds, the student's beast had activated a special skill and instantly killed the lava beast. Yan's jaw dropped. The lava beast had never been killed before. Because of that, the system was never programmed to automatically teleport students out after 2 hours. That was what caused the strange situation. The other examinees began questioning whether Yang was even human. They had struggled just to survive, while he had been sleeping inside the exam field. Yang spoke calmly to Yan. He said he knew he was just a lowly student and wasn't qualified to challenge an examiner. But teacher Liang had repeatedly made baseless accusations, and he could no longer tolerate it. Yan apologized for their misjudgment. He immediately stripped Liang of his examiner status and ordered him to return and reflect on his actions while under suspension. Guards dragged Liang away as he begged and pleaded. After that, Mo announced that Yang's score for the second exam was still a perfect score. After a 30-minute break, the next round would begin. Some male examinees called Yang a monster, while several female examinees were already falling for him because of his overwhelming strength. Yan finally realized that the assessment rules would have to be changed because of Yang. That thought led him to a deeper conclusion. This kid might be the one the higher-ups had been searching for. He instructed the staff to immediately send Yang's results to the imperial capital. At the imperial capital, 4 masters had gathered. The National Fortune Temple Master asked if there had been any discoveries, since assessments across the regions had already completed 2 rounds. Wang Qing reported that there was nothing unusual in Jingzhou province. All candidates had performed exactly as expected. Qin Bai replied that there were no abnormalities in Jinling either. Li Yuan added that although a powerful individual had appeared in Modu, investigations confirmed it wasn't the one they were looking for. The National Fortune Temple Master frowned. This was supposed to be their best chance to find him. Qin Bai wondered aloud if their direction was wrong, and if that person hadn't even participated in the assessment. The National Fortune Temple Master said that would make things troublesome. Suddenly, a disciple rushed in with urgent news from Yan. The National Fortune Temple Master asked what Yan had reported. The disciple said a monstrous talent had appeared in Longhai City, Jinling Province. Yan suspected it might be the person they were searching for. Qin Bai asked if Yan was talking about Jianhua's daughter, but he remembered checking before, and it wasn't her. The disciple clarified that it was a candidate named Yang. Wang Qing was startled. Li Yuan said the name sounded unfamiliar. He had never heard it before. The National Fortune Temple Master demanded details. The disciple explained that in the first round, Yang shattered both test statues in just 4 minutes and 28 seconds. The masters were already shocked. Then the disciple added that in the second round, Yang instantly killed a lava beast with 100% damage immunity. The 3 masters understood at once. This was him, the one they had been looking for. Bai immediately challenged the others, asking if they still dared to mock Jinling Province now. Yuan laughed and commented that this was a peasant turning into a phoenix overnight. He had truly become a big figure. Meanwhile, Qing felt nothing but envy. The National Fortune Temple Master said that the urgent task now was to immediately head to the Jinling Province examination site. Bai excitedly agreed and said they should go at once, but someone stopped him. The National Fortune Temple Master told Bai to stay behind and guard the temple. The National Fortune Temple could not be left unattended. Qing nodded, saying they would go take a look first. Yuan agreed, adding that there would be plenty of chances to see him later. Bai could only whine that he was being bullied, at the resting area. Yan quickly said he hadn't known that such esteemed figures would arrive. He asked for forgiveness for failing to properly welcome them. The National Fortune Temple Master waved it off and said there was no need for formalities. They were here to see Yang. Yan was stunned by how eager they sounded. He pointed toward him. Yang, meanwhile, had no idea they were even talking about him. The National Fortune Temple Master studied Yang and noted that he looked calm, elegant, and dignified, truly fitting the hope of Longguo's future. Qing quickly reminded him not to jump to conclusions. The third round of the assessment had yet to begin, so it wasn't too late to continue observing. That prompted the National Fortune Temple Master to ask Yan to hurry up and preside over the next test. Yan nodded and agreed to proceed with the assessment. When Yan stepped onto the stage, the students immediately got hyped for the final round. The third round would show them the kind of powerful enemies they would face as Beastmasters in the future. The content of the final assessment was fighting a calamity. The examinees complained right away. They said they were still rookies and that this was way beyond the syllabus. Yan told them not to be nervous. The calamity was also simulated by the examination site's artificial intelligence mainbrain. Once potentially fatal damage was detected, the system would immediately teleport them out. Yan explained that for every minute they lasted, they would earn 500 points. Surviving 10 minutes would count as a perfect score. That instantly lifted the students' spirits. One examinee felt hopeful that he could turn things around this time. Another thought he had an advantage since his beast specialized in defense. Yang quietly noticed how simple their thinking was. Yan announced the start of the test. They were transported to the exam site. An alligator monster appeared right in front of Yang. He activated his detection skill. The data showed that it was level 16. It was outside Jingtian's ultra-destruction instant kill range. This time, he would have to grind it down. He summoned Jingtian and Zhulong. The masters watched everything through the screen. The National Fortune Temple Master immediately sensed something familiar. He realized that Yang was truly the one they had been searching for. The beast matched the newly born one in the National Fortune Temple exactly. Qing exclaimed that he was a genius. Yuan urged them to look closely at what the kid had just done. Xingtian swung its axe. 50,000 damage. One strike dealing 50,000 damage meant this was a calamity-level monster. They were stunned. What kind of talent could allow a beast to unleash such terrifying power? The National Fortune Temple Master immediately ordered the staff to check Yang's attribute panel. The staff froze in shock. He asked what was wrong. The staff reported that the attribute panel was obscured by a mysterious force. They could only see one thing. Yang's talent was SSS rank. Everything else was hidden. Qing asked why it was like that. The National Fortune Temple Master explained that it meant they didn't have the authority to view the boy's attribute panel. Yuan was shaken. That could only mean one thing. Yang's beast seal quality had surpassed the divine grade. The National Fortune Temple Master confirmed it. The 12 pillars of light appearing simultaneously during awakening were their limit. But they weren't Yang's limit. Tears welled up in their eyes. Because this meant only one thing. Longguo was saved. Yang only needed one final strike. He ordered Zhulong to finish it. Zhulong released a blazing breath, dealing 40,000 damage. The crocodile collapsed. The system confirmed that the target had been slain. Yang felt relieved. The exam was finally over. But in the next moment, more monsters appeared. He froze, confused about why another wave had started. These monsters were restless and hostile. Yang ordered the dragon turtle to draw their aggro. At the same time, Zhulong and Xingtian launched their attack together. Above them, the masters observed in silence. Qing frowned and questioned whether it was fair to raise the exam's difficulty just for Yang. The National Fortune Temple Master replied that it didn't matter. Since Yang carried the fate of reviving Longguo, he had to be tested. Yuan then asked what this meant for Yang's score. The master answered calmly. The calamity had already been resolved, so Yang would receive perfect scores in all 3 assessments. One of the monster's limbs slammed into Yang's back. He immediately activated Soul Tear on it. The skill worked, and that made the National Fortune Temple Master frown. Even after being struck by a poison needle, Yang showed no reaction at all. Qing ordered the staff to check the data immediately. The staff reported that the AI main brain judged Yang likely possessed a special ability that transferred damage to his beasts instead. That revelation shocked everyone. So much so that Yuan nearly had a heart attack. He hurriedly asked for a heart relief pill to calm himself down. At that moment, a dragon passed through a rift. It was searching for Yang. Xingtian charged straight into 3 monsters clustered together. The instant he struck, a blinding golden light burst forth. The monsters felt no impact at all. They were left completely stunned. Yang was just as confused when he saw the monsters vanish without a trace. A dark cloud suddenly formed above him. Something was lurking within the shadows. It was the dragon. Yang felt a chill and wondered what kind of threat this was now. He immediately used a detection technique. The result showed it was a flood dragon calamity, but every other detail was unknown. That revelation shook him. In the very next instant, an attack shot straight at him. Yang leapt back and narrowly avoided it. He realized the attack had torn through space itself. That alone told him this was no ordinary calamity. It made him uneasy. Something like this shouldn't appear in a test. He knew something was very wrong. Meanwhile, at the rest area, everyone gasped as the screen suddenly went black. Qing immediately ordered someone to call for repairs. They couldn't afford to miss a second of the assessment. The staff jumped into action at once. At the exam site, something streaked across the sky. The National Fortune Temple. Master frowned and asked what that sound was. A phoenix descended from above. In the next moment, a woman emerged. She was Bai Rug, one of the mountain's guardians. The National Fortune Temple Master asked why she had come. Everyone greeted her respectfully as Lord Bai. She asked where that person was. He questioned who she was referring to. She clarified that she meant the talented man they had discovered. He answered that the man was in room 11. Without another word, she instantly opened a portal. She stepped through the rift. Jingtian was struck by the flood dragon calamity. Yang instantly realized how strong his opponent was. Without the dragon turtle's resistance and the 10 times attribute boost from God's inspiration, Yang would have already died. The flood dragon calamity slammed into the dragon turtle. It then gathered power inside its mouth and fired a beam straight at Yang. He knew this was bad. Suddenly, the beam disappeared. Yang still braced himself for the impact. He was confused when he realized he was still alive. To his shock, a woman was standing in front of him. She asked him if he was all right. He quickly thanked her for saving his life. The flood dragon calamity recognized her and flew into a rage for ruining its plans. She coldly told the beast to crawl back into the abyss at once, and she would spare its life. The dragon mocked her, saying humans talked big despite their weak skills. It challenged them to try and take its life. Rouge ordered the wind dragon to attack. The wind dragon released a blazing breath, but the flood dragon calamity sneered and answered with its own fire breath. Their attacks collided head-on. But the wind dragon was completely overpowered and vanished. The flood dragon calamity scoffed. It was shocked that she was willing to sacrifice an SS rank beast just to save a kid. She confirmed it and warned him to leave while he was injured, or she would stop being polite. The flood dragon calamity replied that this was only a wisp of its clone. It retreated while leaving behind a threat, swearing that one day it would tear them all to pieces. Meanwhile, at the exam site, the students panicked. They asked what had happened and wondered if the system had bugged out. One of them said he was scared to death and thought he would never make it out alive. Rouge suddenly lost her balance. Yang caught her and asked if she was all right. She said she was fine and invited him to the lounge, saying that was the proper place to talk. Yang was stunned when he finally saw her up close. At the lounge, Yang asked her what had really happened. She told him about an incident from 10 years ago. Back then, Great Sia had lost 2 level 100 Saint Beastmasters while fighting abyss creatures. Yang immediately understood. She was saying that the flood dragon calamity came from the abyss. She confirmed it and told him that the creature had already set its sights on him. Yang asked what it wanted from him. She explained that it sensed Yang posed a fatal threat, so it wanted to eliminate him in advance. He then asked what kind of threat she meant. She said it was obvious. It was because of the beasts he summoned. In J Country, a Beastmaster had awakened Yamata no Orochi and swept through every wormhole dungeon in the nation. In K Country, someone had summoned Ghost Cultivation Mountain and dispersed all the mist-filled forbidden zones. And now there was Yang. With 3 SSS rank beasts, if he continued to grow, he would surely surpass both Yamata no Orochi and Ghost Cultivation Mountain. She asked him to think about it. If he were an abyss creature, what would he do? Naturally, he would strike first. That meant Yang's situation would become extremely dangerous from now on. She advised him to hide his strength well and never casually reveal his beast seal traits or talents. Yang understood her warning, but he also knew that hiding forever would not solve the problem. Once he entered Tianlong Academy and became the strongest Beastmaster, he believed there would be no reason to fear the abyss anymore. She looked at him closely and realized this kid was truly ambitious. 3 days later, Tianlong Academy would hold a joint trial with the Feiho Nation on Blackrock Island in the South Sea. She planned to reserve a spot for Yang and told him to prepare himself over the next 2 days. Yang was stunned. It felt like he had been admitted ahead of schedule. She explained that since he ranked first nationwide in the college entrance exam, early admission was completely normal. Yang thanked her sincerely. She then warned him that the abyss monsters would return soon, and the ghostly beings within the mist-filled forbidden zones would also launch another attack on Great Shiu. She hoped that when that day came, Yang would stand as one of Great Shi's pillars. Yang told her to rest assured. He would work hard and not let them down. With that, their conversation ended. She told him he was free to leave. Yang turned and made his way out. That afternoon, at a park, Ying asked him if that woman was his girlfriend. Yang immediately reacted and told her not to talk nonsense. He explained that the woman was his lifesaver. She had even lost an SS rank beast just to save him. Hearing that, Ying wondered aloud if that was enough reason for him to offer himself in return. Seeing how much she cared, Yang teased her and said she sounded jealous. Ying's face instantly turned red. She shouted that she wasn't jealous at all. Then she turned around and stormed off, saying she had a lot of things to do. The atmosphere became awkward. Yang stood there, confused. He was only joking, and he didn't understand why she had gotten so angry. Meanwhile, in an office, Guofu remarked that Ying from his class was truly outstanding, having ranked second in the college entrance exam. He then asked Tianguo about his class's top student, Yang. Tianguo was starting to get annoyed. He simply replied that there was no need to rush, since the results would be announced soon enough. Guofu scoffed and said confidently that no result could compare to Ying's. At that moment, Yang walked into the office. Tianguo was startled to see him. The college entrance exam team was supposed to arrive tomorrow, so he asked how Yang had returned so early. Guofu cut in with a sneer, saying Yang's score must have been so low that he gave up ahead of time. Yang was irritated. He replied sarcastically that it was indeed low, just full marks in all 3 tests. Tianguo's jaw dropped. Guofu laughed it off, insisting that Yang was bragging. There had never been a perfect score in the college entrance exam since its founding. Suddenly, Guofu's phone rang. A notification popped up. The rankings had been released. It was time to see if Yang could still keep bragging. Just as Guofu expected, Ying ranked second. But to his shock, first place was Yang. He demanded to know how that was possible. Tianguo was overjoyed. He had always believed that Yang would never disappoint him. Yang then told him that he had already been admitted early to Tianlong Academy and would be leaving immediately. He had come back specifically to say goodbye. Tianguo reminded him to cultivate diligently at the academy and become a pillar of Longguo as soon as possible. Yang nodded and told him not to worry. The next day, at Tianlong Academy, Yang looked up at the academy gates, anticipation rising in his chest. He began to walk forward, but then he hesitated. Someone had said they would come to pick him up. As he waited, confusion crept in. Soon after, he noticed a woman standing nearby. The woman apologized for being late. Her legs were still trembling from running. She explained that she had been held up by a few things and said she would take him inside. Yang simply followed her. She introduced herself as his counselor, Li Yu. She told him that if he had any problems at school, he could come find her. They soon arrived at their destination. It was his dormitory. Yang was about to head upstairs, but she told him to wait. She handed him several scrolls as a reward for ranking first nationwide. Yang was stunned when he saw them. There were 2 skill upgrade scrolls and 1 skill book. Just as he expected, the nation's top academy was incredibly generous. She then gave him a pouch. Inside were 5,000 Tianlong coins. Yang asked what they were used for. She explained that Tianlong coins were the exclusive currency of Tianlong Academy. They could be used to buy materials and equipment within the school. Earning them was extremely difficult. In fact, even 1,000 gold couldn't buy a single coin. Realizing how valuable they were, Yang knew he had to keep them safe. Seeing that it was getting late, she urged him to go upstairs. Yang waved goodbye to her. Inside his room, Yang opened the upgrade scrolls for Soul Tier and Beast Summoning. He used the scrolls, and they vanished after activation. Both Soul Tier and Beast Summoning were successfully upgraded to level 2. He opened his status panel. He was now level 11. He had no passive skills and 2 active skills at level 2. His spirit energy was 350 over 350. His strength was 1,030, agility 1,110, constitution 82, and spirit 1,700. He also noticed that he could now summon a 4th beast. If he had known this earlier, he would have poured everything into upgrading beast summoning so he could have 5 beasts. After that, he checked the skill book. Inside was a skill called Ice Mist, which slowed enemy movement speed and had a 5% chance to freeze enemies. Yang was very satisfied. Even though the range was only 10 meters, it was practically a god-tier control skill. He decided to learn it immediately. The system congratulated him for obtaining the skill Ice Mist. After everything was done, Yang lay down on his bed with a smile. His lineup had been missing a control-type skill, and now it was finally complete. The next day, Yang received a call. Still half asleep, he answered it groggily. The person on the other end was in charge of the Black Rock Island trial. He told Yang to head to the conference room immediately so he could be introduced to his teammates. Yang replied that he would be there right away. Eventually, Yang arrived at the venue. A woman greeted him with a bright smile, clearly pleased to see him. Yang was surprised that she recognized him and asked how she knew who he was. She laughed and said it was only natural. He was the martial champion, and the only genius the academy had made an exception for by recruiting early. It would have been strange not to know him. Yang replied modestly that he wasn't as amazing as she made him sound. She then began introducing him to his teammates. The first was Wang Hao, a level 25 offensive beastmaster and one of the main damage dealers for the trial. Yang smiled, introduced himself, and extended his hand. But after hearing Yang's name, Hao frowned and asked if he was that good-for-nothing his second uncle had been talking about. Yang asked who his second uncle was. Hao replied that it was Liang, one of the 8 chief examiners of Jinling province this year. At that, Yang finally understood. Hao slapped Yang's hand away and said a level 11 loser wasn't qualified to shake his hand. The woman who introduced them immediately scolded Hao for speaking that way. Hao only smirked and sneered. He said being a martial champion meant nothing. At Tianlong Academy, everyone admitted was already a dragon among men, so the title carried no weight. In his eyes, Yang was nothing but trash. Yang slapped him. The impact sent Hao crashing straight into the wall. The others in the room were stunned. They couldn't believe Yang dared to hit Hao. Someone shouted that Yang was fucking dead. Hao roared in fury and cursed him, unable to believe Yang actually dared to strike him. Yang calmly asked him, "So what if I did?" Hao condensed a massive energy ball and warned Yang that he was courting death. But Yang vanished. The attack detonated, shaking the room. Hao spun around, shocked. He couldn't understand how Yang had disappeared. Then Yang appeared behind him. Hao's heart skipped a beat when he sensed him. Yang activated Soul Tear. He slowly stretched out his hand. In the next instant, dark purple energy burst out and swallowed Hao completely. Hao screamed in agony. Yang warned him coldly not to provoke him again. Next time, it wouldn't end this easily. He said there was no need to get acquainted with that teammate. The woman said nothing and simply let him leave. They all watched Yang walk out. The blue-haired man quietly asked if Yang was really only level 11. The thought alone was terrifying. He had defeated a level 25 senior in a single move. It made him wonder just how terrifying this year's freshman truly was. Hao burned with rage. He swore that one day he would make Yang regret ever being born. Outside, Yang walked alone. The woman hurried after him. He turned around and looked at her. He called her Sis Tong and asked what was wrong. She warned him that Hao was the type to hold grudges, so he needed to be careful. Yang simply acknowledged it. Then he told her that he planned to grind levels over the next few days. He asked if she knew any suitable dungeons. She nodded and said there was a good dungeon in the eastern suburbs. She would send him the location. Yang thanked her. Moments later, he went to the Mine Wolf Den dungeon. At the entrance, he confirmed that this was the correct location. He stepped inside the dungeon. The interior was a dark, eerie cave. He was greeted by a pack of ferocious creatures. The wolves closed in on him. He summoned Xingtian, the dragon turtle, and Zhulong. He told them to hold the wolves back while he called a new friend. Xingtian charged forward first. At the same time, Yang activated beast summoning. A rift tore open, and a loud moo echoed from within. That sound made him wonder if ox-like beasts really existed in the classic of mountains and seas. The system congratulated him on obtaining an SSS grade beast, Fei. He opened his status panel to check the details. Fei was SSS rank at level 1, with 700 strength, 700 agility, 2,000 spirit, and 2,000 constitution. It had 1 star, a passive skill called Plague, and active skills like Poison Source, Poison Weapon, and Plague. Yang was thrilled to see both passive and active damage skills. Poison Source released a wave of Plague, dealing 150% burst damage to all poison targets and refreshing the Plague duration. Poison Weapon enhanced Fei's attacks, increasing damage taken by poisoned enemies from 30% to 50% and doubling the effect duration. Plague spread poison wherever Fei walked, dealing damage based on 30% of its spirit for 5 minutes. Yang ordered Fei to show its power. It looked like a spirit deer with massive antlers and a single eye on its forehead. A beam shot out from its mouth. One wolf was instantly killed, taking 5,004 damage. Another wolf monster took 5,006 damage. The system announced that he had killed the level 15 Mine Direwolf leader, granting plus 2,200 experience. It also reported the death of a level 9 Direwolf, rewarding him with another plus 2,200 experience. The outcome matched Yang's expectations. Fei truly lived up to its name as the strongest poison source. At the National Fortune Temple, a disciple rushed toward the masters and reported that a new SSS grade beast had appeared. Bai stayed calm, as if he were already used to such news, but his trembling hands exposed him. Bai told the others to at least let him pretend to be composed. The National Fortune Temple Master advised them to get used to this kind of thing from now on. Yuan agreed, saying that otherwise, Bai might develop Parkinson's sooner or later. The National Fortune Temple Master burst into loud laughter. Back to our MC. Yang defeated the monster wolves. He muttered that things had become way too easy once Fei joined him. A presence stirred in the darkness. It stepped out, revealing a massive wolf monster. Yang immediately used his detection skill. The stats caught him off guard. It was a level 15 Mine Direwolf leader. It had 3,800 strength, 4,000 agility, 2,200 spirit, and 5,000 constitution. Its passive skill was ferocious, and its active skills were Wolf Howl and Summon. With Wolf Howl, the Mind Direwolf leader released powerful howls that intimidated weaker enemies, reducing their strength by 10%. The summon skill allowed it to call 10 ordinary direwolf guards. These guards only had half of its stats. As for Ferocious, it boosted the leader's damage to 1.2 times its strength, but against Yang, its only fate was death. The wolf let out a furious roar. More direwolves rushed in. Yang felt excited instead of worried. This was the perfect chance to test a new skill. He released Ice Mist. The cold spread instantly, freezing the entire area. Yang was shocked. The range of Ice Mist was supposed to be only 10 meters, yet it expanded to more than 10 times that. Then he realized why. It was God's encouragement, a 10-fold boost. A cruel smile spread across his face as he muttered that these monsters were nothing more than lambs waiting to be slaughtered. He summoned his beasts. 10 minutes later, Yang reached level 12. He couldn't hide his joy. Leveling up really was this simple. He exited the dungeon. At last, he could go back and get some rest. Suddenly, Xiaoru came running toward him, crying for help. Yang was stunned to see her. She rushed into his arms and hugged him tightly. She begged him to save her. The Black Shark Guild was hunting her down and wanted her dead. Before he could ask more, her body went limp. She collapsed in his arms. At that moment, members of the Black Shark Guild appeared. They shouted at Yang, ordering him to hand over the woman. Yang coldly asked what they would do if he refused. The red-haired leader sneered and said he would fucking die. The man with the mohawk suddenly recognized Yang. Before long disappeared, he had brought people to mess with this kid. He had also heard rumors that Yang possessed a divine artifact. Dao liked what he heard. This was an unexpected surprise. He told Yang to leave behind the divine artifact and the woman. If he did, Dao promised to spare his life. But by provoking Yang like this, Dao was clearly courting death. Dao cursed him, calling him a little bastard. He couldn't believe Yang was staring death in the face and still dared to act tough. He ordered his men to move. Yang responded by summoning all his beasts. The man with the mohawk froze in shock. The others went pale when they saw 4 top-tier beasts appear. One by one, they dropped to their knees and bowed. They no longer wanted the divine artifact. They didn't even want the woman. All they begged for was to be spared. Yang stared at them coldly. They had provoked him. There was no way he would let them walk away alive. He gave the order. His beasts attacked. The men screamed in terror. That night, their cries echoed through the area. When it was over, Yang carried Xiaoru out. But he sensed something nearby. He asked who was there and told them to come out. A bald man stepped forward, shouting that Yang shouldn't attack. He claimed to be a good citizen. Yang asked why he was here. The man explained that he had seen the girl being chased and followed, hoping to help. Before he could do anything, he witnessed Yang's godlike power. Afraid of being caught in the crossfire, he hid to avoid trouble. Yang was about to warn him about what he had seen that night, but the bald man quickly cut him off. He swore that he would keep everything buried. If he leaked even a single word, he said he would accept 10 years of impotence and let his girlfriend cheat on him. Yang told him to do better. The man hurriedly promised that he would. Back at his dormitory, Yang gently laid Xiaoru on the bed. She was still unconscious. He muttered that she looked thin, but he hadn't expected her to be so heavy. Seeing that she wouldn't wake up anytime soon, he decided to take a shower first. While he was in the shower, she slowly woke up, confused about where she was. At that exact moment, Yang stepped out of the bathroom. Yang stepped out of the shower with only a towel wrapped around his waist. He froze when he saw that she was already awake. She screamed and called him a pervert. He was horrified and told her to stop talking nonsense. He explained that he had only taken a shower and didn't touch her at all. She refused to believe him and said he had to take responsibility for her first time. He told her to stop teasing him. She burst out laughing and said his reaction was really boring. Yang asked why the people from the Black Shark Guild were chasing her. She took out a scroll. She revealed that they were after a treasure map. She didn't know how they got the information, but they sent people to rob her. After hearing that, Yang already understood what had happened next. He told her to be more careful and hide things like that better in the future. She agreed, saying that made sense. Then she suggested giving the treasure map to him. Yang was shocked. She explained that he had saved her life. If not for him, the treasure map would have been taken by those bastards long ago. He replied that it was nothing and said the treasure map was too valuable. He suggested that she keep it instead. She suddenly had another idea. She teased that maybe he wanted her to offer herself and said she was ready. At that moment, Ying barged in, demanding to know why he wasn't answering his phone. She saw Xiaoru lying on the bed, one foot pressing down on the edge of his towel, while Yang stood there shirtless. A dark aura burst out as Ying asked what they were doing. Xiaoru blushed and asked who she was, realizing her timing was terrible. Ying screamed at Yang, saying she never expected him to be that kind of person. Yang hurried to explain. Xiaoru asked him if that was his girlfriend. He replied that she was just a former classmate. He then asked Ying what she was doing there. She said she regretted coming and running into them like this. He told her to stop talking nonsense. Xiaoru quickly explained that they were innocent and didn't even have time to do anything. The way she worded it only made things worse. Ying felt disgusted. Her eyes turned red as tears fell, and she turned around and ran out. Yang shouted for her to listen to him. Only then did Xiaoru realize she had caused trouble. She quietly tried to sneak away, but Yang noticed her movement. She told him she would leave so he could rest early. Yang flopped onto the bed, wondering what kind of karma he had attracted. Then he felt something under him. He picked it up and saw that it was a treasure map. Xiaoru really did want to give it to him. It marked the location of a secret realm treasure. The recommendation stated that it was meant for beastmasters above level 20, and a team was required to enter. But Yang knew that teaming up was possible. He decided to challenge it tomorrow. The next day, Yang arrived at a settlement. He discovered a goblin cave. The system asked if he wanted to enter. He pressed yes, and he was instantly transported. He arrived inside the cave. He found this one-time secret realm interesting. The goblins launched a sneak attack on him. One goblin was about to strike. He summoned his beasts and ordered them to kill. The dragon turtle moved forward and drew aggro. Then Faye stepped out. It released poison. Yang noticed that even after taking Faye's poison, the enemy was still standing strong. So he used the detection skill. It was a goblin warrior. It had a high constitution and strength. It was level 15, 1-star rank, and had a passive skill called Cunning. Yang was thrilled. This was truly worthy of a secret realm. Even the weakest goblins had stats close to bosses from other dungeons, which meant he could level up insanely fast. 20 minutes later, Yang kept gaining plus 2,000 experience while he slept. Xingtian poked him. He woke up. He asked if everything was dealt with. Xingtian roared in response. Yang began checking around to inspect the equipment, but all he could find was trash loots. He sighed and thought that although the experience was good, the equipment really sucked. Unexpectedly, lightning struck him. He was furious and demanded to know who dared to ambush him. Then he saw the dragon turtle being chased by a boss monster. He immediately used the detection skill. He realized something was wrong with the boss's stats. It was far weaker than expected, which felt strange. The monster was a goblin chieftain, a chieftain-class monster at level 17 with 1 star. Its passive skill was strong. It had 5,500 strength, 3,000 spirit, 4,800 agility, and 8,000 constitution. But Yang didn't bother thinking too much and crushed it anyway. He snapped his fingers, and Xingtian struck. The level 17 goblin chieftain was instantly killed, and Yang gained plus 10,000 experience. Yang was stunned. It went down with a single slash. This only deepened his suspicion. There was no way a treasure map would lead to something this weak. Suddenly, the ground trembled. It felt like the cave was about to collapse. A new pathway opened up. Yang was surprised to discover a lower floor beneath them. But just as he expected, the map wasn't that simple. He decided to investigate and jumped down. He descended smoothly. The moment he landed, arrows rained down on him. The dragon turtle blocked the arrows with its barrier. Unlike on the first floor, these goblins in front of them actually have weapons. Yang ordered Xingtian and Zhulong to finish them. Both beasts charged forward at the same time. While that happened, Yang checked their stats. He was shocked to see that the guards were on par with the boss from the first floor. The goblin guard was an elite reinforced monster at level 16 with 1-star rank. Its passive skill was Enhanced Cunning, and its active skills were Enhanced Spirit and Enhanced Fierce Slash. It had 6,000 strength, 5,600 agility, 2,800 spirit, and 6,000 constitution. Now he finally understood why this place required a team of level 20 plus to enter. Xingtian slashed the goblin guard. Yang cast Ice Mist. The goblin guard was frozen solid. Yang was pleased to see that the freeze effect triggered in a single hit. Xingtian cut off its head. Then, Yang ordered Fei to clear the path toward the boss. Fei moved to the front. Xingtian cut down enemies along the way. Zhulong blasted the rest with fire breath. An explosion followed. Eventually they stopped. They had reached the bottom. There, they saw a goblin wearing a crown, seated on a throne. Beside it was a massive treasure chest, which Yang expected to contain valuable loot. He used the detection skill. What he saw shocked him. The stats were terrifying, comparable to a level 15 calamity. He activated Soul Tier. The goblin let out a painful groan. The massive goblin king stood up and ordered its underlings to charge. The smaller goblins rushed forward. Yang commanded Zhulong to activate the Eye of the Candle Dragon. Zhulong breathed flames, but the goblin king still charged forward. Yang responded with another ice mist. It was frozen in place, and Xingtian seized the opening. With a single slash, it was cut down. The goblin chieftain was killed, and Yang gained plus 20,000 experience. The treasure chest opened. Yang's heart raced as he looked inside. Inside was a rare ancient goblin staff. It increased spirit by plus 500 and constitution by plus 500, and had a special trait that boosted the effects of spirit-type skills by 20%. Yang was ecstatic. He could finally throw away his trashy old staff. He checked the rest of the contents. He found a spirit crystal that increased the spirit attribute by plus 500. Then he noticed something even more eye-catching. It was holy water. It allowed Beastmasters to awaken passive skills early. That discovery shocked him. Yang was thrilled. Now he truly understood the value of secret realm treasure hunting. He hoped to awaken an insanely powerful skill. He drank it, and obtained the passive skill, Purification Aura. This made the Beastmaster and all summoned beasts immune to negative status effects. Before, he constantly ran into monsters that applied debuffs, especially taunts that always dragged him in. Now, with Purification Aura, he could walk around like a king. Satisfied, Yang headed for the exit, ready to finally go home and sleep. Under the bright blue sky, on Black Rock Island. Yang waved at Sister Tong to let her know he had arrived. She acknowledged him. Once everyone was present, she instructed them to form teams, with 5 people per group. A blue-haired guy wanted to team up with Hao. He was a defensive Beastmaster, making him perfect support for Hao's offense. 6 more students also said they wanted to join Hao's team. Hao laughed and commented on how enthusiastic they all were. Then he pointed out that the so-called martial champion, Junior Yang, hadn't managed to form a team. The brown-haired guy scoffed, annoyed that Yang still called himself a martial champion. He said that with Yang's low level, he would rather go solo than team up with him. A woman joined in, saying there was nothing to expect from trash like him except dragging others down. Sister Tong spoke up and said she would team up with Yang. The woman immediately scolded her, warning that the Black Rock Island trial could be fatal if she wasn't careful. But Tong firmly stated that she believed in Yang. Hao mocked her, asking what belief was worth when Yang couldn't even gather enough people to enter the trial. Someone suddenly arrived. It was the bald man Yang had met earlier. His name was Zhao Dazhuang, and he was willing to join Yang. Yang remembered him. Dazhuang was surprised to learn they were from the same school. He said he didn't have many strong skills, but he could take hits. He offered himself as a meat shield and confidently claimed that not even a fly would get past him. He asked if there was room for him on Yang's team. Yang replied that it wouldn't be a problem. Hao stared in disbelief. He couldn't believe Dazhuang was bowing to that newbie and asked if he had been possessed by a ghost. Dazhuang got irritated and shouted that it was none of Hao's business. He warned him that if he disrespected Yang again, he would beat him up. Hao was furious and called him crazy. He swore that Dazhuang would regret it once they entered the secret realm. Dazhuang called Monkey over and told him that Yang was short on people. The green-haired man, Li Lei, agreed to join. Dazhuang then announced that they were still missing one person and asked if anyone wanted to join them, saying this was a rare opportunity. Someone in the crowd scoffed, saying that if Dazhuang wanted to drag that good-for-nothing to his death, they shouldn't be involved. They firmly refused, believing it was a lost cause. But then, a silver-haired woman with braided hair stepped forward. She said that since no one else was willing, she would join them. Dazhuang was stunned and asked if she was serious. She calmly asked if she wasn't welcome. Dazhuang quickly explained that it wasn't like that. He was just surprised, since she never teamed up with anyone, and it all felt too sudden. Hao spoke up and offered her the main damage dealer role if she joined his team. She coldly asked if he was worthy. She said she knew he had orchestrated what happened that day and found it disgusting. Hao's face turned red with embarrassment. Dazhuang burst out laughing, saying he never expected an ice queen like her to curse someone. He then told Yang that with Yao on their team, the trial wouldn't be a problem at all. But Yang didn't care much. To him, teaming up with anyone was all the same. Dazhuang suddenly realized that with Yang's strength, they could probably win without even trying. It was Yao's first time seeing someone speak so confidently like that, which made her wonder if Yang was truly special. A brown-haired guy stared in disbelief that Yang had actually teamed up with Yao. Another student openly said he was jealous, wishing he could team up with the goddess Yao. With Yang's team finally complete, Sister Tong gathered them and explained the objective of the trial. In the Dark Skeleton King trial, the team that obtained the obsidian first would win. Yang asked what obsidian was. Dazhuang explained that it was an extremely rare and precious stone that allowed a Beastmaster to awaken an additional passive skill. That instantly excited Yang, and he wanted to head in right away. Dazhuang admitted he was worried that Hao and Fei Huguo might cause trouble, especially with how dangerous the trial was. Yang calmly assured him that no one would stop him from getting the obsidian. With that, they stepped into the portal. They began the Black Rock Island trial and were teleported to the trial grounds. Yang noticed that there were no other teams nearby, which likely meant they had been teleported to random locations. Tong summoned her A-rank elk. Lei called out his A-rank White Wolf King. Dazhuang summoned his A-rank Brown Bear, and Yao revealed her S-rank Black Tiger. 4 powerful beasts appeared at once. The presence of Yao's S-rank Black Tiger immediately proved that she truly was the strongest among them. Yang noticed that all of them were offensive-type beasts and volunteered to handle the team's defense. He summoned the Dragon Turtle. Yao was surprised that he had called out his strongest beast right away, especially when they needed to conserve strength in the outer layer. Yang frowned slightly and said that this was actually his weakest beast. She commented that if his beasts were even stronger, it would speed things up even more. She began to think that Yang might actually be reliable and hoped he wouldn't disappoint her. Yang ordered the Dragon Turtle to move forward and clear the path. It let out a loud roar and blocked the attacks of the approaching skeleton warriors. It only took a small amount of damage. Lei was shocked to see that the Dragon Turtle hadn't even attacked, yet the skeleton warriors still collapsed. Yang explained that it reflected the damage back at them. Tong was amazed. She believed they could clear the outer layer just by relying on it alone. Yao asked if they were just going to stand there and watch. She ordered her Black Tiger to attack. It lunged forward and devoured a skeleton warrior whole. Tong immediately provided buffs through her elk. A golden light wrapped around the Dragon Turtle. It reflected the same damage back at the skeleton warriors. Yang was impressed. He didn't expect a support-type beast to be this effective. He even considered getting one himself, thinking it would make leveling much easier. Suddenly, the ground began to tremble. Lei asked what was happening. Tong noticed a group of skeletons charging toward them. All of the skeletons were fully armed. Yang was about to deploy the Dragon Turtle. But a shirtless, muscular man laughed from atop a tree, mocking them for daring to compete for the obsidian. He told them to obediently die in the outer layer. Dazhuang was furious, realizing the man had deliberately lured the monsters toward them. The skeleton warriors possessed a charge skill. With so many of them attacking at once, Tong believed they would be wiped out at their current level. Yao told everyone to step back, saying she would handle it. She summoned another beast. A thunder beast appeared, revealing its SS rank. Tong was stunned. Yao's second beast was an electroshock Dharma King Thunder Snake. Lei finally let out a breath of relief, realizing they were saved. The electroshock Dharma King Thunder Snake unleashed its attack, and lightning surged through the battlefield. The skeleton monsters were electrocuted on the spot. Seeing this, Yang finally understood why Hao had been so furious when Yao joined his team. She was truly powerful, but relying on her alone would take time. Even she couldn't wipe out that many skeleton warriors quickly. Yang activated Ice Mist. A freezing fog spread across a wide area. Several skeleton warriors were frozen at the same time. Tong was confused about how they suddenly froze. Lei guessed it was Yao's doing, but Yao shook her head and said it wasn't her. She couldn't freeze targets within a 50-meter range. Dazhuang immediately thought of Yang, since only he possessed that kind of power. Tong was shocked when she heard that. Yang was only level 13, yet she couldn't imagine him having such a terrifying skill. Yang calmly explained that it was a martial champion exclusive reward. Everyone felt a wave of envy toward him. Dazhuang proudly bragged that Yang only needed to move a little for those monsters to become complete trash. Yang told him to stop talking and finish off the monsters. Dazhuang ordered his brown bear to tear through them. The beast smashed all the frozen skeletons to pieces. It then reported back to Yang that everything was done. After that, Yang told everyone that they would move toward the middle layer. That night, the forest was shrouded in thick purple smoke. It was the forest's miasma. Yang asked if anyone had equipment or medicine to resist the miasma. Lei shook his head and said no. He admitted that no one could have expected to run into something like this. Someone arrived. It was Hao and his team. He looked down on them, mocking them for being trapped there. Dazhuang was irritated and told Hao to stop gloating and get lost. Hao told them not to rush things. He had already noticed that they didn't have any medicine either. He suggested that if Yang called him Dad, he would give each of them a miasma pill. Yang asked calmly if Hao really had extra miasma pills on him. Hao became cautious and asked if Yang planned to rob him. Yang replied that it would be a waste of Hao's kind intentions if he didn't accept what was being offered. He told Hao to come at him if he was afraid of being robbed. Yang was more than happy to oblige. He called out Fei. Fei let out a sharp, piercing cry. Yao was shocked when she saw Fei, an SSS rank beast, the source of all poisons. Tong was completely stunned. Yang already had an SS rank beast, and now seeing an SSS rank left her overwhelmed. Lei stood there in disbelief. He wondered if he had inhaled too much miasma and started hallucinating. He asked them to slap him to make sure. Dazhuang gladly did so. Lei stared at him in shock, unable to believe he actually hit him. Yang ordered Fei to snatch all the pills from Hao. Hao was furious and shouted that Yang had no morals. 5 minutes later, Fei returned with something clamped in her mouth. Yang took it, patted Fei's head, and praised her for a job well done. He handed one pill to everyone. Dazhuang happily thanked him. Yang told them they should leave immediately. Since Hao was already there, other teams wouldn't be far behind. He ordered Fei to clear the path. Fei stepped forward. Yao asked if Yang wasn't going to take one. He explained that both he and his beasts had a passive skill that made them immune to all negative effects. Yao was stunned when she heard that he had such a passive skill. She realized he was far stronger than she'd imagined. She found him more and more interesting. They continued moving forward. Dazhuang was relieved that they were finally out of the forest. Even with miasma pills, the air inside had been suffocating. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash. Tong asked what it was. Yang leaped onto a high tree branch. He saw that it was the group who had lured the monsters earlier, now fighting skeleton giants. Dazhuang was annoyed when he recognized them. He was glad they finally caught up, eager to show them real strength. But Yang told him not to rush. He said there was no need for so many people and that they could just watch. He activated Soul Tier. One of the men suddenly screamed in agony. His teammate noticed and warned him to be careful. A skeleton giant was already closing in on him. They grew worried for their companion. At the same time, they were confused about why he suddenly collapsed. Dazhuang laughed and said they deserved it. The blonde man shouted, asking if they were the ones who did it. Yang calmly told them to worry about what was behind them first. The man's face went pale as a skeleton lunged toward him. Yang then told his team that they were heading to the next area. Lei felt uneasy as the screams echoed behind them. At the inner layer of Black Rock Island. This was where the boss was located. Dazhuang asked Yang what they should do next. Everyone was willing to follow his lead. Lei agreed without hesitation. Yang told them to split up and scout the number of monsters in each direction, then regroup afterward. Everyone complied. 20 minutes later. Lei reported that the east side was packed with small fry. They weren't strong, but there were a lot of them. Dazhuang reported that there were 2 general-level chieftains on the west side, so attacking from that direction would be a complete waste of time. Yao said that the south side had very few monsters and suggested they enter from there. Yang noticed that Tong was missing and started looking around. Just then, she came running toward them. She told them to follow her immediately. Their people were fighting against the Americans. Dazhuang clenched his fists, itching to jump into the fight. Yang calmly asked about the monster situation on the north side. Tong replied that it had already been cleared out by those people. Yang nodded and told everyone that they were moving out. After a few minutes, our MC's group saw some men fighting like children. Dazhuang asked why they were even fighting. Yang guessed they were arguing over who would enter the castle first and get the right to kill the boss. Dazhuang suggested helping their people since they were clearly at a disadvantage, but Yang told them to go ahead first. He said he still had something to take care of. Dazhuang immediately understood. Whenever Yang smiled like that, it was never a good sign. He charged straight toward the Americans. Meanwhile, Yang activated his stealth mode. He stood before a skeleton seated on the throne. Then, he used the detection skill. The enemy was a dark skeleton king, a lord-class monster at level 20. It possessed the skill Dark Erosion, which weakened an enemy's strength and agility by 50%. It was extremely powerful. Even a level 30 Beastmaster might struggle against it, but Yang wouldn't. He activated Purification Aura. Then he summoned Zhulong, Xingtian, and Fei. Xingtian struck first, dealing 10,000 damage. The Dark Skeleton King finally reacted. Yang knew it was trying to summon reinforcements, but he wouldn't allow that. He activated Soul Tier. Its soul was hit directly. Xingtian followed up with another strike, dealing 13,000 damage. The system notified him that the level 20 Dark Skeleton King had been defeated. It dropped an item called Obsidian, which could only be used by a level 20 Beastmaster. Yang decided to store it for now. Suddenly, he heard movement. He immediately reactivated stealth mode. A group of 4 men entered the area. A fat, green-haired man praised Brother C, saying that those pigs from Longguo never would have expected them to sneak in. C replied that it had been difficult to find the secret passage. However, they found it strange that the Skeleton King that should have spawned there was nowhere to be seen. C noticed marks on the ground and suspected someone had already arrived before them. The black-haired man in their group was furious. He believed the Longguo people were responsible. C suggested retreating, killing them outside, and reclaiming the obsidian afterward. That was when Yang suddenly appeared behind them and commented on their bold talk. C laughed, saying Yang had delivered himself right into their hands. He advised Yang to hand over the obsidian if he knew what was good for him. They warned him that their beasts were not something to mess with. Yang calmly summoned his own beasts and accepted the challenge. The purple-haired man froze when he saw 3 SSS rank beasts. He couldn't believe his eyes. The kid was only level 13. C panicked and quickly said it was all a misunderstanding. He mentioned that their two countries were on friendly terms and said he didn't want to fight anymore. Yang agreed that harming the harmony between their nations during the trial wouldn't be good. C bowed and thanked him. Then Yang smiled and said letting them leave so easily would be unfair. He ordered his beasts to kill their beasts. Xingtian led the charge. It smashed into the dinosaur beast. Yang told his beasts to enjoy themselves. C screamed curses at him. Outside the castle, two factions faced each other. Yang appeared and asked if they had reached a truce. Dazhuang confirmed it. For some reason, the Americans suddenly asked for a truce, which he found suspicious. Yao asked Yang what he had been doing. Yang told them to step outside and talk. All 5 of them walked out together. Dazhuang joked that Yang was acting mysterious. He laughed and said that Yang might already have the obsidian. Yang replied that he was smart. He pushed a stone, and the system announced that he had completed the Black Rock Island trial. With that, the mission ended. Everyone was stunned. A long brown-haired man was confused. They had been in a truce at the entrance, so he couldn't understand how the dungeon was cleared. One American explained that the truce was just a cover. Brother C had already found a secret passage into the castle and raided it directly. The long brown-haired man exploded with anger, calling them despicable. The American calmly replied that it was simply all's fair in war. Yang stepped forward and said they were all idiots. The Americans were instantly offended. Yang asked if the Brother C they kept talking about was present. That was when the American realized something was wrong. The dungeon was over, yet Brother C still hadn't come out. Dazhuang laughed loudly and said that Brother C probably failed the raid and was killed directly by the Skeleton King. Another man suspected that Yang's group was responsible. He pointed out that earlier, during the truce, the Longguo team had left early. The more he thought about it, the more it made sense. He demanded to know what they had done to Brother C. Yang shrugged and said he hadn't touched them. The American grew furious, accusing Yang of playing dumb, and decided to beat the answer out of him. He ordered his eagle to charge at Yang. Tong shouted for Yang to be careful. Yang coldly warned him that he was courting death. He summoned Zhulong. Zhulong incinerated the eagle in an instant. It's a one-shot kill. Yao was shocked to see that Yang had yet another SSS rank beast. Yang challenged them to attack together if they still weren't convinced. The blue-haired American glared at him and warned that he would come for him one day. Then he activated the teleportation array. Dazhuang dropped to his knees and declared Yang his god. Lei was just as stunned and said he wanted to hug Yang's thigh. Tong scolded them to stop sucking up and hurry back. Yang took the lead. Hao watched them leave, boiling with rage, and swore that their good days would soon be over. At the school auditorium, Tong wanted to confirm whether Yang had actually killed that sea guy. Yang replied that he was a very kind person. Dazhuang heard that and thought to himself that if he hadn't personally seen Yang slaughter everyone before, he might have believed him. Yao asked why C never came out. With his strength, he should have been able to escape. Yang explained that he didn't touch C himself. He only killed his beasts. He clarified that they were the ones who insulted Longguo, and he merely gave them a small punishment. Dazhuang commented that Yang's method was too ruthless. Lei, on the other hand, praised him, saying the job was well done. Beastmasters relied entirely on their beasts. Without them, they were nothing. Yao looked worried. C was a seeded player, carefully cultivated by the Americans. If Yang dealt with him like that, they wouldn't let it slide easily. Yang shrugged and said they could try him if they had the ability. Just then, Tianlong Academy's principal, Zhuge Kongming, entered the hall. Everyone immediately greeted him respectfully. He reviewed the trial data and said that they had all performed very well, especially Yang. Yang felt his heart sink. The principal had clearly seen what happened during the trial. He quickly defended himself, saying he couldn't be blamed for that incident. He explained that the Americans provoked them first, and since it involved the dignity of Longguo, he couldn't simply pretend he hadn't heard it. Kongming smiled and said it was only a trivial matter, telling Yang not to be so nervous. Yang was surprised that he considered it trivial. Kongming explained that the Americans had always been arrogant, and this incident would help dampen their spirits. Yang still felt that the Americans wouldn't let it go so easily, but Kongming assured him that he would handle everything and told Yang he could leave. Yang thanked him and exited the auditorium. After he left, a woman stepped out from behind the curtains. Kongming said that Yang being born in Longguo was truly a blessing. Rug replied that Yang was still too weak. He needed more training before he could shoulder the responsibilities of the future. Kongming nodded in agreement and decided to increase the difficulty of Yang's path. Outside the building, Yang headed toward the Academy's leveling treasure land. It was massive and impressive. Academies everywhere collected wormhole dungeons for students to fight monsters and level up. Since Tianlong Academy was the top academy in Longguo, Yang expected it to have extremely valuable dungeons. At the entrance to the rifts, students were calling out looking for teammates. One team lacked support and tanks, but already had 3 damage dealers for a Class 3, level 16 giant ant dungeon. Yang ignored them and chose his own dungeon. It was called the level 18 Trent Forest. The monsters inside were level 18, and only beastmasters below level 17 could enter. The entry fee was 200 Tianlong coins. The fastest recorded clear time was 25 minutes and 39 seconds. The surrounding students were stunned when they saw a level 13 newbie enter the level 18 Trent dungeon alone. One student sneered, saying it was just a clueless freshman who didn't know his limits. He expected Yang to crawl out soon with his tail between his legs and learn a lesson. Inside the Treant dungeon, Yang summoned Xingtian and ordered it to cut down everything in their path. Xingtian easily chopped through the trees. Yang rode on the dragon turtle as they advanced deeper. Xingtian continued slicing apart tree monsters along the way. Before long, Yang reached the center. He used the detection skill. The enemy was a Trent King, a chieftain-class monster at level 18 with 1 star. It had 100,000 strength, 7,000 agility, 10,000 spirit, and 20,000 constitution. Yang commented that the stats were barely acceptable. The Treant King began to glow. Yang realized it was trying to absorb the power of the earth. He ordered Xingtian to cut off its branches. Xingtian struck. Several branches snapped off, but other branches lashed out toward Yang. Seeing that the Treant King still had strength to resist, Yang activated Soul Tear. Its soul shattered. Just like that, the Treant King collapsed and dropped its loot. Yang's eyes lit up as he checked the reward. It was a skill upgrade scroll. He was thrilled. With this, he could finally summon a 5th beast. Outside the dungeon, everyone was stunned when the display screen showed a new record for clearing the Trent dungeon. The new time was 12 minutes and 8 seconds. They couldn't believe their eyes. Many people became curious about who this Yang was, amazed by how ridiculous the result was. At that moment, Yang exited the dungeon. They immediately recognized him as the level 13 kid from earlier. A pink-haired woman suddenly shouted for everyone not to let him get away. People crowded around him, and Yang asked what they wanted. Several girls started flirting with him, saying they wanted to be his girlfriend. Yang cursed inwardly at this absurd situation. Suddenly, he pretended to see the principal and loudly asked why he was there. Naturally, everyone turned to look in the other direction. Yang seized the opportunity and escaped. The women realized they had been tricked and shouted in frustration. Yang ran as fast as he could. Out of breath, he couldn't understand why people were making such a big deal out of it. It was just a broken record. He used the scroll and checked the results. He confirmed that he could now summon a 5th beast. So he did exactly that. A golden light burst into the sky. Yang felt excited. The creature slowly began to take shape. His excitement froze when he saw a 3-legged toad. He checked its stats. It was a golden toad, SS rank, 1 star. Its passive skill was Devour, and its active skills were Excite and Blessing. Its strength was 600, agility 600, spirit 600, and constitution 600. Yang felt disappointed by its low stats. He even doubted whether it truly deserved to be SS rank. But then he noticed something shocking. The golden toad increased the abilities of all beasts by 120%, while also providing damage reduction and healing. Yang's mood instantly changed. Back in Blackrock Island, he had been envious of Tong's elk. He never expected his own support beast to appear just as he was feeling exhausted. Although the golden toad's current stats were low, as long as it continued devouring monsters, it could grow without limit. Yang was certain that in the future, it would become an incredibly powerful and terrifying existence. At Yang's dorm, he received a call. He answered, and it was Tong. She said she heard that he had broken the Trent dungeon record. Yang asked how she knew, and she replied that it was already all over the school. After all, not many people could solo a level 18 team dungeon at level 13. Yang complained that the school only gave 10 credits for breaking the record, and that it felt like too little. Tong told him it wasn't little at all. Credits could be exchanged for advanced skill books, upgrade scrolls, and other precious materials. The ways to earn them were extremely limited, and many students didn't even reach 100 credits by the time they graduated. Yang was relieved to hear that the credits were actually valuable. He thanked her and felt motivated to work harder to earn more credits. The next day, Yang carefully arrived at the dungeon area and felt relieved that he had come early. Once inside the Treant dungeon, he summoned the golden toad and Xingtian. He ordered the golden toad to activate its skill. The golden toad opened its mouth and began to glow with golden light. Yang was impressed to discover that the effect worked on him as well. At this point, he felt practically invincible. He then instructed Xingtian to leave one monster alive so the golden toad could devour it and gain experience too. And just like that, they set off. 8 minutes later. They reached the Treant boss. Yang was pleased that they had cleared the dungeon so quickly. The golden toad's buff was absurdly strong. Xingtian moved in to attack, but Yang stopped it. He wanted to take advantage of a loophole in the system and slightly beat yesterday's record to earn the reward again. If they cleared it too fast, it would only make things harder next time. Xingtian seemed to understand and struck the Treant boss, dealing only -1 damage. The Treant boss tried to counterattack, but Xingtian casually chopped it down. The boss was left in a miserable state, and Yang warned Xingtian not to do that again. When the time was almost up, Yang told Xingtian to finish it. The system notified him that he had reached level 14. Then the screen displayed that he had broken the record again, this time with a clear speed of 10 minutes and 6 seconds. He received the record-breaking rewards, 1,000 Tianlong coins, and 10 credits. Yang grinned in satisfaction. The exploit actually worked. With this, he knew one thing for sure. He was about to get very rich. Outside the dungeon, the crowd gasped when they saw that Yang had broken his own record again. The teleportation portal appeared, and Yang stepped out. As soon as the girls saw him, they rushed over. Yang was caught off guard. He immediately knew this was bad. A woman suddenly hugged him, making his face turn red. The girls went wild. The principal appeared and shouted for them to stop. Yang was left dizzy, his cheeks covered in kiss marks. Kongming asked if he was all right. Deep down, Kongming was irritated. Those brats hadn't treated Yang, his precious talent, with enough care. Yang finally steadied himself and said he was fine. He then asked why the principal was there. Kongming couldn't believe Yang still had the nerve to ask. The back-end data clearly showed that Yang stopped killing monsters at the 8-minute mark. It was obvious he was exploiting a loophole to farm credits. Yang replied that he had carefully read the rules of the Wormhole Pavilion, and nowhere did it state that this was forbidden. That answer infuriated Kongming. Deep inside, he couldn't believe how easily this kid shattered records. He was a complete monster. Kongming yelled that while it had been allowed before, he was banning it from now on. He asked Yang whether he had considered the feelings of the other students while repeatedly breaking records and taking all the rewards. The surrounding students heard this. They immediately voiced their opinions, saying the loophole was unfair and shouldn't exist. In response, the principal announced that each student could only receive the record-breaking reward once. Any future clears would still refresh the record, but no additional rewards would be given. Yang had no choice but to accept the decision. Kongming ordered everyone to disperse, then told Yang to follow him. At the principal's office, Yang asked the principal what he needed. Kongming told him that outside the imperial capital city, a new level 18 ogre dungeon had appeared. Worse, it was ruled by a level 18 calamity monster. He wanted Yang to lead a team to eliminate the calamity and asked if he could handle it. Yang answered that he could. Kongming immediately planned to assign 4 level 20 first transition teammates to fully support him. But Yang declined, saying there was no need because he would solo it. Kongming stared at him in disbelief and raised his voice, warning that a calamity monster was no joke. Yang replied calmly that teaming up was troublesome and that going solo was more comfortable. Kongming questioned his chances of success. Yang answered with complete confidence that it was 10 out of 10. Kongming was left speechless. After a moment, he suggested that Li Yu escort Yang to the dungeon. With that, Yang was dismissed. At the outskirts of South City in the imperial capital, Yu led Yang to the entrance of the ogre dungeon. Uncontained dungeons were completely unpredictable, so she warned him to be careful once inside. Yang replied that he understood. Nearby, several people noticed Counselor Yu from Tianlong Academy. One of them stepped forward. He was Kirin Academy's genius beastmaster, Zhang Xiaolong. He asked where her team was to clear the ogre dungeon. A silver-haired man beside him sneered, saying Tianlong Academy must have realized how dangerous it was and gotten scared. Yang calmly said that he was the one they were looking for. Xiaolong stared at him in disbelief. He couldn't believe it was just a level 14 newbie. He gave Yang a piece of friendly advice, warning him that the ogre dungeon was no joke. He told him not to try playing hero and end up being swallowed whole. Yu snapped at him, telling him he had gone too far. Xiaolong shrugged and said he was only offering a reminder. Then he added that Tianlong Academy's title as Longguo's #1 academy was about to change hands. Yang asked Yu what he meant by that. She explained that Tianlong Academy and Kirin Academy had always been rivals. In the rankings, Kirin Academy was always just one step behind, which made them resentful. On the surface, clearing the ogre dungeon was about integrating it into the National Wormhole Pavilion. In reality, it was a secret competition between the two academies, meant to show their strength. Yang nodded, saying he understood. He promised to claim the first clear of the dungeon before the Kirin Academy team. Yu smiled, said she believed in him, and cheered him on. at the ogre dungeon. Yang arrived at his destination. He summoned his beasts. All 5 appeared at once. He ordered the dragon turtle and Fei to pull the mobs, while assigning Xingtian and Zhulong as the main damage dealers. He had the golden toad buff everyone, then clean up the stragglers. And with that, they moved out. The golden toad began buffing them. The dragon turtle and Fei drew aggro. Yang released Ice Mist. All of the enemies were instantly frozen. Then Zhulong and Xingtian swept in and finished the monsters. Yang continuously gained plus 7,000 experience. He was delighted. Just the outskirts of the ogre territory already gave this much experience. He praised the resources the principal had given him, calling them top tier. Soon, only the boss monster remained. So he went to check it out. He arrived at a castle where the boss was sleeping on a throne. Yang slowly approached. The giant monster looked completely relaxed. Yang was shocked by its size. Compared to it, Xingtian looked like a small child. He used the detection skill and learned that the monster was a Cyclops ogre giant, a Grand Lord class monster at level 20. It had 50,000 constitution, 20,000 strength, 12,000 agility, and 10,000 spirit. Its passive skill was Devour, and its active skills were Fearful Threat and Bloody Bite. It possessed an extremely broken ability. It could inflict a 5-second fear effect on beasts. A beast under fear couldn't attack at all. 5 seconds was more than enough for it to kill any intruder. Fortunately, Yang had just obtained Purification Aura. Otherwise, he would have been dead meat. He activated Soul Tear. The attack bypassed its physical body and struck its soul directly, making the giant roar in pain. Yang ordered all his summoned beasts to attack together. Xingtian, Fei, and Zhulong went all out. Despite the agony, the Cyclops ogre giant still tried to swing its massive fist at them. Xingtian leapt aside and dodged the punch. The blow missed and the backlash struck the monster. In an instant, it was reduced to ashes. Then, the loot dropped. Yang complained that the boss was stingy. For something so big, it only dropped 1 piece of equipment. He received the Beast Star Ascension Stone, an item that could raise the star rank of a Beastmaster's summoned beast. Star Ascension greatly boosts a beast's attributes and can awaken new skills. He realized he spoke too soon. There was only 1 stone. He hesitated, unsure which of his 5 beasts should receive it. Suddenly, the ground shook. His heart sank. The calamity was about to appear. The monster emerged and let out a thunderous roar. It was an ancient ogre calamity. Dangerous grade, level 20. It had the passive skill Fury and active skills Bloody Feast and Berserker Attack. Fury came from its violent nature, pushing it into a berserk state that greatly increased its movement speed and defense. Bloody Feast allowed it to temporarily boost its strength and lifesteal for 5 minutes. Berserker Attack ensured that every strike dealt 1.5 times its base strength and damage. Yang's face went pale when he saw the level. Level 20, dangerous grade. The principal had said it would only be a level 18 ordinary calamity. For the first time, Yang wondered if he might fail. The monster moved toward him. The ogre had 2 heads on its massive body and wielded a gigantic hammer. The dragon turtle stepped forward to protect Yang. It took the hit instead. Its health dropped sharply. Seeing the dragon turtle's defense shattered by a single hammer strike, Yang's face turned white. Even though the dragon turtle was only an SS rank beast, it was the team's main tank. If it fell, they wouldn't last long against this calamity. Yang made his decision. He used the stone to ascend its star rank. The dragon turtle burst into a brilliant glow. The system announced that the Beast Star Ascension was successful. The ancient ogre calamity swung its hammer again, but froze in confusion when it failed to break through the turtle's hardened defense. Yang felt relieved when he saw that it could now withstand the attacks. He ordered Xingtian and Zhulong to coordinate with the dragon turtle. They charged forward together. While they fought, Yang checked the dragon turtle's upgraded stats. The dragon turtle had reached 2 stars. Its strength, agility, and spirit were all at 10,000, while its constitution had surged to 55,000. It gained a new passive skill, Refined Steel Shell, level 1, granting 10% physical damage immunity. Taunt reached level 2, allowing it to roar and force all enemies within a 40-meter radius to attack it, while also reducing enemy damage by 15%. Spike Defense let it curl into a ball, activating heavy defense and reducing incoming damage by 30%. Yang was shocked by how much its constitution had increased. It had also gained a brand new skill. Now it made sense why it could block an attack from a level 20 calamity. After doing the math, Yang realized they finally had a real chance to win. The ogre calamity entered a berserk state. Xingtian jumped back to escape it. Zhulong was about to be struck instead. Yang knew the situation was dangerous. He cast Ice Mist. The ogre calamity gripped its hammer with both arms. Its body froze in place. Fei released a poison breath. The poison kept dealing damage. The monster roared in pain and activated Bloody Feast. Yang cursed inwardly. He had forgotten that the monster had a lifesteal skill. He used Soul Tear. The attack landed cleanly. The monster screamed as intense nerve pain spread through its body. They seized the opening. Xingtian slipped behind it. He slashed down, dealing minus 99,000 damage. Xingtian activated Super Destruction and instantly finished the monster. The Calamity vanished, leaving behind the heart of the Ancient Ogre Calamity, the Ancient Ogre Calamity Greatsword, and the Ancient Ogre Calamity Long Spear. Yang also reached level 16. He wiped the sweat from his brow. This fight had been hard. If Xingtian hadn't triggered destruction, it would have dragged on much longer. He complained about how wrong the principal's information was. Both the Calamity's level and grade were off. He decided he would demand an explanation once he got back. He exited the portal, and Yu immediately noticed him. She asked why he came out so fast and why he looked so beaten up. She wondered if he had failed. She tried to comfort him, saying it was already impressive that he escaped without serious injuries. Yang calmly said that he killed the Calamity. She froze in shock. Less than an hour had passed, and he had already dealt with a level 18 Calamity. Yang corrected her. It was actually level 20. She was stunned. The stat gap between levels was over 10,000, and anything above level 20 belonged to an entirely different tier. She said that he never failed to amaze her. Yang told her to calm down so they could head back first. He had something important to discuss with the principal. A moment later, two masters flew toward the portal. One of them said the Calamity had vanished, so he assumed Xiaolong's team had cleared it. Another praised him, saying it was expected of Kirin Academy's new generation prodigy to clear a level 18 ogre dungeon so quickly. Kongming sneered and called them shameless. The results weren't even out yet, and they were already rushing to take credit. The principal of Kirin Academy said he heard Tianlong Academy only sent a level 14 newbie. He doubted that someone like that could clear such a high difficulty dungeon. Kongming calmly replied that they should just wait and see. Xiaolong's party exited the dungeon. The principal smiled when he saw him. Xiaolong spoke arrogantly, telling Kongming to prepare to lose his #1 title when they got back. Kongming frowned and asked how that was possible. The Kirin Academy principal then requested to see the loot dropped by the Calamity. Xiaolong hesitated and explained that they didn't kill it. When they arrived, the Calamity was already dead. The principal froze and asked how that could be possible. A Tianlong Academy student suddenly thought of Yang. Another student agreed, saying only their academies knew about the dungeon. If it wasn't Xiaolong, then it had to be Yang. Kongming looked at the Kirin Academy principal, calling him Old Tian, and mocked him. He said the so-called geniuses from Kirin Academy couldn't even compare to Yang from Tianlong Academy. Tian snorted and refused to believe it. He insisted a level 14 couldn't possibly have that kind of strength. He claimed Yang was useless and said other teams must have entered the dungeon. Kongming laughed at his stubbornness and suggested they wait. His academy's peerless prodigy would appear soon enough. 1 hour later, Kongming began to feel uneasy. Why wasn't Yang out yet? Tian laughed loudly and said the so-called genius probably died inside. Kongming immediately denied it. A red-haired student leaned in and whispered to the principal, asking where Yu was. She had entered with Yang, but she hadn't returned. Kongming ordered someone to contact her immediately. Tian pointed out that all 5 students from Kirin Academy had already returned safely. He mocked Tianlong Academy for showing off and sending a newbie in alone. Now that their genius was dead, he would officially take the #1 title. Kongming was furious. The red-haired student suddenly reported that Yang was not dead. Kongming turned sharply and demanded to know what happened. The red-haired student explained that an hour ago, Yang killed the Calamity and already returned to the academy. Kongming smiled in relief. He was glad to know he hadn't misjudged Yang's abilities. Tian shouted that it was impossible. Yang was only level 14. How could he solo clear a level 18 dungeon? The red-haired student calmly replied that Yu had reported the dungeon was upgraded to level 20. Kongming's jaw dropped. He hurriedly asked if the kid was all right. Fortunately, Yang was completely unharmed. Kongming finally relaxed. Tian turned to Xiaolong and asked if the Calamity was really level 20. Xiaolong nodded and added that it was also a dangerous grade Calamity. When the two principals heard that, it felt like their souls left their bodies, back at the academy, inside the principal's office. Kongming rushed in, scanning the room for Yang. "I'm here," Yang said. He was casually sitting in the principal's chair. Kongming stared at him in disbelief. Yang claimed he was fine, but he looked completely worn out. Yang's face was pale. He complained that Kongming said the Calamity was only level 18, but it turned out to be a level 20 dangerous grade monster. He demanded to know how that could happen. He went on and on about how he nearly got killed. Kongming admitted that he wasn't sure of the exact reason yet and said he would need to investigate and negotiate further. Yang waved that off and demanded compensation instead. Kongming agreed to compensate him. Yang opened the box to check what was inside. He saw 2 Beast Star Ascension Stones and a talent upgrade book. His mood instantly changed. He grabbed the items and moved so fast it was a blur. Before closing the door, he turned back and told the principal that he was generous enough. If there were tasks like this in the future, Kongming should come find him again. Then he left. Kongming stood there, stunned. Watching how fast Yang ran, he finally realized the kid had been pretending all along. Yang headed into a forest. Xingtian and Zhulong were his main damage dealers, so he decided to upgrade them first. He summoned both of them, then he used Star Ascension. Their bodies lit up with a brilliant glow. He opened their status panels. Zhulong, an SSS grade beast, was level 15 with 3 stars. Its strength reached 30,000, spirit 12,000, agility 20,000, and constitution 33,000. Its passive skills were Dragon Might, level 2, and Dragon's Body, level 1. Its active skills were Candle Dragon's Eye, level 2, and Dragon's Roar, level 2. Dragon scales were unique giant scales of the dragon race, granting 20% physical damage immunity and 40% elemental damage immunity. Candle Dragon's Eye released scorching light, dealing area damage equal to 350% of its spirit. Dragon's Roar made it roar toward the sky, dealing area damage based on 350% of its strength. Dragon Might intimidated enemies within 5 levels of Zhulong, reducing their strength by 30%. Xingtian, also SSS grade, was level 15 with 3 stars. It had 30,000 strength, 12,000 spirit, 20,000 agility, and 33,000 constitution. Its passive skills were War God's Body, level 3, and Super Destruction, level 2. Its active skills were Bloodthirsty Berserk, level 2, and Break Gold, Sink Boat, level 2. The results were impressive. Even without the Golden Toad's buffs, their stats were already outrageous. With the Golden Toad supporting them in battle, the boost would be even more terrifying. After upgrading the beasts, it was his turn. Yang upgraded his talent, Divine Inspiration. His SSS rank. Divine Inspiration advanced to level 2. Now all abilities of both Master and Summoned Beasts received a 20 times buff. Yang couldn't hide his smile. He wanted to test Xingtian's attack power after the talent upgrade. Xingtian raised its axe. The moment it swung, everything went dark, leaving only a glowing trail of the axe behind. The impact shook the surroundings. Yang stood there, completely stunned. The next day arrived. It was time to level up again, so Yang chose a high-level dungeon. Suddenly, someone shouted for him to stop. Yang turned to see who it was. It was Hao. He sneered and said they had met again. Several men in black uniforms noticed the scene and whispered that Hao was bullying a freshman again. A red-haired student sighed and said Yang was really unlucky. Another added that it couldn't be helped. Hao had Brother Tao, the Chaos Demon King, backing him. No one dared to provoke him. Yang looked at Hao and mocked him. He said Hao was like an unkillable cockroach, surviving even after staying in the miasma forest for so long. Hao exploded in rage and told him to stop talking nonsense. He then announced that Brother Tao wanted to see him. Yang replied calmly that if Brother Tao wanted to see him, he should roll over himself. The blue-haired student in black was stunned. He couldn't believe Yang dared to disrespect Brother Tao. The red-haired student grew anxious. The last person who offended Brother Tao had already ended up as a corpse. Hao demanded to know if Yang even understood who Brother Tao was. Yang shoved him aside, telling him not to block the road. Hao crashed face first into the ground. His underlings rushed to help and asked if he was okay. Hao climbed back up, shaking with rage, ready to fight. He cast Soul Tear. Hao collapsed and rolled on the ground, screaming in pain. Yang looked down at him and asked if he hadn't heard the rule that villains die from talking too much. He then told the others that if they wanted trouble, they could all come at him together. He was in a hurry anyway. The men stiffened and quickly said they were just passing by. Yang scoffed and called them a bunch of useless wastes. Hao, however, still refused to let it go. Yang ignored him and continued on his way. He soon arrived at the Wormhole Pavilion and checked the dungeon information for Brown Bear Ridge. The monster level was 20. Only Beastmasters below level 19 could enter, and the entry fee was 300 Tianlong coins. There was no record for fastest clearance. He stepped into the portal and arrived on the other side. The moment he landed, a massive bear claw swung toward him. His eyes widened in shock. By instinct, he stepped back and cast Soul Tear. The bear monster was hit head-on. He instantly killed a level 19 brown bear warrior. He froze when the monster vanished so quickly. To be safe, he activated his detection skill. The brown bear warrior was level 19. Its active skills were Bear Claw and Bite, and it had a passive skill called Strong. Its stats were even higher than the mobs in the ogre dungeon, yet he still one-shot it. That was when Yang realized just how strong he had become. To avoid being ambushed again, he decided to summon his beasts. He snapped his fingers. All of his beasts appeared. They were ready to move. The beasts charged forward at once. Xingtian cut down several monsters with a single swing. Yang quickly told him to take it easy and leave at least one for the golden toad. Zhulong unleashed flames on the brown bear warriors. Yang immediately scolded him for using wide area skills. He was killing them too fast, and the golden toad still needed something to eat. The golden toad was about to cry as it really never got a chance to gain any experience. They were giving our MC a real headache. Bear corpses lay scattered everywhere. Yang summoned the dragon turtle to draw out the boss. It let out a thunderous roar. A conjoined bear emerged from the shadows. Yang activated his detection skill. It was a mutated two-headed bear at level 20. Its attacks focused on claw, critical hits, and stacking damage, making it a truly worthy opponent. Yang knew Xingtian and Zhulong still hadn't had a proper fight, so he ordered them to go all out. Both of them were thrilled. Zhulong unleashed its full power, spewing raging flames. When the smoke cleared, the monster had already fallen. The system announced that Yang was the first to clear the Brown Bear Ridge dungeon. He received 1,000 Tianlong coins and 10 credits as a reward. There was also an ancient key, though its purpose was unknown. Yang looked around the area. He had a feeling there might still be some hidden treasure waiting to be found. Yang went around searching for it. He checked beneath the rocks and inside the bushes. A few hours passed, and something felt off. A key wouldn't just appear there for no reason. An old man suddenly appeared and asked if he was looking for the treasure left behind by the old king Lin Nan. Yang used his detection skill. The system showed that all of the man's stats were unknown. That immediately put him on edge. He asked the old man who he was. The old man smiled and said he was just like Yang. A treasure hunter. Yang asked if he had already found the treasure. The old man replied that he had, but to open it, he needed the key that was in Yang's hand. He proposed a deal. Give him the key, and he would lead Yang to the treasure. Yang agreed. He was about to hand over the key. The old man praised him, calling him a good child. But just before the old man could touch it, Yang activated Soul Tear. A sharp pain exploded inside the old man's head. He staggered and demanded to know what Yang was doing. Yang calmly replied that he would kill him and take the treasure himself. The old man flew into a rage, cursing Yang as an ungrateful little brat. Since Yang wanted to die so badly, the wizard said he would grant that wish. A surge of dark energy shot straight into the sky. Yang smiled. He was glad the man had finally revealed his true colors. The old man was a dark grand wizard, level 21. He possessed the passive skill Dark Erosion and the active skills Dark Warrior and Dark Flame. Dark Erosion reduced an enemy's strength and agility by 50%. Dark Flame dealt 200% spirit damage and applied an erosion effect. His stats were terrifying: 10,000 strength, 20,000 agility, 20,000 constitution, and 55,000 spirit. Yang scoffed and called him pathetic. Now it made sense why the old man had been hiding his status. The Dark Grand Wizard unleashed Dark Flame. Yang instantly summoned Zhulong. Zhulong released a massive stream of fire. The two flames collided violently in midair. At the same time, Xingtian slipped behind the Dark Grand Wizard and brought his blade down in a brutal slash. The Dark Grand Wizard fell forward. Blood spread across the ground. Yang had successfully killed a level 21 Dark Grand Wizard, and a treasure chest dropped beside the body. Just as he expected, the treasure had been on him all along. Now it was time to go home and open his loot box. He activated teleportation. When he arrived on the other side, someone was already waiting for him. He was startled to see Yao. He asked why she was there. She explained that she had been grinding dungeons nearby. When she spotted him, she decided to stay and watch. Yang mentioned that the dungeon gave a huge amount of experience and suggested it was a great place to grind. She replied that she couldn't farm it right now. Confused, he asked why. She told him he'd understand once he tried entering again. Yang reached out and attempted to enter the portal once more. The system immediately notified him that the level 20 Brown Bear Ridge dungeon was on cooldown. He could enter again after 1 hour and 58 minutes. Yang froze in place, shocked to learn that the dungeon had a cooldown. Yo explained that dungeons above level 20 were different from low-level ones. They had cooldown timers. The higher the difficulty, the longer the cooldown. Yang was instantly disappointed. Waiting almost 2 freaking hours felt brutal. She told him that he could use a wormhole badge to reduce the cooldown. Yao handed him the badge. Hearing that it could bypass dungeon cooldowns, Yang asked what would happen if the badge ran out of charges. She explained that if he didn't have enough charges, he could exchange Tianlong coins to refill them or earn more charges by completing academy missions. It was very convenient. Yang then asked where he could get a wormhole badge. She said that new Beastmasters usually receive one automatically after reaching level 20 and completing their first transition. His level wasn't high enough yet, but he could obtain one by participating in the freshman arena tournament. Yang remembered that the tournament started tomorrow, which meant it was already too late to register. Yao offered to help. She said she could talk to the student council and arrange it so he could participate directly tomorrow. Yang thanked her sincerely. That night, inside Yang's room, he could barely contain his excitement as he wondered what kind of treasure was inside. He inserted the key, twisted it, and opened the treasure chest. The system congratulated him for obtaining an ancient hidden treasure map. Yang felt a surge of joy at receiving a new treasure map. An ancient hidden treasure was an advanced treasure map that recorded the ruins of a treasure discovered by the ancient brown bear king. The level requirement was level 20, and the recommended level was 30 or higher. Yang was stunned when he saw the restriction. In the end, he could only sigh and wait until he leveled up. The next day. At the freshman arena tournament site, Yao and Yang sat in the bleachers. She told him that the top 3 winners would receive a wormhole badge. She reassured him that he didn't need to worry later. Yang replied confidently that he wasn't worried at all, and that getting first place would be simple for him. She was reminded once again that he was a freak. Still, she advised him to be careful. The freshman arena tournament wasn't just a fight among freshmen, it was also a clash between freshmen and sophomores. Yang asked what she meant by that. She explained that it was basically a hazing ritual by the sophomores. The freshmen were all geniuses gathered from everywhere, so a bit of suffering was meant to help them grow and push them to work harder. Yang commented that the old man Kongming was full of nasty tricks. That made her laugh. She said he was probably the only one who dared to talk about Kongming like that. She also reassured him that the arena only preserved the 5 senses, so no real harm could be done. At that moment, someone arrived. It was a blonde guy, a bald guy, and an orange-haired guy. The blonde guy said that last year, he had been beaten badly by the sophomores, and now it was finally his turn to beat up others. The orange-haired guy looked excited, saying he couldn't wait to throw those greenhorn brats into a world of pain. The bald guy added that they were just a bunch of newbies, so there was no need to take things seriously. He was already looking forward to seeing them cry for their mommies. The orange-haired guy suddenly noticed last year's martial champion. The blonde guy followed his gaze and confirmed it. He had heard that the martial champion had achieved perfect scores in all subjects. The bald guy scoffed, saying that scores didn't mean anything if he was still just a greenhorn. Later, he planned to make a name for himself by defeating him. Kongming entered the arena. He was about to announce the rules of the competition. Kongming explained that the arena used a free team formation system. Each sophomore who stepped onto the stage would stake Tianlong coins and credits as rewards. If the freshmen succeeded in the challenge, they could take everything. With that, he officially announced the start of the competition. The bald guy stepped into the arena and introduced himself as Li Qiang from sophomore class 8. He was a level 25 strength-type beastmaster, betting 5,000 Tianlong coins and 50 credits. He asked who dared to challenge him. His orange-haired friend laughed, saying no one would be brave enough to face a level 25, especially a strength type. The blonde guy added that getting hit by Qiang would hurt like hell. When no one stepped forward, Qiang mocked the freshmen for being cowards, saying that they didn't even have the guts to enter the arena. One student finally spoke up and said he would do it. His name was Gao Long, level 14, an offensive beastmaster. Yang was surprised. It had only been a week, and Gao Long had already reached level 14. That alone made him a dangerous opponent. Qiang summoned his beast. It was an SS rank, level 25 mighty ape. He told Gao Long that he would only use one beast, and if Gao Long managed to beat him, the reward would be his. Gao Long agreed and summoned his own beasts. They were an SS rank level 14 power demon bear and an S rank level 14 poisonous ant. Yao let out a quiet sigh. She already knew there was no chance of winning. Yang said it couldn't be helped. A beastmaster's level determined the beast's level cap. With an 11-level gap, even if both beasts attacked together, they stood no chance. Gao Long ordered the power demon bear to use Swift Ram, while the poisonous ant activated Soul Devour. Both beasts charged forward at the same time. Qiang calmly commanded the mighty ape to use Soul Impact. The ape let out a deafening roar. The poisonous ant was instantly stunned and took minus 1,000 damage. The power demon bear became dizzy as well and suffered minus 2,000 damage. Gao Long shouted, asking what was happening. Qiang told him to stop struggling. His beasts were already stunned. Then he coldly said goodbye to his junior. He finished it with world-ending God Fist. The mighty ape charged forward. Its punch landed squarely on the power demon bear. The beast was reduced to ashes on the spot. Gao Long collapsed to his knees and shouted that he gave up. Terror shook his entire body. He was placed onto a stretcher and carried away by the medical team. A pink-haired sophomore scoffed, saying Gao Long was far too weak and much worse than they had been in their first year. A red-haired student added that she thought he was tough, considering how arrogantly he had stepped forward. Chiang looked around the arena and asked if there was anyone else who dared to challenge him. Two freshman girls exchanged looks. They both knew they had no chance. Gaolong was already considered one of the strongest freshmen, yet he hadn't even lasted a few moves. Seeing that no one stepped up, Chiang sneered and said he would switch to an A-rank beast just to fight them. His words offended many of the freshmen. They clenched their fists, hoping someone would go up and teach him a lesson. Yang stood up and said that he would do it. He walked straight toward the arena. Chiang immediately recognized him as the martial champion. He laughed, amused that Yang was finally willing to show his face. Yang told him to cut the nonsense and bring out his full strength. Chiang narrowed his eyes at Yang's attitude and said that having an SSS rank beast didn't make him invincible. He gave Yang a thumbs down and mocked him, saying that no matter how powerful a beast was, if the beast master's level was low, he would still be trash. Chiang summoned his Flowing Flame Lion. It was an SSS rank, level 25 Flowing Flame Lion. Yang calmly summoned Zhulong. Zhulong slowly emerged from the rift. It was also SSS rank, but only level 15. The crowd was stunned by Yang's beast. A chubby student exclaimed that he was insanely jealous. Yang actually had an orthodox dragon. Still, many shook their heads. The level gap was simply too wide. Beating Chiang still didn't seem realistic. Chiang sneered and told Yang that he'd give him another chance to summon a beast. Zhulong alone wasn't enough for a real fight. Yang replied that there was no need. One beast was more than enough to crush him. Chiang laughed coldly, admitting that Yang was good at putting on a show. He warned him not to cry later and complained that he wasn't given a chance. Chiang ordered the mighty ape to use Soul Impact. The sound wave was on its way towards our MC. Yang immediately commanded Zhulong to use Dragon's Breath. Zhulong gathered energy. Chiang's expression changed when he realized Zhulong wasn't stunned. Yang revealed that he possessed a purifying aura. Then he ordered Zhulong to tear the mighty ape apart. Zhulong circled the ape. Its massive body wrapped around it and tightened, until the mighty ape was completely crushed. Chiang screamed in pain. In panic, he ordered the Flowing Flame Lion to attack. The lion slashed at Zhulong, but it only dealt 666 damage. The orange-haired guy muttered that it looked like the lion had just tickled it. The blonde guy snorted, saying Chiang was about to eat shit. The chubby guy laughed and joked that they should start calling him Little Chiang. Zhulong slammed the Flowing Flame Lion into the ground. 66,666 damage. Chiang cried out in absolute despair. Zhulong then loomed over him. Yang asked calmly if he planned to surrender. He even offered to let Zhulong escort him off the stage. Chiang's face turned deathly pale. He trembled and finally said that he surrendered. The orange-haired guy burst out laughing, saying it was fucking hilarious, and that it proved Chiang really did eat shit. The blonde guy mocked him as well, laughing that despite the huge level gap, he still got one shot. The chubby student shouted at the sophomores, saying they couldn't keep acting arrogant after getting beaten by a freshman so badly they were pissing their pants. In Yang's mind, he knew they wouldn't be smiling for long. Kongming announced the winner. It was Yang. He earned 5,000 Tianlong coins and 50 credits. Kongming then told him he could step down. Yang replied that going up and down was too much trouble. He raised his voice and asked if any other sophomores had a problem with him. If they did, he told them to come up and challenge him directly. Yao commented that Yang really didn't play by the rules. When no one else stepped forward, Yang sneered and said the sophomores were truly pathetic. Kongming turned around, thinking to himself that young people were just too arrogant. A brown-haired guy stepped forward. Hao smirked and muttered that Yang was now fucking dead. The crowd recognized Brother Tao. They immediately believed that this time, the brat was finished. Shouts rang out, saying that arrogant people always got what was coming to them. They cheered for Brother Tao to teach the kid a proper lesson. Tao stepped onto the arena. He told Yang that he was arrogant, but undeniably strong. Yang was confused why Tao would still come up knowing that. He mocked him, saying maybe he had some weird masochistic kink. Tao was irritated and called him trash who could only run his mouth. He bet 5,000 Qianlong coins and 50 credits. The staff struck the gong. Tao activated Dominant Beast Seal. Zhulong was hit. Red energy engulfed it. Then Zhulong vanished. Yang quickly realized it wasn't a negative effect, so it couldn't be purified. He immediately understood that this guy was playing dirty. Tao sarcastically said that he had accidentally sealed Yang's beast. He suggested that Yang kneel, beg for mercy, and call him Grandpa Meng a few times. If he did that, Tao might make his suffering a little less painful. Yang replied, "In your dreams." Tao told him to use whatever skills he had. Yang activated Soul Tier on him. Tao shivered slightly, then casually commented that the weather was pretty nice today. Yang was shocked. He couldn't understand how Tao was completely fine. Tao revealed that he was wearing a vest that prevented spiritual attacks. Yang wondered how Tao even knew he had that skill. Then he realized it was Hao's idea. In Hao's mind, no matter what happened, the kid wasn't leaving today. Yang regretted not killing him earlier. Tao told him to stop dragging others into it and advised him to surrender now if he was smart. Yang found it amusing that Tao thought he could win so easily. Tao grew irritated that Yang was still acting tough, even though he was about to die. He decided to show this scrub that he could crush 10 of them with just one hand. He summoned his beast. It was a tiger at level 555. It lunged straight at Yang. A man in the audience said it was over. With no beasts left, Yang was finished. Another student covered his eyes, unable to bear watching the coming tragedy. But Yang suddenly vanished. The tiger froze in confusion, and Tao began cursing, yelling about what kind of man hid like a coward. Yang reappeared behind him and calmly told him to look behind. Tao snapped his head around. The moment he did, Yang slapped him across the face. Tao exploded in rage and screamed for the white tiger to kill him. The white tiger charged straight at Yang. Yang released an ice mist. The white tiger froze solid. Yang was pleased. The freeze effect triggered in a single hit. He slapped the tiger. The blow was so strong that it sent the white tiger flying into the next room. Tao hurriedly tried to summon another beast, but before he could finish speaking, Yang rushed forward, shoved him to the ground, and stomped on him. Then came a slap. Tao cursed at him. Since he was still talking, Yang slapped him again. And again. Both of Tao's cheeks quickly swelled up. Only then did Tao finally surrender. Yang sighed, wishing he had done this earlier. He kindly offered to see him off, so he kicked him. Tao rolled all the way down the arena. The crowd was completely dumbfounded. They had never seen someone fight like this in the arena before. It felt like a revelation. One person noticed how terrifying Yang's arm strength was. One slap alone took 500 health points from the azure white tiger. A few more slaps and it would have been completely finished. Yang looked at the crowd and asked if anyone else wanted to challenge him. He even asked Hao if he wanted to give it a try. Hao immediately refused, awkwardly saying that his mom was calling him home for dinner. A long red-haired student sighed, saying that last year they got beaten up, and now that they were sophomores, they were still getting beaten up. Another sophomore muttered that this year's freshmen were way too strong. He completely lost his will to fight and decided to go grind levels instead. Yang received a badge. Kongming announced that first place in the freshman arena. Tournament was Yang. He was rewarded with one wormhole badge, along with an additional 10,000 Tianlong coins and 100 credits. Hao watched everything closely. She finally realized just how strong he really was, and before she knew it, she felt herself wanting to get closer to him. At the wormhole pavilion. Yang stood in front of the Brown Bear Ridge portal. He wondered what kind of treasure he might find this time. Suddenly, someone tapped his shoulder. Startled, he immediately turned around. It was Ying. He scolded her for sneaking up on him like that. She replied that it was his fault for not noticing her. She smacked his shoulder, clearly annoyed. She complained that he was already level 16 while she had worked her ass off just to reach level 13. Then she demanded that he carry her. Yang hesitated. The dungeon's difficulty was a bit too high. Ying immediately put on her puppy dog eyes and suggested they switch to another dungeon instead. She begged him non-stop. In the end, Yang gave in. Someone came jogging over while calling out, telling his boss to wait up. It was Long. He caught up to Yang and excitedly told him that his performance in the arena was insanely cool and that Yang had officially become his idol. Yang simply replied that he was praising him too much. Long asked if they were heading into a dungeon. He wanted to come along and even offered 50 Tianlong coins. Yang refused, saying he wasn't short on cash. Long felt a little awkward. Then he remembered that Yang had just won 20,000 Tianlong coins, so of course he wouldn't care about pocket change. Yang told him not to overthink it. It wasn't about the money. He invited Long to join them and said he'd take him to the level 18 ogre dungeon. The three of them headed toward the dungeon. Yang was prompted to choose a difficulty: easy, normal, hard, or nightmare. He was just about to select nightmare mode. Ying immediately stopped him. He asked what was wrong. She explained that this was a newly discovered medium-sized dungeon, and the monsters inside were insanely strong. Yang asked what the problem was with that. She told him he absolutely could not choose nightmare difficulty. He confidently replied that it shouldn't be too hard for him. Long was deeply impressed. That level of composure was something he felt he could never learn in his lifetime. Ying shouted at Yang to snap out of it. The difficulty of a medium-sized dungeon required multiple teams working together just to clear it. Long thought that sounded exaggerated. He said he heard the dungeon had already been soloed by Yang. She asked how that was even possible. Yang didn't expect his reputation to spread that fast. Deep down, he wanted them to praise him a little more. Ying noticed his smirk and warned him that he'd better protect her later. Yang agreed without hesitation. They entered the portal and arrived on the other side. The moment they stepped in, monsters came rushing toward them. Ying complained that even the small fry had ridiculously high stats. Long was completely speechless when he saw the numbers. Yang warned them to stay close. He summoned his beasts. All four appeared at once. Long's eyes bulged, his jaw dropping when he saw that Yang actually had 4 top-tier beasts. It made him wonder if Yang had robbed the imperial capital's national fortune shrine or something. Ying couldn't believe Long was asking her, especially when she was just as shocked. It had only been a few days, and Yang already had another beast. Yang ordered Xingtian to deal with the monsters. Each one was killed in a single hit. He deliberately left 2 monsters behind for Ying and Long so they wouldn't feel left out. Ying stared at him in disbelief and sarcastically said that he was being far too kind. She summoned her beast and scolded it, telling it to hit harder because it looked like it was just tickling the enemies. Long also summoned his beast and ordered it to attack, but he ended up scolding it too. He complained that its punches were so weak it was like it hadn't eaten breakfast. Meanwhile, Xingtian kept attacking, each strike dealing 15,000 damage. Long and Ying could only feel jealous. They started calling Yang all kinds of names. Yang took it as a compliment, thanked them, and continued moving toward their destination. But Long's expression grew noticeably gloomy. At the ogre castle, they were greeted by a massive number of ogres, at least 100 of them. Now Long finally understood why this was classified as a medium-sized dungeon. With that many monsters guarding the area, the 3 of them couldn't just rush in recklessly. Yang told them to focus on protecting themselves and leave the rest to him. Long had a bad feeling that Yang was about to brute force his way through, and he was right. Yang summoned the golden toad. He commanded it for its skill. It immediately buffed the other 3. Faye released its poison, dealing 8,000 damage to every ogre it touched. Long was shocked to realize that Yang had yet another auspicious beast. Ying asked if Faye's venom had always been that strong. Long checked the stats and told her that her numbers had doubled. The same thing had happened to him. Ying stared in disbelief. She hadn't known Yang's beast had that kind of ability. The envy hit her so hard that she desperately wanted one of her own. Julong breathed fire at several ogres, dealing 2,000 damage to each. Ying felt like she was about to explode from all the experience points pouring in. Long was just as excited. He wouldn't even dare to dream about leveling this fast. At that moment, it finally clicked for him. The person who had soloed this dungeon had to be Yang. Especially since Yang moved through the palace as if he knew it by heart. Ying decided to ask him directly. At that moment, Yang was casting ice mist. She walked up to him and bluntly asked if he was the one who got the first clear of this dungeon. Yang casually replied, asking who else it could be if not him. Long immediately started flattering him. Ying, on the other hand, was annoyed. If he had just said it earlier, she wouldn't have worried for so long. They crossed the bridge and entered the castle. Inside, a massive ogre blocked their path. It was a Cyclops ogre troll. Its stats were terrifying. Even with her beast fully buffed, Ying knew she couldn't defeat it. Long couldn't help but wonder how Yang had beaten this thing alone. It felt unbelievable. Yang simply said it was easy, with his hands. He ordered Xingtian to attack. Xingtian lunged forward and brought its axe down in a clean slash. 35,000 damage. The monster collapsed instantly. Long stood frozen in disbelief. A monster with a 35,000 constitution had been one shot. Ying felt even more irritated. Comparing herself to Yang felt completely pointless. Long joked that if he ever doubted Yang again, Ying should slap him hard. She replied with a devilish grin, saying she'd make sure he was very satisfied. They exited the dungeon. A system announcement rang out, congratulating them. Yang's team had broken the ogre dungeon record with a completion time of 1 hour and 8 minutes. Because of that, they received an additional reward of 1,000 Tianlong coins and 10 credits. Long and Ying were overjoyed, acting like they had just struck gold. Yang was confused by their reaction. It was only 1,000 Tianlong coins and 10 credits. He asked if it was really necessary to be that excited. They both looked at him with annoyance and asked if he even knew how hard it was to earn credits. He honestly didn't, so he asked if it was really that difficult. Ying asked him how many credits he currently had. Yang replied casually that it wasn't much, around 380. Both of them froze in shock. Yang didn't understand their reaction and asked if that amount was considered a lot. Ying stared at him in disbelief. She explained that 30% of students couldn't even reach 100 credits by the time they graduated. She raised her voice, pointing out that Yang had only been at the academy for a little over a week, yet he already had almost 400 credits. She told him to think carefully about whether that was a lot or not. Long immediately clung to Yang's leg, declaring that from now on he wasn't his brother anymore. He was his dad. He begged Yang to be his sugar daddy. Yang kicked him away and told him to get lost. He said he wasn't interested in guys. Yang mentioned that he heard from Tong that credits were the threshold to enter many advanced places. He asked what those places were. Long teased him, saying that even a big boss like Yang had things he didn't know. That earned him another threat. Yang raised his leg and told him to stop messing around and just say it. Long finally explained that credits allowed entry into the credit hall. Yang immediately became interested. Long elaborated that inside the credit hall were all kinds of rare and precious equipment, items, and resources. Each floor required a different amount of credits. The higher the floor, the more credits needed, and the better the rewards. Yang decided that he wanted to check it out. Ying quickly told him not to get his hopes up too soon. Credits were only the ticket to enter. Without enough Tianlong coins, it would still be impossible to buy anything. Long then asked how many Tianlong coins Yang had so he could give him proper advice. Yang answered honestly that he had around 35,500 Tianlong coins. The words hit them like a thunderbolt. Both of them were completely stunned. Eventually, Yang left. He arrived in front of the building. The system confirmed that he met the credit requirement and asked if he wanted to enter. Yang clicked yes. The doors slowly opened. He stepped inside, and the space immediately surprised him. The interior was vast and open. On the first floor of the credit hall, students were wandering around, carefully examining the items on display. Yang walked past several people who were busy checking out the equipment. One student suddenly shouted in excitement, saying the equipment he found added a huge amount of attack power. With it, he claimed he could slaughter everything. Yang grew curious and asked how much attack it added. The student proudly replied that it increased the attack by 100 points. Yang lost interest instantly. Even the trash drops he got from monsters gave more than that. The student got angry and yelled at Yang, telling him to stop showing off. He challenged Yang to take out something better if he really had it. Yang calmly pulled out his equipment. The glow was so intense that the student had to squint his eyes. His face froze when he saw the stats: plus 1,000 spirit power, plus 50% strength, and plus 150% constitution. Stunned, the student immediately apologized for his rudeness and asked which dungeon Yang had entered to obtain such items. For the man's own safety, Yang replied that it was better for him not to know. Yang felt disappointed. There was nothing on the first floor that interested him. He continued walking. When he reached the staircase, the system informed him that entering the second floor required 100 credits. Yang didn't hesitate. He chose to enter. At the credit hall, second floor. Yang immediately noticed that this floor was far more advanced than the first. He looked around. To his surprise, there were actually primary experience talismans and primary skill upgrade scrolls. The primary experience talisman increased a Beastmaster's experience gain by 1.5 times for 12 hours, priced at 2,000 Tianlong coins. The primary skill upgrade scroll was used to upgrade skills and could only enhance active skills below level 10. Its price was 5,000 Tianlong coins. Yang bought 5 primary experience talismans, planning to speedrun his way to level 20. The total came to 10,000 Tianlong coins, and he confirmed the purchase. After that, he bought 2 skill upgrade scrolls. Seeing that the items on the second floor were already this high quality, he knew the third floor would be even more ridiculous. So he decided to buy 1 more upgrade scroll for now. Then he walked toward the staircase and proceeded to the next floor. A student nearby was completely stunned. He couldn't believe his eyes. A freshman had actually gone up to the third floor. Another student exclaimed that he had been at the academy for 3 years, and this was the first time he had ever seen someone enter the third floor. They started whispering that Yang must be cheating. One student suggested that maybe his dad was the principal. At the mention of the principal, Kongming suddenly sneezed. He paused, wondering if he was catching a cold. At the credit hall, third floor, Yang felt genuinely excited the moment he stepped onto the third floor. Everything there felt completely different. The equipment on display was incredible. Unfortunately, it was also insanely expensive. A single piece of armor cost 10,000 Tianlong coins. Yang decided to check out other items first. While browsing, he noticed something that made his heart ache: an intermediate experience talisman. If he had known this existed, he wouldn't have bought so many primary ones. This talisman increased experience gain by 3 times, lasted 24 hours, and cost 10,000 Tianlong coins. He felt like not buying it would be a massive loss. So he bought 2 intermediate experience talismans. He confirmed the purchase. After that, he was left with only 500 Tianlong coins. Even so, Yang felt satisfied. He was glad he bought them. After that, he went to the dungeon. He used a scroll and upgraded Beast Summon. With that, the summoning skill advanced to level 4. He immediately started looking forward to the next summon. He wondered who it would be. His outstretched hand began to glow brightly. The sky turned blood red. Yang froze when he saw a massive vortex forming overhead. For a moment, he thought he was about to summon something absolutely terrifying. A foot stepped out. Then a massive lion-like creature with horns emerged. Yang's eyes widened. It was the king of fierce beasts, Tao Wu, a monster that stacked damage continuously while suppressing all enemy attributes. Tao Wu was SSS rank, 1 star. Its passive skill was Fierce Beast, level 1. It had 1,500 strength, 1,000 agility, 700 spirit, and a massive 3,000 constitution. Aside from its slightly lower spirit, it was practically a living war machine. Yang was extremely satisfied. He sent Tao Wu back and began looking forward to raising it and making it grow as fast as possible. The next day, Yang went looking for stronger dungeons. He stopped in front of a portal. The dungeon was called Poisonous Snake Valley. The monster level was 22. The entry condition required the Beastmaster to be below level 25 and pay 300 Qianlong coins. The fastest clear record was 2 hours and 15 minutes. This was the one. So he entered. He arrived inside. The first thing he did was use a primary experience talisman. Several snakes rushed him at the same time. He ordered Tao Wu and Xingtian to attack. Once the snakes were defeated, each of them gained plus 10,000 experience points. With the experience talisman active, the gains were much higher than usual. He smiled when he saw Tao Wu level up. Suddenly, a massive snake appeared. He activated his detection skill. It was a 5-step snake king, a chieftain-grade monster at level 21 with a 1-star rank. Its passive skill was swift and fierce, while its active skills were sweep and bite. Yang was surprised. Its stats were comparable to a level 16 calamity. He let it attack first to test its strength. The snake lunged and bit the 5-step snake king. Then it retreated. The 5-step snake king began taking continuous damage. Yang was impressed. It truly deserved its reputation as the king of duels. He knew that if it had been given more time, its stacked damage would have gone through the roof. An explosion rang out. When the smoke cleared, the 5-step snake king was dead. Killing it granted him plus 50,000 experience points, and it also dropped several items. Yang also leveled up to 17. He picked up an epic-grade weapon, the 5-step Snake King Dagger. It increased critical damage to 250%, boosted strength by plus 700, speed by plus 1,000, and had a special trait called Backstab that guaranteed a critical hit. He swung it a few times to test the feel. He was satisfied. High attack, high speed. It was better than any dagger he had owned before. He kept it. The system then informed him that his clear time met the requirement to enter a hidden dungeon. His eyes lit up. Hidden dungeons usually meant rare and valuable rewards. Without hesitation, he decided to check it out. He received a system reminder that the monsters inside the hidden dungeon were greatly enhanced. He was warned to be careful. Leaving the dungeon would be treated as giving up. He summoned his beasts. Without warning, something slammed into him and sent him flying to the other side. He frowned and asked what that was. He immediately activated his detection skill. He saw the reason at once. The monster had plus 20% movement speed, so it was no wonder he never saw it coming. It was a bee snake, stronger than an elite monster. Level 21 1-star rank. Its passive skill was swift, while its active skills were entangle and poisonous fangs. Its stats were terrifying: 7,000 strength, 12,000 agility, 15,000 spirit, and 15,000 constitution. More flying snakes appeared in the air. Yang used Ice Mist. 3 of them froze instantly. Xingtian and Fei charged forward right after. At the same time, several snakes lunged straight at Yang. He was shocked to see that one of them was completely unaffected by the Ice Mist. It was only an inch away from him, but Zhulong struck first and tore it apart. Yang praised Zhulong. He was glad that no matter what immunity buffs the enemy had, they were useless against Zhulong's dragon claws. With the path cleared, they headed straight toward the boss's lair. More bee snakes appeared. With so many monsters guarding the area, Yang could tell the boss was inside the canyon. He ordered his beasts to tear them apart. Xingtian swung its axe and struck one of the snakes. The snake counterattacked and tried to bite Xingtian. Yang was shocked. It didn't die from the strike, even though Xingtian's strength was already close to 100,000. He quickly activated his detection skill and got the answer. It was a single-horned crystal snake, stronger than a chieftain monster. Level 21, 1-star rank. It had 80% physical damage immunity and 50,000 constitution. Now it made sense why Xingtian couldn't kill it. But physical immunity had a fatal weakness. It was extremely afraid of spiritual damage. Yang used Soul Tear. The attack struck its soul directly. The crystal snake froze and collapsed on the spot. Xingtian stared at it in surprise. Yang smirked and said that at critical moments they still had to rely on him. 20 minutes later. At the center of the canyon, a strange energy surged. Yang searched for the boss. The strange energy grew brighter and shot a beam straight into the sky. And from that blinding light, a massive snake with 4 eyes slowly emerged. Yang was stunned by its size and immediately used his detection skill. It was a soul-gazing king snake. Level 22. King rank monster. It had 50,000 strength, 40,000 agility, 30,000 spirit, and a terrifying 100,000 constitution. Its passive skill was Soul Gaze. Every attack ignored defense, severely damaged the enemy's soul, and reduced all enemy stats by 30%. Its active skills were Furious Tear and Brutal Feast. Furious Tear used its sharp fangs to rip the target apart, dealing 400% strength damage and heavily reducing defense. Brutal Feast treated enemies as prey. Every attack increased its damage by 10%, stacking up to 20 times. Once fully stacked, it would execute the enemy. The skill set was insane. The snake let out a thunderous roar. Yang used Soul Tear. The attack landed cleanly, but the snake was so tanky that it barely took any damage. Yang called Zhulong over. He ordered it to unleash its fire breath, but the snake swung its tail and deflected the flames. Yang frowned. He knew he couldn't keep attacking blindly. He turned to the golden toad and ordered it to use Excite. The golden toad opened its mouth, and the 3 beasts began to glow brightly. Yang ordered his beast to go all out and stall the king snake. They surrounded it and attacked from different directions. Xingtian slashed down with full force. The king snake counterattacked with red fire breath. Fei poisoned it until blood leaked from its eyes. Yang called Zhulong over. He mounted it. Then he leapt onto the king snake's back. The monster thrashed violently, trying to shake him off. Yang screamed as he dangled in the air. He activated Ice Mist. Frost spread across the king snake's body, freezing it in place. Yang crawled forward toward its vital spot, the heart. He pulled out his dagger and stabbed down hard. The king snake let out a painful roar. Then it collapsed to the ground and its massive body slowly faded away. The system announced that he had killed a level 22 soul-gazing king snake and obtained 3 Beast Star Ascension Stones. He also gained plus 400,000 experience points. Yang upgraded Fei, Golden Toad, and Taowu. The stones were placed on their foreheads. They began to glow brightly, each in their own color. Yang was impressed. After that, he took them to grind a few more rounds. His beasts kept fighting, continuously earning experience and pushing his level even higher. When it was finally over, Yang returned to the wormhole pavilion. He was completely exhausted. A man approached him and said that someone was waiting for him at Whimsy Park outside the school. That person had asked him to call Yang over. Yang asked who it was. The man said he didn't know. He only said that the person claimed it was something very important. Yang thanked him and headed out. After Yang left, a devilish smirk appeared on the man's face. He made a call and told the other party that Yang was almost there, at Whimsy Park. Yang frowned when he saw that no one was around. Suddenly, someone holding a knife sneaked up behind him, clearly intending to kill him. Yang noticed the shadow cast on the ground behind him. Yang turned around and demanded to know who it was. The knife pierced straight through his arm. It was Hao. Yang couldn't believe it. He had spared Hao's life twice, yet this bastard still dared to come after him. Hao didn't care. He had already made up his mind to kill Yang that day. So Yang challenged him, asking if he really had what it took. Before anything could happen, someone suddenly shouted for them to stop. It was the Tianglong Academy Beast Department's department head, Gi Sheng. Hao immediately reported Yang to his seniors. Sheng coldly told Yang that he had gone through all this trouble just to kill him. Yang casually replied that he didn't mind killing a few more people today. Sheng ordered everyone to summon their beasts. One by one, the beasts appeared and completely surrounded Yang. Sheng demanded that Yang kneel and apologize to his brother at once, promising to give him a quick death. Hao backed him up, sneering that Yang would die a very ugly death. Yang only scoffed and summoned his own beasts. A terrifying wave of energy burst out from his body, and then all 4 of them appeared. Yang calmly asked Sheng if he was really sure he could kill him. Sheng was shocked to see that Yang had 5 top-tier beasts, but he still sneered, saying that no matter how strong Yang was, he was just a level 20 piece of trash. There were several of them, every single one a level 30 beast master, so they had nothing to fear. Sheng shouted for everyone to kill the bastard. Yang warned them that they were courting death. Moments later, screams filled the air as they begged for help. In the end, every single one of them lay unconscious on the ground. Even the leader got taken out. The only one still standing was Hao, on his knees, trembling, begging Yang to spare his life. Hao admitted that he was blind and failed to recognize Yang's greatness. Yang just stared at him in silence. Then he told him it was too late. He had already been given a chance. Yang called out to Zhulong. It let out an attack, and Hao was swallowed whole by flames. A grim expression settled on Yang's face, until he suddenly sensed someone flying through the sky. The aura felt familiar. He instantly recognized it. It was Kongming. Then our MC struck himself and collapsed to the ground. At this point, we're not sure if he really lost consciousness. Kongming and Liang descended from the sky. Liang froze when he saw Hao's condition. He checked Hao's breathing and broke down the moment he realized Hao was dead. His cries echoed as he turned on Yang. He grabbed him and accused him, saying everything was Yang's fault. Yang slowly regained consciousness and begged them to save him. Kongming placed a hand on Liang's shoulder. He told him to let go first and allow him to understand what happened. But Liang refused, insisting the truth was already clear and there was no need to ask anything. He accused Yang of ignoring academy rules and slaughtering fellow students, demanding he be executed by 1,000 cuts. Yang sneered and said Liang thought too highly of him for a mere level 20 newbie. He pointed out that Hao and the others were all level 30 beastmasters or higher, making it impossible for him to kill them. Kongming agreed. Those people were elite prodigies cultivated by the academy, and their strength was no joke. There was no way Yang could defeat so many on his own. Kongming then questioned Yang about what truly happened. Yang explained that someone asked him to meet at the park, claiming they had something important to tell him. The moment he arrived, he was ambushed by a group of men dressed in black. At the most critical moment, Sheng and Hao appeared. Without hesitation, they stepped in to help him. They fought a brutal battle, refusing to retreat, and in the end, everyone was killed. Liang exploded in anger, calling his story complete nonsense. He couldn't imagine his nephew fighting to the death just to protect Yang. Yang insisted that was exactly what happened, and said Kongming could judge for himself. Kongming frowned, saying it was difficult to determine the truth without an official trial. Liang shot back that there were no men in black present at all, making it obvious that Yang had staged everything to deceive them. He declared that Yang must pay for his nephew's life and lunged at him. Kongming intercepted the attack, and Liang was forced back. Kongming was furious that Liang dared to try killing his student right in front of him, showing no respect at all. Liang scoffed, accusing Kongming of protecting Yang. Kongming calmly replied that Yang was a student of Tianglong Academy, and as an outsider, Liang had no authority here. Liang backed off, but warned Yang that he had only been lucky today. He picked up Hao's body and left. Yang softly called out to the principal, but Kongming snapped at him to shut up and follow. Yang shouted back, telling him to be careful since he was still injured, at the principal's office. Kongming demanded the truth and warned Yang that if he dared lie even once, he would not hesitate to turn hostile. Yang agreed to speak. He told him everything. Kongming was enraged by how audacious the entire scheme had been. Kongming was furious. He refused to acknowledge it as self-defense. Yang replied that he never intended to go that far. He simply didn't expect them to die from a single strike. Kongming punished him according to academy rules and banned him from leaving the school for 1 month. Yang asked if that was all. Kongming bonked him on the head for thinking the punishment was too light. That instantly changed Yang's attitude, and he praised Kongming as wise and brilliant. Kongming could only sigh. Then he told Yang that now that he had reached level 20, it was almost time for his profession transition. Yang immediately asked him for guidance. Kongming asked how much he knew about the other world. Yang admitted he thought it was just a myth. Kongming corrected him. The other world was real, a mysterious space independent of their own, where humans battled terrifying entities like the abyss, the mist, and world-level calamities. Yang already sensed where this conversation was heading, and Kongming confirmed it. He wanted Yang to enter the other world and complete a mythical profession transition. Yang had no idea what a mythical profession transition was. So Kongming explained that beast master transitions were divided into 5 difficulties: normal, elite, excellent, legendary, and mythical. He told Yang to listen carefully about the other world. Mythical was the highest and most dangerous difficulty, but once completed, the attribute rewards were unmatched. In most people's minds, reaching level 100 and becoming a Saint Beastmaster was the peak of the Beastmaster path. But in truth, beyond Saint Beastmaster existed an even higher realm, the God Beastmaster. Only those who completed all 4 profession transitions at mythical difficulty had a chance to break through. Over the past month, Yang's displayed strength had far exceeded Kongming's expectations. Because of that, he wanted to nurture Yang into a truly unique existence. He asked if Yang had the confidence to attempt it. Yang accepted the mythical difficulty without hesitation. Kongming then handed him a profession transition badge. It would accompany him all the way until he became a Saint Beast Master. Yang sensed an odd familiarity from the materials used in the badge. He opened his inventory and was shocked to discover that he already possessed every required item. That meant he could submit them immediately. Kongming confirmed that he could. The transition materials weren't the real problem, it was the military merit. Hearing that, Yang asked if he had to go to war. Kongming replied that he wasn't qualified yet. Yang then asked how he was supposed to earn it. Kongming told him to enter the other world and hunt powerful monsters. Yang said he would go immediately. That earned him a scolding. Kongming called him an impatient monkey and warned him that the other world was no joke. Geniuses from every country gathered there, making it chaotic and extremely dangerous. Because of that, Kongming ordered him to go the next morning, with Yan. Yang sighed and agreed. The next day, Yang stood outside, yawning. Then Yan arrived and greeted him politely. Yan admitted he hadn't expected Yang to reach level 20 in just 1 month. Yang replied that Yan praised him too highly. It had taken him so long to reach level 20 that he was honestly embarrassed. Yan laughed, amused that this little brat was still so arrogant. He placed a hand on Yang's shoulder and told him it was time to go. Yang was confused. In the next instant, a beam of golden light descended from the heavens, and they vanished. Meanwhile, on the rooftop of the academy, Kongming said it was far too risky. He was speaking with Ruge. He warned her that the monsters in the other world were far more dangerous than anything found in dungeons. On top of that, experts from other countries were watching closely. One wrong move, and Yang could lose his life. Ruge replied that over the past month, she had been secretly observing Yang. His potential was far beyond what common sense could explain. She believed that if a god-beast master were ever to appear in Longguo, it would be Yang, at the Longguo border. Yan and Yang floated through the sky, wrapped inside a transparent bubble. Yang pointed toward the forbidden zone in the distance. Yan confirmed it. In recent years, the mist had been expanding faster and faster, and the monsters within were growing increasingly restless. Yan then mentioned hearing that Yang had once entered the ogre dungeon, where the calamity inside leveled up on the spot. Yang replied that according to Ruge, it might be related to the mist. Yan nodded and said that this was only the beginning. The skies over Longguo were about to change. They descended into a military camp where a soldier stepped forward and asked Yan why he had come. Yan addressed him as Commander Chu and explained that he had been ordered to bring Yang there to enter the other world. Yang was startled. Commander Chu was the legendary god of war of Longguo. Yang immediately bowed and paid his respects. Commander Chu looked at him and asked if Yan was referring to this little fellow. A powerful aura radiated from him. Commander Chu told Yang that the other world wasn't a place he could enter whenever he pleased. First, he had to prove his strength. Yang acknowledged that and asked how he wished to test him. Commander Chu demanded to see his stat panel. Yang hesitated. He explained that revealing it would be inappropriate, as he had been warned not to casually expose his beast seal's characteristics and talents. Commander Chu asked who had given that warning. Yang answered that it was Lord Ruge. Commander Chu was visibly shocked. Since it came from her, he decided to respect her decision. Yang noticed that even Commander Chu, the god of war, listened to Lord Ruge. He couldn't imagine what kind of terrifying figure she truly was. Commander Chu told them to follow him. They entered a room. Commander Chu instructed Yang to attack with everything he had. He could use skills freely. If the damage exceeded 10,000, it would count as a pass. Yan's jaw dropped. That number was insanely high. Commander Chu replied that the requirements for entering the other world were strict for a reason. Anyone too weak would only be walking to their death. Yang calmly assured Yan that he could handle it. He equipped the Black Snake Staff and unleashed Soul Tear on the machine. The screen lit up. 36,400. Commander Chu froze. The number had exceeded 30,000. He demanded to know how that was even possible. He immediately claimed the testing machine must be broken. Yang asked if it was really possible for the machine to malfunction. Yan explained that very few people in Longguo qualified to enter the other world. The machine rarely saw use, so it breaking down after sitting idle for so long wasn't strange. Commander Chu ordered his men to fix it at once. 2 soldiers in black uniforms stepped inside and began repairing the machine. Commander Chu told Yang to wait to the side for a moment while they fixed it. Yang nodded in agreement. The mechanic soldier reported to Commander Chu that the testing machine was functioning perfectly. Commander Chu said that since it was fixed, they could proceed, but the mechanic quickly clarified that the machine had never been broken in the first place. Commander Chu was stunned. The mechanic explained that they had inspected it 3 separate times. All systems, data, and operations were completely normal. That meant the kid had really dealt nearly 40,000 damage. Yang calmly explained that his spirit power was a bit high, and his skills ignored defense. With a critical hit, the damage only ended up slightly higher. Commander Chu nearly choked on his words. Calling that a tiny bit was ridiculous. Even for a level 30 Beastmaster, it was rare for a pure skill to break 10,000 damage. Yang was only level 20, yet his output was already completely insane. With no choice left, Commander Chu announced that Yang had passed the first stage. However, how far his potential could ultimately go would still depend on the combat power of his beasts. Yang asked if that meant his beasts also had to attack the machine. Commander Chu panicked at the thought. He immediately shielded the machine with his body, afraid Yang would destroy it. The thing had cost a fortune. Instead, he brought out a different testing device. Yang only needed to have his beasts stand on it, and the machine would generate a comprehensive score based on 5 core metrics, including star rank, passive abilities, active skills, and overall combat traits. He explained that if Yang had 3 beasts whose combined score exceeded 100,000, it would count as a pass. Yang said he understood. Although he had no idea how the scoring system truly worked, he decided to test the waters first with Xingtian. He summoned Xingtian. It appeared beside him. Commander Chu's eyes widened in disbelief. He asked what that thing was, and where its head was. Yang calmly explained that its name was Xingtian, and that it simply didn't have one. He ordered it to step onto the platform. Xingtian stepped onto the machine that looked like a trampoline. Xingtian released its energy. The screen flashed a score of 227,650. Commander Chu froze. He immediately asked Yan if the kid was really only level 20. Yan confirmed it and added that Yang hadn't even gone through his first transition yet. Once that happened, his stats would skyrocket again. Yang pointed out that one of his beasts was already off the charts. He asked if they really needed to keep testing. Commander Chu said yes. One strong beast didn't mean the others weren't useless. So Yang summoned the dragon turtle. It slowly revealed itself. Commander Chu asked if Yang was sure he wanted to use that one for the second test. Yang asked if there was a problem. Commander Chu explained that it was clearly a defensive-type beast. Its combat power should be weak, so the score would probably be very low. Yang suggested they try it anyway. Commander Chu agreed. The dragon turtle stepped onto the trampoline. The machine displayed a score of 160,820. Commander Chu's jaw dropped when he saw it past 160,000. Yan burst out laughing at his reaction. Commander Chu asked to test one more beast. That made Yang hesitate, because if this kept going, Commander Chu definitely wouldn't be able to handle it. Yang summoned his golden toad. Commander Chu froze when he saw another top-tier beast. For a moment, he felt like the kid was running a beast wholesale shop. The golden toad hopped onto the machine. The screen displayed a score of 120,170. Yang felt that this should be more than enough to pass the test. Commander Chu stuttered as he admitted that Yang had passed. Yan suddenly remembered that Yang still had Zhulong and suggested that he summon it as well. Yang admitted that he was afraid the machine wouldn't be able to handle it, so he only brought out his 2 weakest beasts. Commander Chu stared at him in disbelief. He asked if those were already the weakest. Yang replied that it simply meant he still had 3 beasts that were even stronger. Commander Chu warned him that once he entered the other world, he should keep a low profile. Otherwise, he might attract fatal trouble. Yang thanked him for the advice. They led him to the gate, and Yang stepped through it. Commander Chu and Yan watched him leave. After he was gone, Commander Chu muttered that Longguo was about to rise. Yang arrived at his destination. He was confused when he saw Black Dragon City. The place looked like a massive marketplace, with merchants loudly promoting their goods. He looked around and realized it wasn't that different from the real world, but when the citizens noticed him, a Longguo person, their expressions turned grim. Hostility filled their eyes. A woman scoffed, unable to believe that a mere level 20 dared to enter the other world. A man lifted the severed head of a lion to intimidate him, mocking that Yang didn't understand the immensity of heaven and earth. He said that in the other world, even the weakest monsters were level 23. They began betting on how long Yang would survive. One man bet 2 days. A woman beside him bet 1 day. Another man across from them bet 3 days. Yang calmly walked past them. As he moved on, he overheard whispers that the last Longguo person who came here had met a miserable end. He reached a wall with a frame that showed an eerie castle and mountains. On closer look, it was the entrance to Black Dragon City. The mountains on the left were the 253 poisonous lizard lair dungeons, and on the right was the mermaid tribe dungeon, which was rarely seen. Yang realized that the thicker the mist, the higher the danger level. That meant Black Dragon City itself was a safe zone. He took out an item to record this. The image was copied onto the item. The only transition materials left were a mermaid's tear and a poisonous lizard's heart. He decided to start with the nearest one, the mermaid tribe dungeon. He exited the city. Outside, the fog was so thick that he could barely see anything in the distance. He felt excited. From the mist, a small blue crab-like beast rushed forward. Its red eyes glowed and its sharp claws struck. It attacked the dragon turtle. Yang sent Xingtian forward. Xingtian swung its axe. The monster froze for a moment, but the damage showed 0. Yang was stunned. He used his detection skill. It was a crystal beetle, stronger than an elite monster. It was level 23, with 20,000 strength, 8,000 agility, 5,000 spirit, and 50,000 constitution. It had a passive skill called Crystal Shell, and 2 active skills, Ran and Bite. Crystal Shell created an incomparably hard body that granted 100% physical damage immunity, but it was afraid of elemental damage and took plus 100% elemental damage. Ran allowed the beetle to charge the enemy, dealing 150% strength damage and knocking the target back. Bite caused it to bite the enemy, dealing 250% strength damage with 10% armor-piercing damage. After understanding it, Yang entrusted the fight to Fei. Fei breathed poison at it. The poison dealt continuous damage ranging from 8,500 to 9,000. That quickly led to its death. Since Yang killed a level 23 crystal beetle, he didn't gain any experience, but he received plus 1 military merit. He also obtained a crystal beetle tooth. Yang was furious. He understood why he didn't gain experience, but he couldn't accept that it was only worth 1 military merit. At that rate, he would need to kill 5,000 monsters just to earn 5,000 military merits. Suddenly, several men came running and shouting for help because of an abyss monster. Yang heard them and wondered how abyss monsters had managed to get inside. A bald man tripped and fell. He panicked as a skeleton monster approached him. Then an eerie undead warrior appeared, a tall, teal-skinned skeleton wearing purple armor with another skull growing from its shoulder. One man shouted for Brother Tien to hurry and find the Black Dragon City guards. Yang stepped in front of the monster. He used his detection skill. It was a shadow walker, stronger than an elite monster. It was level 23, with 10,000 strength, 12,000 agility, 30,000 spirit, and 80,000 constitution. Its passive skill was Shadow Body, and its active skills were Ambush and Mark. Shadow Body granted it a strange walker's body and 100% elemental immunity. Because of Ambush, it liked to strike from hiding, dealing 250% spirit damage with a 30% chance. Mark allowed it to place a mark on the target after attacking, and any follow-up skill would raise Ambush's critical rate to 100%. Since it had 100% elemental immunity, Yang couldn't send Fei to fight. That left Taowu, Golden Toad, and Zhulong. Yang ordered Golden Toad to use Excite, while Taowu used Intimidate and Suppress. At the same time, Zhulong was told to unleash its full power. Golden Toad released a golden glow. Taowu and Zhulong felt the buff surge through them. They attacked together. The Shadow Walker was defeated, earning Yang plus 5 military merit. Yang realized that the stronger the monster, the more military merits it gave. Soon after, several men arrived, searching for the abyss monster. A middle-aged man pointed ahead, but when they reached the spot, the monster was already dead. They asked how that was possible. A blonde young man guessed that a big shot must have passed through. A red-haired man recalled that while they were running for their lives, there was a Longguo person there. He thought that it must have been him. The middle-aged man scoffed and said that was a fucking joke. In his eyes, Longguo people were all weaklings. He claimed that once the mist devoured Longguo, that land would become their country's territory. The man who arrived told them that since the abyss monster had already been eliminated, they should go back and run their dungeons. Yang arrived near the gate. A crowd had gathered there, all looking for party members to enter the mermaid dungeon together. A woman walked up to him and asked if he wanted to team up. Yang replied that he was used to soloing. A blue-haired man nearby sneered and called him a show-off. He said that once Yang ran into a monster later, he would learn who the real alpha was. The woman suddenly noticed that the light at the entrance had turned red. The blue-haired man was shocked. A red light meant hell difficulty. He cursed and said those people were fucking crazy. Yang was transported underwater and immediately saw several fish-like monsters. He used his detection skill on those small fries. He saw that their agility was extremely high. If a large group swarmed him, even if he didn't die, he would still be in serious trouble. These monsters were called mermaid warriors, advanced demon fighters. They were level 23 and had a side skill called Berserk. Their main skills were Slash and Charge. Their stats were 20,000 strength, 40,000 attack, 8,000 agility, and 20,000 stamina. Yang decided to limit their speed. He unleashed Ice Mist. The monsters were frozen in place. Then he let his beasts finish them off. Xingtian attacked them, and the impact rippled outward. At the same time, it killed several level 23 mermaid warriors, earning Yang plus 2 military merit for each one. Meanwhile, Zhulong breathed fire at the monsters. It also killed several of them at once. Now, Yang was satisfied with how fast his military merits were increasing. He called his beasts back. He moved around the area, collecting military merits. Soon, he arrived in front of a massive shell and guessed that it was the mermaid boss's location. He wanted to open it and see if she was as beautiful as the fairy tales claimed. Xingtian struck it with full power. Yang scolded it for not being gentle. The mermaid emerged, and Yang was expecting a stunning beauty. Instead, what appeared was a demon-like woman with long flowing purple hair, sharp ears, and glowing red eyes. It made him almost puke. His eyes felt tainted, and he declared that fairy tales were all lies. The mermaid looked heartbroken when she heard that. She let out a piercing scream. Yang countered with soul tear. The beam of light traveled through the water and hit the mermaid directly. Then he ordered Zhulong and Xingtian to charge. But the mermaid vanished. From a distance, she released several cylindrical beams. Zhulong countered them with fire breath. Xingtian followed up and smashed her with his hammer. With that, Yang killed a level 25 mermaid queen, earning plus 20 military merit and obtaining a mermaid's tear. Yang was thrilled to get the mermaid's tear on his first attempt. He had now accumulated a total of 480 military merits. At this rate, it wouldn't take long for him to complete the mythical profession transition. The middle-aged man was relieved that they had finally entered the dungeon. But when they arrived, they saw that the boss had already been killed by Yang. The middle-aged man frowned when he saw Longo Pig again. He called Yang little shit and demanded that he hand over all the equipment he obtained. Otherwise, he said he would not be polite. Yang was irritated by these citizens of Sakura country. No matter where they went, their despicable behavior never changed. The man sneered and said Yang was courting death. He summoned his spider monster. He ordered it to kill Yang. The spider unleashed a red orb of light. Yang stood there calmly. The attack exploded just an inch away from him. The middle-aged man, who introduced himself as Old Zhao, laughed in satisfaction. He said this was the consequence of going against him. When the fog cleared, Yang was still standing there. Old Zhao froze in shock. He couldn't understand how Yang was completely fine. They warned Yang that he had walked a narrow path. But to their surprise, Yang's beasts had already surrounded them. Old Zhao was shocked when he saw 6 top-tier beasts. The young man beside him suddenly remembered something. He realized that this kid was the Long Guo person who had been near the abyss monster earlier. That made Old Zhao think that Yang was the one who killed it. His attitude changed instantly. He apologized to Yang and asked him to let the matter go for the sake of the two countries. Yang found it amusing. He had been sick of these people for a long time, and now he finally had a chance. He ordered his beast to leave no one alive. They charged forward together. Killing them earned Yang 50 military merits per person. Only then did he realize how much military merit killing people was worth. He felt a bit regretful that he couldn't do this often since it could cause conflict between the two countries. After that, he exited the dungeon. He safely returned outside. He opened his map. He tapped the location of the poisonous lizard dungeon. The system notified him that 1 military merit had been deducted. To his surprise, a bright light wrapped around him. In the next moment, he was teleported away. When the light faded, he saw a sign marking the poisonous lizard dungeon entrance. That was when he realized that military merits could be used for direct teleportation. A man and a woman were sitting near the entrance and noticed him. Seeing that he was only level 20, the man thought that this kid clearly wasn't afraid of death. Yang ignored them and walked toward the gate. They watched him closely. But when the woman saw the entrance light turn red, she grabbed the man and rushed inside the dungeon. The man was confused. They were supposed to wait for Little Black. The woman told him there was no time, and they entered anyway. Inside, she looked around for the kid. Before she could react, Yang appeared behind her, pressing a dagger to her neck. He asked if she was looking for him. The man shouted at Yang to let go of their leader. The woman quickly said that they meant no harm and only wanted to help him. Yang was amused and allowed her to explain. She said she knew he was a newcomer sent here for a mythical profession transition. Yang was surprised that she knew. She explained that Longuo was short on talent, and for him to come here for a transition at only level 20, it was obvious that he wasn't an ordinary genius. They were also from Longuo, so she suggested they team up. With one more person, their chances would be better. Yang lowered the dagger and admitted that he had misunderstood. The woman said that this level of vigilance was necessary to survive. The man beside her nodded in agreement. Yang agreed to team up. She explained that a hell difficulty dungeon could accommodate 3 teams at the same time. For safety, she suggested waiting for other teams to arrive before moving forward. Yang felt that was too slow. The equipment drop rate was tied to clear speed, and he was in a hurry. He told them they could just follow behind him. She tried to say something, but Yang summoned his beasts. Golden light filled the area. The beasts surrounded them. Both of them were shocked. They looked visibly nervous, so she could only say that it was great. The man whispered to their leader that it felt like Yang didn't need their help at all. She simply told him to stay confident. Xingtian slashed the monster. Zhulong followed up with fire breath. Yang continued moving forward while earning experience points. The man beside him muttered that this was fucking insane. The woman finally understood why a level 20 would attempt a mythical transition. For the first time, she felt hope that Longguo would rise. Yang noticed that all of his beasts had reached level 20. He was pleased. Suddenly, a creature sneaked up behind him. The woman recognized it immediately. It was a shadow poison lizard. She quickly sent her beast, Ching Ching, forward. The snake coiled its body in front of Yang, acting as a shield. It was badly injured and collapsed to the ground. Yang was surprised that there had been an ambush. He used Soul Tear. The attack struck the shadow poison lizard directly. Yang killed it in one hit and earned military merit. The man couldn't believe that the monster had been one shot. The woman explained that the shadow poison lizard had extreme stats. Its strength and agility were maxed out, but its constitution was extremely low. It was the kind of monster where you either one-shot it or get one-shot by it. She gently patted her beast. She looked saddened. The man sympathized with her, knowing that Ching Ching probably wouldn't last an hour. But Yang said he had a way. She replied that it was useless because healing medicine didn't work on the lizard's poison. Yang said it wasn't medicine. He ordered the golden toad to use blessing. The golden toad opened its mouth and vibrations spread outward. The woman's beast began to glow. She asked what was happening. Yang explained that the golden toad was an auspicious beast with healing abilities. It had just reached level 20, so the lizard's poison meant nothing to it. The man finally realized that Yang was truly overpowered. Yang felt slightly flattered. The woman introduced herself as Li Fei. Yang introduced himself in return. The man then introduced himself as Wang Gang, and from that moment on he called Yang his brother. After the introductions, Yang led them forward. They arrived at an eerie part of the forest. Li Fei told them that this was the right place. This was supposed to be the poisonous lizard's lair, so Yang searched the area for any movement. Gang warned him to be careful. The Lizard King was extremely cunning and could be hiding in any corner. They suddenly sensed something approaching. A savage lizard-like monster burst out of the mist, roaring as it charged forward with its claws spread wide. Its body was lean and muscular, covered in scars, and it looked completely feral. Yang checked its details. It was a poison-scale Lizard King, a great lord monster at level 30. Its strength was 70,000, agility 50,000, spirit 40,000, and constitution 120,000. It had a passive skill called Poison Scales, and active skills like Rampage and Poison Sting. One of its traits was Tough Skin, which reduced incoming damage by 70%. Its wild charge allowed it to slam into enemies, knocking them back and dealing 300% constitution damage. Yang ordered Taowu to use Bleed, while Fei released Poison Gas. With a single charge from Taowu, the Poison Scale Lizard King began taking continuous damage ranging from 1,000 to 2,505. Then Li Fei unleashed her poison as well. Gang and Li Fei decided to help. They summoned their beasts, a scorpion from Gang and a snake from Li Fei. Both beasts activated their skills. The attacks came from all sides, stacking poison and damage onto the Poison Scale Lizard King. In the end, they managed to kill it. Gang let out a breath of relief, glad that they were able to handle the fight. Yang was disappointed that it didn't drop the lizard heart he needed. He wondered if it was because he wasn't fast enough. Gang told him that probably wasn't the reason. He said he had never seen anyone faster than Yang. Yang felt uncomfortable with the praise, so he told him not to flatter him next time. Li Fei burst out laughing. Gang then pointed out that it dropped a Star Ascension Stone, which was still a good gain. Li Fei agreed and asked Yang which beast he planned to upgrade. Since coming to the other world, Yang had encountered all kinds of monsters with physical or elemental immunity. It had been a real pain in the ass. After thinking it over, he decided to upgrade Zhulong, since it had both magic and physical attack skills. He handed Zhulong the stone. Zhulong began to glow brightly. Yang was pleased with the result. Zhulong received an all-around attribute boost and could now fully benefit from the Golden Toad's Excite skill. Zhulong was now SSS rank, level 20 with 3 stars. Its attributes ranged from 30,000 to 90,000 strength, agility, and spirit, and 35,000 to 50,000 constitution. Its passive skills included Dragon's Might, level 2, and Dragon Scales, level 2. Its active skills were Zhulong's Eye, level 3, and Dragon's Roar, level 3. Dragon's Might intimidated enemies up to 5 levels lower, reducing their strength by 35%. Dragon Scales were unique dragon race scales that reduced 25% physical damage and 45% elemental damage. Zhulong's Eye unleashed Scorching Light, dealing area damage equal to 380% spirit, while Dragon's Roar shook the battlefield, dealing area damage equal to 380% strength. Although its raw strength still couldn't compare to Xingtian, in overall combat power, It was a complete steamroller. Yang then took out the dropped skill book and asked who wanted it. Li Fei hesitated and said she didn't want to take it, since they had already gained plenty of experience. Yang agreed. Since Yang didn't gain any experience and had given it all to them, he felt Yang should keep all the drops. Yang accepted it and told them that if they ever wanted to leech experience in the future, they were free to team up with him anytime. Both of them liked the idea and thanked him. They exited the dungeon. Just as they came out, a red-haired man rushed toward Li Fei. He shoved Yang aside as he rushed over to check if Li Fei was hurt anywhere. When he saw that she was fine, he finally relaxed. He said that as soon as he arrived, he heard they had entered a hell difficulty dungeon, and it scared him to death. Li Fei replied that since they were with Yang, there was no problem. The red-haired man looked at Yang and asked if he was the pretty boy standing in front of them. He commented that Yang didn't look like much. Yang replied that whether he was much or not, the man would know if he went in with him. The red-haired man immediately refused. He said it was just a coincidence and that only a fool would go in with him a second time. He added that the dungeon also had a cooldown time. Yang said it wouldn't be a problem since he had already fully charged his wormhole badge before coming to the other world. The red-haired man burst out laughing. He said that cooldowns there had to be recharged with military merits, not Tianlong coins. He mocked Yang for being a country bumpkin. Li Fei called him Little Black and told him to shut up. Little Black immediately cried out that she was scolding him for a kid she had just met. Li Fei ignored him and offered to take Yang to the place where he could recharge his wormhole badge. Gang laughed and teased Little Black, saying that Fei didn't want him anymore. They arrived at the item shop. Yang walked over to a machine. It showed that 10 military merits were needed to charge the wormhole badge for 1 hour. That made Yang want to cry. 1 hour alone would cost him an entire day of hard work. Seeing that Yang was new and probably didn't have a place to stay yet, Li Fei offered to let him stay with them. Yang thanked her. That night, inside the tall building, Yang stayed in his room, holding the skill book in his hands. He was excited to see what kind of skill he would get this time. When he opened it, he obtained the skill Shadow Burst. Shadow Burst released shadow power equal to 200% of spirit. If it killed the target, it would deal triple damage to enemies within 1 meter of the target. Yang was amazed. It was an area of effect skill. With his talent's buff, the 1 meter range was directly amplified to 20 meters. The killing power became even more terrifying. He couldn't wait to test it in a real battle. The next day, Yang woke up feeling refreshed after a good night's sleep. He stretched his arms and bumped into something. It was soft and springy. It turned out to be Li Fei's chest. She immediately called him a pervert. Little Black charged in with a mop, shouting that he would protect her and telling Yang not to be scared. Li Fei said that he misunderstood everything. Yang asked why she was standing at his door so early in the morning. She said she wanted to level up and planned to go with him one more time. And it wouldn't be for free. She planned to pay him 200 military merits. Yang replied that there was no need for merits. At the poisonous lizard dungeon. Little Black asked Li Fei if she really planned to go with that kid. Gang told him to stop acting like a country bumpkin and just sit down, watch, and enjoy Brother Yang's show. Little Black had no choice but to observe how he would be carried. They entered the dungeon. Lizardmen holding spears rushed toward them. Little Black panicked when he saw how many monsters there were. He summoned his beast. Then he told his teammates to protect him later. Gang told him not to make a fuss and just sit down with them to eat watermelon seeds. Little Black thought they were insane for eating melon seeds in a dungeon. He asked what kind of relaxed mood they were trying to show off. Gang pointed to the side and told him to look. Little Black saw 6 beasts. His jaw dropped. He asked if the kid was cheating. After proving his point, Gang pointed again. Little Black finally accepted it. They sat there watching, and soon they started to feel bored. Gang suggested bringing poker cards next time. Suddenly they felt strong tremors. Gang thought it was a bomb and asked who threw it. Yang explained that he was just testing a new skill he learned yesterday. He didn't expect it to be that powerful. Gang said that with that move, Yang would definitely get the poisonous lizard's heart. Yang moved again. Explosions followed one after another. Xingtian swung its axe. Zhulong kept spraying fire breath. Just like that, the monster collapsed. Yang defeated the Poison Scale Lizard King, earning plus 20 military merit and obtaining the poisonous lizard's heart. Little Black stared in disbelief. He couldn't believe it was handled that easily. His admiration for Yang exploded, and he immediately offered himself to him. Gang noticed how this little shit had stopped sucking up to Li Fei and had completely switched targets to Yang. Little Black yelled at him to get lost, saying he wasn't that kind of fickle person. He then clarified that he wanted both of them and that the 3 of them could live a happy life together, which would be better than anything. The statement was so bold that everyone was left dumbfounded. Li Fei turned red and shoved him away. Another day passed by. Yang and the three party members sat together at the dining table. Now that Yang had gathered all his materials, Li Fei asked when he planned to start his profession transition. Yang replied that he was still short on military merits. He would need to clear a few more dungeons over the next 2 days. She thought about it for a moment. The three of them exchanged looks and nodded. Suddenly, Yang received a notification. Li Fei, Wang Gang, and Little Black had transferred 200 military merits to him. He froze in shock. Li Fei explained that all of it came from them. Since Yang was the only one in Longguo qualified for a mythical transition, he carried the nation's hopes. They were waiting for him to succeed so he could go fight the mist. Yang accepted the merits with a smile and said that from now on they were his friends. Little Black cut him off mid-sentence, saying he didn't want any of that mushy crap. After Yang completed the transition, he would still need to clear a transition dungeon, and that one was no joke. Yang nodded. He understood. At that moment, his badge began to glow. The system announced that the Beastmaster's first transition trial had activated. The difficulty was mythical. The location was Subdragon Ridge. The dungeon difficulty was Calamity, ranked at 9 stars. Yang stared at the display in disbelief. Li Fei asked what he got. Yang told her it was Subdragon Ridge, Calamity difficulty. Her expression changed instantly. He asked if it was really that bad. Li Fei told him it was far worse than he thought. Since he had just entered the other world, he probably hadn't heard the legends of Subdragon Ridge. It was listed as level 35, but its true difficulty was comparable to a level 40 large-scale dungeon. She explained that once, a full team of 5 level 40 experts attempted to clear Subdragon Ridge on Calamity difficulty. Every single one of them died. No survivors. Since that day, no one had dared to challenge it again. Yang admitted that it sounded a bit tough. Li Fei suggested that he switch to a legendary transition instead. The stat growth was slightly weaker than mythical, but the dungeon would be much easier. Yang shook his head. He refused. Since he had chosen mythical, he would see it through to the end. She wanted to argue, but he assured her that even if he failed, he could protect himself and escape. She could only let out a sigh. Then, she handed him something. He refused at first. She had already given him military merits, and he didn't have the nerve to take her Star Ascension Stone as well. But she grabbed his hand and placed it in his palm, telling him it was just a Star Ascension Stone. They could always grind for another one later. What mattered most to her was that he safely cleared the Subdragon Ridge dungeon. The stone sparkled softly in his hand. He thanked her and promised to repay her in the future. She told him there was no need to thank her. In his hands, that Star Ascension Stone would finally show its true value. That night, in an open area. Yang thought about how Subdragon Ridge was filled with Subdragon-type monsters. He decided to use the Star Ascension Stone on Zhulong. It shone with a blinding light. The system immediately announced that the Beast Star Ascension was successful. Zhulong became SSS grade, level 20, with 5 stars. Its constitution ranged between 50,000 and 70,000, while its spirit, agility, and strength were all between 40,000 and 60,000. It possessed passive skills such as Dragon's Might, level 3, Dragon Scales, level 2, and Dragon's Blood, level 1. Its active skills included Zhulong's Eye, level 3, and Dragon's Roar, level 3. Dragon's Might intimidated non-orthodox dragons, reducing their strength by 35%. Dragon Scales were unique giant scales of the dragon race, negating 25% physical damage and 45% elemental damage. Zhulong's Eye released Scorching Light, dealing area damage equal to 380% of its spirit. Dragon's Roar shook the sky, dealing area damage equal to 380% of its strength. Lastly, Dragon's Blood gave all of Zhulong's attacks a 25% chance to crit, dealing an additional 20% critical damage. Looking at these stats, Yang was confident that he would definitely conquer Subdragon Ridge. The next day, at the Subdragon Ridge entrance, he told Sister Fei that he was going in. His eyes widened when she suddenly hugged him. She told him to come out alive no matter what. He told her not to worry. Then, he stepped into the portal. The moment he arrived, he felt a chill run down his spine. In front of him hung a massive snake dangling from a tree branch. It lunged at him without warning. Yang immediately summoned Zhulong. Zhulong spewed flames at the snake. The monster countered with a sonic beam, and several rats suddenly appeared around them. Yang was surprised that it could do that. He activated Shadow Burst. The attack hit it head-on. Then he summoned Tao Wu, Fei, and Xingtian, entrusting the swarm of rats to them. The Golden Toad immediately buffed everyone. Xingtian charged forward and slashed the horned giant snake with his axe. At the same time, Fei wiped out several level 33 dragon rats with an area of effect skill. Each one gave Yang +2 military merits. Tao Wu was just as brutal, biting and stomping on the remaining level 33 dragon rats. Yang continued to harvest +2 military merits over and over. He had only just entered, and the battle was already this intense. Now, he truly understood. Subdragon Ridge was no joke. He continued deeper and soon reached a vast plain littered with scattered skulls. He sensed faint sound waves in the air. His eyes widened when he saw a T-Rex. It charged straight at him. The dragon turtle stepped forward to block it, but it was instantly sent flying by a sweep of the T-Rex's tail. Yang quickly used his detection skill. This monster was a silver-fanged Tyrannosaurus, a subdragon chieftain. It was level 37 with 120,000 strength, 70,000 agility, 60,000 spirit, and 200,000 constitution. It possessed the passive skill Tyrant's Might, and the active skills Brutal Bite and Slaughtering Hunt. Yang activated Soul Tear. The attack landed cleanly. He immediately ordered Zhulong and Xingdian to go all out. The dragon turtle, Xingdian, and Zhulong surrounded the T-Rex. Xingdian smashed its head with his axe. Zhulong followed up by breathing fire straight into it. At the same time, the dragon turtle targeted its tail, but the T-Rex suddenly bit down on it. Yang's heart skipped a beat. Panic set in. The dragon turtle was his main tank. It couldn't die. He urgently ordered the golden toad to use blessing and heal the dragon turtle. The golden toad opened its mouth, releasing a burst of golden light. The bite wounds quickly healed. Zhulong then charged forward while the dragon turtle raised a protective barrier. Xingtian seized the opening and slashed down. The system announced that Yang had slain a level 37 silver-fanged Tyrannosaurus. He gained plus 100 military merits and obtained a silver-fanged Tyrannosaurus tooth and a Beast Star Ascension Stone. It had been a close call, and Yang let out a breath of relief. He now had another Star Ascension Stone. He chose to use it on the dragon turtle. It had earned it. The dragon turtle glowed brightly. The system announced that the Beast Star Ascension was successful. Yang stared in shock as its constitution jumped straight to 50,000. With the Golden Toad's enhancement skill, it could reach as high as 150,000. The dragon turtle was now SS grade, level 20, with 3 stars, boasting 15,000 strength, agility, and spirit, and 50,000 constitution. Yang felt a wave of joy wash over him. Now he no longer had to worry about being one-shot. Yang continued deeper into the ridge. The land around him was completely desolate. He felt confused when he couldn't sense the boss anywhere. Suddenly, a massive dragon head with long horns rose from the other side of the cliff. Yang noticed it instantly. It was enormous. A huge white dragon stepped forward. Its blue horns gleamed, and it let out a thunderous roar with its jaws wide open. Yang's heart sank when he realized it was a king-level monster. Now he finally understood why 5 level 40 teams had been wiped out. This creature was the White Armored Earth Dragon, a sub-dragon king at level 40. It possessed 200,000 strength, 150,000 agility, 100,000 spirit, and a terrifying 400,000 constitution. Its passive skill was White Dragon Scales, while its active skills were Dragon's Might and Dragon's Breath. It had taken him this far to reach it. For Yang, it was do or die. He ordered Zhulong to activate Dragon's Might suppression. A violent blast erupted, sending a massive golden shockwave expanding outward in a perfect ring. The white dragon charged straight through the explosion. Lightning crackled across its body as it roared, raising its claw to deliver a devastating strike. The dragon turtle took the hit head-on. Its body trembled violently. Yang rushed to its side and ordered it to cancel taunt. He couldn't let it tank the attack directly. Then, he commanded his other beasts to take turns drawing aggro and pulling the dragon's attention. His beasts spread out and surrounded the white dragon. 1 hour later, Zhulong moved in from the side while Xingtian held the front. Yang was already exhausted. The enemy's health pool was absurdly thick, and he couldn't grind it down easily. Zhulong suddenly roared. Yang paused, then smiled. He realized Zhulong had leveled up and quickly checked its stats. Zhulong's passive skill Dragon's Might had reached level 4. Dragon Scales remained at level 2, and Dragon's Fury awakened at level 1. Dragon's Might now intimidated non-orthodox dragons, reducing their strength by 50%. Yang was relieved. The upgrade came at the perfect damn time. Zhulong roared again. The white armored earth dragon flinched. Xingtian seized the opening and struck from behind. Moments later, the system announced that Yang had slain the level 40 white armored earth dragon. He earned plus 200 military merits, obtained a primary skill upgrade scroll, and white armored earth dragon boots. The mythical profession. Transition trial was officially completed. Yang collapsed onto the ground, sitting hard on his butt. Relief flooded him. For a moment there, he really thought he was going to die. After resting for a few minutes, he got back up and collected the loot. White armored earth dragon boots, perfect grade. They granted plus 2,000 attributes, plus 20% crit rate, plus 50% damage, 50% spirit amplification, and plus 40% movement speed. They could be equipped after level 21. With boots like these, Yang knew those monsters wouldn't even see his taillights. The system prompted him that he could now undergo a mythical profession transition. He let out a breath. After risking his goddamn life, it was finally time. The transition began. A surge of overwhelming energy washed over his body. Yang smiled. A magic circle formed beneath his feet. He felt his stats soar, and the maximum number of beast summons increased to 8. Joy filled him. The suffering of the past few days hadn't been for nothing. At the transition hall, an announcement echoed. A mythical difficulty. First transition Beastmaster had appeared. National fortune increased by plus 2,000. A disciple sweeping the grounds was the first to hear it. He froze in shock. He couldn't believe it. At the leader's hall, he rushed in to report the news. The National Fortune Temple Master sat calmly on his seat. Qinbai stood beside him and asked why his subordinate looked so flustered. He told the disciple to calm down and speak slowly. The disciple swallowed hard, then reported that someone had successfully completed a mythical profession transition. They were completely stunned. The National Fortune Temple Master quickly composed himself and dismissed the disciple. Bai, however, was panicking. The National Fortune Temple Master told him to calm down and not act as flustered as his subordinate, but Bai couldn't. Yan had already informed them that Yang had gone to the other world, so he knew this transition had to be Yang. He felt uneasy. Yang's talent was becoming more obvious by the day. Sooner or later, he would draw the attention of certain groups. The National Fortune Temple Master reassured him. They would not allow those people to discover Yang's existence. He immediately issued an order to completely seal all news of Yang's successful mythical transition. Back to our MC! Yang stepped out. Li Fei was already waiting for him. She hurried over and asked if he was injured and whether he had succeeded in the transition. With a smug smile, Yang replied, yes. He said it was just a small dungeon, not even worth mentioning. She let out a breath and said she had been scared to death. She really thought he wasn't coming back out. Seeing how worried she was, Yang couldn't help asking if she liked him or something. Li Fei's face instantly turned red. She told him to stop talking nonsense and said she just didn't want her military merits and Star Ascension Stone to go to waste. She told him to go back and rest. Yang simply nodded and replied, okay. Night fell. Yang sat alone in the park. Now that he had reached level 20, he felt curious and a little excited about what kind of skill he would awaken next. With a calm look on his face, blue energy surged around him and gathered in front of his hand as if he was preparing a counter just as strong. Then the blue energy burst out from his chest, spreading in bright streaks of light. The system congratulated him for obtaining a new, passive skill, Mind's Eye. When the Beastmaster and summoned beasts attack an enemy, there is a 20% chance to see through the opponent's weakness. Striking that weakness will always result in a critical hit. He was relieved to see that the skill worked on his beasts as well. In the future, when facing unfamiliar monsters, there was a real chance of ending the fight in a single blow. He summoned a new beast. He raised his hand toward the sky, and a magic circle lit up the entire area. From within, it appeared an SSS rank beast, the Nine-Tailed Fox. The Nine-Tailed Fox was SSS grade at level 1 with 1 star. It had 600 strength, 5,000 agility, 1,500 constitution, and 2,000 spirit. Its passive skill was Spirit Fox Guardian at level 1, while its active skills were Soul Link level 1 and Illusion Form level 1. Spirit Fox Guardian protected its companions in battle, granting 3 Spirit Fox shields along with a defense boost and 20% damage reduction, refreshing every 10 minutes. Soul Link connected the Nine-Tailed Fox to all companions, increasing their armor-piercing and combat ability by 15%. Yang loved it instantly. It had shields, buffs, and could even turn invisible. The Nine-Tailed Fox had pure white fur with bright pink flames flowing along its tails and legs. Its body suddenly glowed. It then transformed into a small, adorable white fox with pink paws, pink inner ears, and a pink tip on its tail. There was even a pink heart on its forehead. He couldn't help but wonder if it would grow into Sudaji one day. The fox cuddled against him, and a smile crept onto his face. Suddenly, the sky lit up. A massive beam of golden lightning crashed down from above, ripping through the air like divine punishment. He simply stood there and watched it fall, completely calm, as if he already knew this wasn't over yet. In the next instant, the world turned red as a towering pillar of energy shot into the sky. Lightning coiled around a shadowy figure within it. The system congratulated him for obtaining a transcendent SSS rank beast, the Vermilion Bird. The Vermilion Bird was Transcendent Grade SSS at level 1 with 1 star. It had 1,000 strength, 1,000 agility, 2,000 constitution, and 3,000 spirit. Its passive skills were Vermilion Bird's Power level 1 and Rebirth from Flames level 1. As one of the 4 divine beasts, Vermilion Bird's power silently reduced enemy defense by 20%. Rebirth from flames allowed the vermilion bird to regenerate and fire, continuously restoring its health and increasing its spirit by 30%. Its skill, Vermilion Bird's Breath, unleashed scorching heavenly fire, instantly igniting the target and dealing 350% fire damage based on spirit, followed by 30% continuous burn damage. Dance of Heavenly Fire engulfed a 30-meter area in divine flames, dealing 300% spirit-based fire damage to all enemies, igniting them and inflicting 30% continuous burn damage. Yang was stunned, but it was exactly what he expected from the ancestor of phoenixes. 2 passive skills right from the start filled him with excitement. Still, he had never heard of a transcendent SSS rank beast before. The next day, Yang slowly woke up. The moment he opened his eyes, he saw Little Black standing there. He was startled. He asked if Little Black was trying to scare him to death. Little Black said he heard from Li Fei that Yang had succeeded in his transition, so he rushed over to congratulate him. Gang was also there to congratulate him. Yang thanked them. Little Black asked if he could join the team and casually added that he even had a sister. Li Fei smacked him on the head. Yang said there was no need for the sister, but Little Black was welcome to come. So they all went together, but a group of men suddenly surrounded them. One of the men whistled and commented that the girls from Longguo were pretty. Little Black immediately yelled at him for staring and warned that he would gouge his eyes out. The man got annoyed and swung a punch at him. Little Black instantly hid behind Yang, shouting for help. Yang calmly raised his palm and blocked the fist. The man scoffed and said that hiding behind a level 20 newbie from Longguo was hilarious. Little Black shot back that even if Longguo only sent a level 20, it would still be enough to mess them up in minutes. The man burst out laughing and challenged them to a competition to see who could clear the hell difficulty ghost dungeon first. Yang accepted without hesitation and asked what the bet would be. The man proposed 5,000 military merits. Yang agreed. Gang leaned over and whispered to Li Fei that it was ridiculous. It was like they were handing over military merits for free. Li Fei replied that it seemed their lives were going a little too smoothly. The man shouted that the chickens from Longguo should get ready to be completely destroyed. Alright, that's it for today's story. If you want the weekly chapter updates for this series, those will now be uploaded on my second channel, Manhwa Updater. So if you don't want to miss what happens next, make sure to check it out and join the update gang. Thanks for watching, stay cool, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.